at it and decided that he didn't need to try it on. It would definitely fit him, boys were that casual. Not to mention that he had such a great figure. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for accompanying the baby for another pregnancy checkup. The reward is 1 million yuan in cash. And it also triggers a 5x critical hit. For a total of 5 million yuan it has been transferred to your bank card through formal channels, please check it. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for triggering the lottery mechanism. You will be awarded a chance to draw a prize. The current prize pool is 1 triple cash critical hit card 2. Thank you for your patronage. Excuse me. Host, would you like to draw lottery? Lottery. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a cash 3x critical hit card. I have successfully used it for the host, please check it. Chapter 37. The day we got our certificate. The system's voice came into Lin Juan's mind again. What does this cash 3x critical hit card mean? Lin Juan was a little confused. Dash 3x critical attack card means that the host's current amount will be multiplied by 3 times. Then can I keep it for now? No, it takes effect as soon as you draw it. Lin Juan also wanted to save more cash and use it together later, so that he could exchange it for more cash. Jinwan Technology Co Limited still has 50 million in its account. If it takes it out and uses it 3 times, it will be 150 million. Alas, what a pity. Lin Juan opened his mobile phone and saw that there was more than 20 million in his bank card. And he instantly became a multimillionaire. Just when Lin Juan was feeling smug, Li Mengyao changed her clothes and came out. Honey, it looks good. Li Mengyao wore a snow-white shirt and a plain gray miniskirt. What was even more eye-catching was that her clothes were decorated with a cute little bear pattern, making her look fresh, refined, playful and cute. She walked lightly to Lin Juan, like a fairy descending from the earth, her long and straight legs swaying slightly. Then, she turned lightly like a dancing butterfly, her skirt fluttering in the wind, exuding a charming charm. Lin Juan stared at Li Mengyao and swallowed. Li Mengyao suddenly felt something was wrong and was about to run away, but Lin Juan got there first, reached out his hand and gently pulled the beauty into his arms. My wife is so beautiful. Lin Juan left a kiss on the soft pink lips and said with a smile. Why don't you change? Li Mengyao gently placed her small hands on Lin Juan's solid chest, her little face slightly flushed. I'll change it right away. Lin Juan let go of Li Mengyao and started taking off his clothes. Why do you take off your clothes directly? Li Mengyao covered her eyes with her delicate hands and pretended to be angry. How can I change without taking off my clothes? Lin Juan laughed. Then go back to your room and change. Li Mengyao continued to cover her eyes, but secretly left a gap between her fingers. And her fair cheeks turned red instantly. Wife, you've seen this before, so why are you so shy? Lin Juan continued to tease. Then a sofa pillow was thrown over, which was so soft that it had no lethality at all. I'm done. Boys change clothes very quickly, just wear them tightly. Lin Juan was wearing a snow-white short-sleeved shirt with a pair of slim black trousers. The clothes were also decorated with a cute little bear pattern. His 180 cm tall figure was even more eye-catching. His fair skin emitted a faint luster under the light. His black and shiny hair was slightly curly, and there was a deep light between his sword-like eyebrows and star-like eyebrows and star-like eyes. His lips were slightly raised under his high nose bridge, and he was looking at Li Mengyao with a smile. Li Mengyao stared at Lin Juan blankly. Her husband was simply a male model. Are you stunned? You're the one who's stunned. Li Mengyao came back to her senses and scolded angrily. Then the two of them came to the mirror. Li Mengyao straightened Lin Juan's collar, then took his hand and walked him in front of the mirror, looking at him carefully. When he was sleeping at night, Lin Juan suddenly asked, why did you buy clothes all of a sudden? And there's a cartoon pattern on the chest, which makes me look childish. It's very cute. I'll wear this when we get our marriage certificate on T. Object. Li Mengyao stretched out her index finger and gently touched Lin Juan's lips. Whatever my wife says is what it is. Lin Juan took a light bite and said with a smile. Li Mengyao rolled her eyes, then fell asleep holding Lin Juan in her arms. After a few days, July 7th finally arrived. At 9 o'clock in the morning, Li Mengyao, who was still asleep, felt something moving on her face, as if something was kissing her face. Then she stretched out her jade hand, patted it lightly, and said softly, stop it. Wife, have you forgotten what day it is today? Lin Juan continued to breathe into Li Mengyao's ear. Whatever day it is. Li Mengyao was still dazed and unwilling to open her eyes. Today is July 7th, the day we get our marriage certificate. After hearing this, Li Mengyao opened her eyes instantly and blinked blankly. What time is it? It's 9 o'clock. Why didn't you call me earlier? I called you a long time ago, but even kisses couldn't wake you up. Lin Juan had a speechless expression. Li Mengyao got up quickly, ran to the bathroom and started washing. Half an hour later, The two of them changed into the couple's clothes they bought yesterday and walked out of the house and came to the parking lot. Lin Xuan started the Mavic and drove straight to the Jingha Civil Affairs Bureau. Soon, the two arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Lin Xuan held Li Mengyao's hand and walked to the hall. At this time, the marriage registration office was already full of people, all of whom were preparing to get married today. The two waited quietly in the back. An hour later, Lin Xuan held Li Mengyao's hand tightly and walked out of the hall together. He carefully looked at the bright red marriage certificate, which had his and Li Mengyao's names and photos printed on it. Both of them had happy smiles on their faces. Li Mengyao also stared at the marriage certificate, with a gentle light in her eyes, the corners of her mouth slightly raised, revealing a sweet smile. "Wife, I finally brought you home." Lin Xuan looked at her tenderly. "Haven't you been home a long time ago?" Li Mengyao gently pinched Lin Xuan's face and smiled slightly. Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao's extremely high looks attracted envious glances from passersby. They are truly a fairy couple. Back in the Mavic, Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao shared their marriage certificates on their moments respectively. "Shan Shalan, my son has made great progress." "Lin Zhengguo. It looks good." "Wang Shifang, when will you bring it back to show mom?" Smile. "Shu Quan, congratulations, I knew I would be abused today." Dog head emoji. "Zong Zai Sheng, happy wedding, brother Xuan." "Chen Jingming, when are we going to have the banquet? Hurry up." "Uxin, congratulations." "Yao Yao, my Yao Yao," crying expression. At this time, Lin Cece did not make any comments because her mobile phone was confiscated. Chapter 38. Your husband's money is your money. The phone suddenly rang. "Hello, Mom." Lin Xuan picked up the phone and answered the call. "Son, have you got the marriage certificate?" Shang Shalan's happy laughter came from the other side of the phone. "I just received it and was about to go back. Give my daughter-in-law the phone number and quickly add her to our loving family group." "Is he still my biological son? He changes him at the mere word of a word," Lin Xuan complained. "Hurry up. Twice, this is my mother's phone call." Lin Xuan handed the phone to Li Mengyao helplessly. "Hello, Auntie?" Li Mengyao was so nervous that she forgot to change the address. "Why are you still calling me Auntie? It's time to change your words." "My good daughter-in-law," Shang Shalan said with a smile. "Mom," Li Mengyao was still not used to it. "Why?" Lin Xuan, who was sitting in the driver's seat, could only see Li Mengyao's mouth corners slowly rising, and she would look up at him from time to time. "Okay, Mom." And Li Mengyao smiled slightly and returned the phone to Lin Xuan. "Wife, what did Mom say to you?" Lin Xuan asked curiously. "Do you want to know?" Li Mengyao blinked her beautiful eyes. Lin Xuan nodded. "My mother told me that I should ask my husband to hand over his bank card after we get married." "Oh my God. Mom is trying to trick her son." "Honey, do you think this is right?" Li Mengyao leaned forward and asked with a smile. It was the familiar scene, the familiar distance, the familiar lips. Lin Xuan took advantage of the situation and grabbed Li Mengyao's forehead and kissed her again. After kissing for a while, Lin Xuan let go contentedly. The angry Li Mengyao hit Lin Xuan hard. Of course Li Mengyao was joking. She didn't want Lin Xuan's bank cards, he just wanted to tease him unexpectedly. She still suffered a loss. But just now on the phone, Shang Shalan also taught her how to control her husband's lifeline, and the most important one is to get her husband to hand over his bank card. At this time, Li Mengyao turned her face away and ignored Lin Xuan. Lin Xuan smiled, silently started the car, and drove out of the Jingha Civil Affairs Bureau. After driving for a while, Li Mengyao finally realized something was wrong. This was not the way home. "Honey, aren't we going home?" Li Mengyao turned around and couldn't help asking. "Let's go somewhere first," Lin Xuan said with a smile. Soon, a dark and slender Mavic drove into the parking lot of a bank in Jingha City. "Why are you in the bank?" "Honey, don't you want my bank card? I'll transfer the money to you." Lin Xuan unbuckled his seat belt with a smile, and went over to help Li Mengyao unbuckle hers. "I'm just kidding, I don't want your bank card." Li Mengyao shook her head cutely. "My husband's money is your money. Let's go." Lin Xuan pinched Li Mengyao's little face. "Then, I'll keep it for you. Just tell me if you need money," Li Mengyao whispered. And the two got out of the car and walked hand in hand to the lobby of Wani Bank in Jingha City. Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao walked to the counter. Lin Xuan handed his bank card to the teller and told the teller to transfer all the money in the card to Li Mengyao. The bank teller picked up Lin Xuan's card and swiped it. He was shocked to find that there was 20 million in it and the other party was so young. "May I ask who this lady is to you?" Because the amount involved is huge, the bank teller still has to ask carefully to prevent Lin Xuan from being deceived. "She is my wife," Lin Xuan said with a smile. "Is there anything you can prove?" "Sorry, the amount transferred is huge, so we need to verify it clearly." Lin Xuan handed the marriage certificate he had just received to the bank teller. After the teller operated for a while, he informed Lin Xuan that the transfer had been successful. A few minutes later, Li Mengyao received a message on her mobile phone, saying that 20 million yuan had been deposited into her bank account. Li Mengyao looked at Lin Xuan in surprise. Hubby? So many? Lin Xuan gently pinched Li Mengyao's face again. Yes, now you hold my lifeline in your hands. You must take good care of me in the future. Li Mengyao blared at Lin Xuan coquettously. I will keep it well for you. Just as Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao were about to walk out of the bank, a figure appeared in front of them without warning. He was a middle-aged man, with a figure as straight as a pine tree, well-dressed. And his every move revealed a calmness and confidence. Dear guests, please stay. I am Lu Yang, the branch manager of Wanhe Bank in Jingha. It's such an honor to meet you here today. Hello, President Lu. Is there anything I can help you with? It's like this, our bank just saw that you'd have 20 million yuan in your bank cards. But they are current deposits, so the interest rate is relatively low. I wonder if you are interested in learning about our bank's latest fixed deposit product. It turned out that he was a salesman. And he was received personally by the branch manager. Okay, what exactly is it like? Please follow me. Both of you. Then Leon led the two people into the luxuriously decorated quiet VIP room of bank with a smile on his face as soon as they entered the door. Someone immediately served them a few cups of fragrant high-end coffee and exquisite and delicious snacks. Leon took out a brochure and handed it to Lin Xuan. The two of you just deposited 20 million in a current account, and the interest rate is a pitiful 0.5, which means you will only get 100,000 yuan in interest a year. If you do nothing in a year, you can earn 100,000 yuan, which is equivalent to the annual income of many people. But if two people deposit 20 million yuan in a one-year fixed deposit, we can raise the interest rate to 2.3, which means 460,000 yuan a year, which is more than 4 times the interest rate of a current account. At the same time, our Vanguard Bank will also give away to distinguished VP Black Cards cardholders can enjoy the bank's exclusive account manager services, high-end benefits, consumer discounts and other high-quality services. If you are not in a hurry to use the money, you can seriously consider whether to deposit it for a year. Lin Xuan was a little hesitant. He really had no use for the 20 million given by the system at the moment. It would be best to deposit it in a bank, but if he deposited it at all, it would be very cumbersome to withdraw it in case of emergency. Husband, you can deposit 10 million in a fixed deposit, and the rest in a life deposit. Li Mengyao seemed to see Lin Xuan's worries and spoke in a low voice. Lin Xuan suddenly realized, quickly kissed Li Mengyao on the face, and said with a smile, "My wife is so smart." Li Mengyao glared at Lin Xuan. Her pretty face flushed. There was still someone there. And can we deposit 10 million in a fixed deposit and the remaining 10 million in a life deposit? Lin Xuan asked. Of course, no problem, please follow me. Lu Yang was very happy. As he had a plan for this month's sales, he then took the two of them to the VIP counter. 10 minutes later, the two finally dealt with the 20 million. The VIP counter is fast. The ordinary counter has to wait for at least an hour. Lu Yang bowed slightly, and solemnly handed two luxurious VIP black cards to Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao. Smiling. Congratulations to both of you for becoming VPs of Vanguard Bank from now on. Both of you will enjoy the highest level of treatment of the bank. Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao took the black card, and felt the heavy weight of the card and the exquisite patterns on it. After saying goodbye to President Lu Yang, the two men walked out of the Vanguard Bank lobby and returned to the Maybach. Honey, are you hungry? I'm hungry, Li Mengyao smiled happily. Then let's go home and eat. Chapter 39 Xuanming Restaurant. Lin Xuan started the car and drove home. After the two returned to Jinwan Mansion, Lin Xuan prepared a sumptuous lunch and Li Mengyao was eating in small bites. Lin Xuan took out his cell phone and added Li Mengyao to the group chat of a loving family. He then took a photo of his wife eating and sent it to the group chat. Shang Shalan, my daughter-in-law eats so deliciously. Lin Zhengguo. It looks better than what your mom makes. Lin Cici is taking her final exam. After finishing her meal, Li Mengyao picked up her phone and saw her photo being posted on the group. Lin Xuan, you took a sneak shot of me again. Li Mengyao glared at him when she was angry. She would call Lin Xuan by his name. After Lin Xuan put the dishes into the dishwasher, he heard his wife calling him. I think it looks pretty. Lin Xuan said next to Li Mengyao and said with a smile. Li Mengyao still twisted his waist angrily. Hello, Mom and Dad. I'm Li Mengyao. Li Mengyao greeted in the group. Okay. Take this money. I wish you a happy wedding. Afterwards, Shen Shulan initiated a transfer of 101 yuan. After seeing this, Li Mengyao hesitated, not knowing whether she should accept it. Although she and Lin Xuan no longer needed the money, it was still a lot for an ordinary family. At the same time, it was also a token of her parents' kindness. If she didn't accept it, it would be disrespectful to her elders. Wife, keep it. We'll buy some gifts for them when we go back to Yunha City to visit them. Lin Xuan saw his wife's concerns and smiled. Okay, Li Mengyao nodded and accepted the money. Li Mengyao, thank you, Mom and Dad. Lin Xuan. Ma, where's mine? Shan Shalan, go play somewhere else. Confirmed that they are his biological children. In the afternoon, Lin Xuan, who had just woken up, received a message from Xu Quan. Xu Quan, brother Xuan. A restaurant has been renovated. When are you free to come and take a look? Lin Xuan was stunned for a moment. It was really troublesome. It would be great to be at home with my wife, but now I have to manage a restaurant. And he kissed Li Mengyao, who was still sleeping, sent a message to report, and left the room. After washing his face and waking up, Lin Xuan picked up his phone and called Xu Quan. Quaner, where are you now? Now that everyone has graduated, they no longer live in the dormitory. Brother Xuan, I'm here at the rental house. Send me your location and I'll pick you up. I'll go check out the restaurant later. Okay. 20 minutes later, Lin Xuan drove a Maybach to Xu Quan's rental house. Xu Quan ran down without stopping, opened the car door and got in. Brother Xuan, I'm here, happy wedding. As he said that, he took out a red envelope and handed it to Lin Xuan. Thank you, Quaner, let's go. After Lin Xuan accepted it, he started the car and arrived at Jinwan Plaza. After parking the car, Lin Xuan and Xu Quan came to the 5th floor of Jinwan Plaza and were attracted by the luxurious and magnificent decoration in front of them. The entire restaurant uses high-end materials and exquisite design, with gorgeous wallpaper on the walls and mirrors, smooth marble on the floor. A dazzling crystal chandelier hangs from the ceiling, emitting a soft and warm light, illuminating the entire space. A dining table and chairs are neatly arranged. The table is covered with a white tablecloth and matched with exquisite tableware in flowers, creating an elegant and comfortable dining atmosphere. Lin Xuan was slightly shocked. He didn't expect the decoration to be so luxurious. Brother Xuan, this decoration is nice, right? Xu Quan said proudly. Lin Xuan walked into the restaurant and looked carefully. It was simply a 5-star restaurant. It's very good. The next step is to start preparing for business. Lin Xuan nodded with satisfaction. Brother Xuan, you are right, but haven't you forgotten something? Xu Quan smiled. Forgot what? Lin Xuan asked, puzzled. Money. Brother Xuan, I have no money. How can I recruit soldiers without money? Xu Quan complained fiercely. Oh, I almost forgot about this. I've been too busy lately. Please send me your bank account number. Yes, I've been busy getting married recently. Just tell me whether you want it or not. Yes, I'll send you the bank card account number. Xu Quan replied quickly. Then Lin Xuan transferred 1 million yuan to Xu Quan via his mobile phone. I'll give you 1 million yuan as start-up capital first. If it's not enough, tell me again. You will be responsible for everything in the restaurant in the future, and we'll split the profits 70 and 30. Okay. You are worthy of being brother Xuan. You spend 1 million in one go, Xu Quan said with a happy smile. Stop flattering me. If you don't do your job well, I will fire you, Lin Xuan said jokingly. Yes. Boss, by the way, should we name the restaurant? Xu Quan asked. Let's call it Xuan Ming Restaurant. The specialty is fish dishes, of course. You can add some other dishes. Lin Xuan touched his chin, thought for a while and said, it feels good to take one name from Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao. Anyway, you are the store manager now, so don't let me down. Lin Xuan patted Xu Quan on the shoulder. He was still very confident in Xu Quan. Although he was silly sometimes, he was very decisive when doing things. Make sure to complete the mission. Xu Quan even saluted. He is so okay. Lin Xuan took back his thoughts. After explaining the restaurant matters, Lin Xuan sent Xu Quan back to the rental house and went to Jinhua Technology Co. Limited. As Lin Xuan walked into the company's gate, the front desk greeted him warmly. Hello, Ellen. Hello. Lin Xuan smiled back politely. After that, every time Lin Xuan met an employee, he greeted him enthusiastically. And Lin Xuan responded one by one. Is this what it feels like to be the chairman of a company? It's awesome. When Lin Xuan arrived at the chairman's office, he saw 2 resignation letters and a red envelope on the table. Lin Xuan opened the red envelope first, which contained several $100 bills and a small note. Lindsay Hiwi? Happy wedding. Lin Xuan smiled slightly. This kid. Then he picked up 2 resignation letters, which were indeed from Zheng Ha or An and Zixuan. Then Lin Xuan waved his hand and agreed immediately. Seeing that there was nothing to do, Lin Xuan left the company and drove home. In fact, the main affairs of the company are the responsibility of General Manager Yuan. The 2 resignation letters were given to the chairman for personal handling because of special reasons. Honey, I'm back. Lin Xuan changed his shoes, walked into the hall and hugged Li Mengyao, who was jogging towards him. Honey, why do you go out so often recently? Are you doing something secretly? Li Mengyao pouted cutely. My husband went to check on the restaurant's renovations. Lin Xuan took out his cell phone and handed the photos he took in the restaurant in the afternoon to Li Mengyao. Wow, this is too luxurious. Li Mengyao opened her beautiful eyes. Honey, have you named the restaurant? Li Mengyao asked. I've got it. Lin Xuan stood up and prepared to go into the kitchen to cook. What's your name? Li Mengyao hugged Lin Xuan and continued to ask. Xuan Meng Restaurant, what do you think? Lin Xuan pinched Li Mengyao's little face and said with a smile. Chapter 40. You are a big fool. Xuan Meng Restaurant. This poetic name seems to be the fruit of the love between Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao, representing Lin Xuan's love for Li Mengyao. Li Mengyao looked at Lin Xuan with her beautiful eyes as clear as autumn water. And gradually, ripples of emotion appeared on her face. When Lin Xuan saw tears in Li Mengyao's eyes, he was instantly at a loss. What's wrong, honey? Did I hurt you just now? I'm sorry. It's my fault. Li Mengyao shook her head gently, threw herself into Lin Xuan's arms, hugged him tightly, opened her red lips slightly, and said in a dreamy voice, Husband, why are you so good to me? Lin Xuan took a deep breath, gently lifted Li Mengyao's forehead, and said tenderly, Because you are the only one in my life and the one I love most in this life. You are my wife and the mother of my baby. I am willing to use all my strength to protect and cherish you so that you will always be happy. Lin Xuan's gaze was firm and blazing, as if burning with a flame that would never go out. Li Mengyao stood on tiptoe, put her arms around Lin Xuan's neck, and gave him a sweet kiss. Husband went to cook, Lin Xuan said with a smile. Then he turned and went to the kitchen to start cooking dinner. Li Mengyao nodded shyly. After dinner, Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao watched a TV show on the big screen in the living room. Li Mengyao leaned her long legs on Lin Xuan's legs, snuggled in Lin Xuan's arms, and watched the show with relish. Lin Xuan picked up the tablet and read the company daily report sent by General Manager Li Wen. When he is not at the company, he will take time in the evening to read the company's daily report to see what important things the company has done today and how much profit the company has made, instead of completely ignoring it. What are you looking at, mate? Li Mengyao leaned forward and saw a series of data reports. I'm reading the company's daily operations report, Lin Xuan said with a smile. Company? What company? Li Mengyao blinked confused. Jinwan Technology Co. Limited. Hubby, are you going to work? Li Mengyao thought that Lin Xuan had been taking care of herself in recent months, so he had not looked for a job. So it was normal for him to go to work now. Hubby, you should focus on your work. I can take care of myself. Li Mengyao pursed her lips. What are you thinking about? Your husband has tens of millions of assets. It's impossible for him to go to work. Lin Xuan pinched Li Mengyao's pretty nose. What is your company? Li Mengyao asked puzzled Li. This is my company. I am the chairman of Jinwan Technology Co. Limited and you are the chairman's wife. Lin Xuan smiled. Li Mengyao couldn't help but be slightly stunned, her face full of disbelief. And take me to visit next time. Okay. Silly. You are a fool. After watching TV series in the living room, Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao went back to their room to rest together. The next morning, Lin Xuan woke up naturally, then got up and started making breakfast. Lin Xuan was still eating breakfast when the phone suddenly rang. He picked it up and saw that it was Xu Quan. Brother Xuan, have you had breakfast? Hey, I have something I want to discuss with you. Eat and talk. It's about the chef for the restaurant. I already have a candidate at it. My cousin and his wife, they run a fish restaurant in Jingha City, but recently they are planning to move because the rent is too expensive. I happen to be good at fish dishes, and they have a good reputation in Jingha City. They can directly bring customers to Xuan Meng Restaurant, so I would like to invite them to be chefs. Xu Quan said a lot in one breath. Have they agreed to come to Xuan Meng Restaurant to be chefs? Lin Xuan asked. Of course. Such a prosperous location and such luxurious decoration, anyone who sees it would be willing to come here. Okay then, ask them to come to the restaurant later. I want to see it myself. The chef is the soul of a restaurant, so Lin Xuan must personally oversee it. Okay. After hanging up the phone, Lin Xuan put Li Mengyao's breakfast into the warmer as usual, walked into the room, gave her a kiss, and left. Half an hour later, Lin Xuan arrived at Xuan Meng Restaurant on the 5th floor of Jinwan Plaza. As soon as I walked in, I saw Xu Quan and a young couple. Brother Xuan, you are here, let me introduce you. This is my cousin Xu Yang, and the other one is my cousin-in-law Wang Li. Xu Quan introduced. Hello. Boss Lin, I'm Xu Yang, and this is my wife Wang Li. Lin Xuan and Xu Yang shook hands politely. Xu Yang is a tall, slightly fat man with an honest and simple appearance. Wang Li was a little petite, but had a beautiful face and a mature beauty. Both of them were in their early 30s. Not much older than Lin Xuan. Hello, I'm Lin Xuan, Xu Quan's college roommate. I've heard Xu Quan praise your excellent cooking skills. No, Xu Yang smiled foolishly. And can you make me some steamed turbot to try? Lin Xuan said with a smile. Xu Yang knew very well that Lin Xuan was testing his cooking skills. So he walked into the kitchen backstage area without hesitation and started making it. Lin Xuan also followed, carefully observing every subtle movement and technique Xu Yang used. He skillfully picked out a fresh and plump turbot and quickly cleaned it for later use then. Xu Yang lit the stove and skillfully adjusted the heat and time, making the water in the steamer gradually boil. Soon, an enticing aroma emanated from the kitchen, and a delicious steamed turbot was served. Lin Xuan picked up the chopsticks, picked up a piece of fish and put it into his mouth. The fish was tender and juicy and melted in his mouth. The special delicious sauce made it even better and made him salivate. You are worthy of being a great chef. The food is delicious. I very much welcome you to join Xuanmeng restaurant. Lin Xuan nodded with satisfaction. Thank you, Boss Lin. But I can take your cooking to the next level. What? Xu Yang is still very confident in his cooking skills. Could this guy, who is several years younger than him, be a master? After Lin Xuan finished speaking, he returned to the kitchen, and everyone followed him. I saw him pick out a fresh and plump turbot with the same skillful technique, clean it even more quickly and set it aside, light the stove, control the heat and time more accurately, and personally prepare the exclusive sauce. After a while, the kitchen exuded an even more tempting aroma than before, which directly whetted everyone's taste buds. Chapter 41 Baby, remember to eat breakfast. A portion of steamed turbot with fragrant aroma and attractive color was served, paired with exquisite plating. Like a work of art. Everyone, have a try. Everyone couldn't wait to pick up their chopsticks, pick up a piece of tender fish and put it into their mouths before their teeth could chew. The delicate and delicious taste flowed through the entire mouth like a stream of clear spring water, instantly stimulating every taste bud. This. Xu Yang was so surprised that he couldn't speak normally. Brother Xuan, it has to be you. It's so delicious. Xu Quan couldn't stop eating. Wang Li was also eating silently on the side, not saying much, but from her expression, one could tell that she was amazed by the deliciousness of the food. Soon, the whole plate of turbot was eaten up. Xu Quan even licked the plate. Boss Lin, can I become your disciple? Xu Yang looked at Lin Xuan with admiration. There is no need to become my apprentice as long as you become the chef in my restaurant. I will teach you for free. Lin Xuan felt more or less embarrassed to be taken as a disciple by someone who was several years older than him. Really? That's great? Xu Yang jumped up happily. Boss Lin, can I learn too? Wang Li asked gently. Sure. What about me, Brother Xuan? Go have fun and manage the restaurant well. Lin Xuan looked at Xu Quan and Wang Li again, and suddenly said seriously, but I have a condition. What conditions? Xu Yang asked hurriedly. Add a confidentiality agreement to your employment contract. I will teach you all my exclusive fish cooking recipes, and I guarantee that your cooking skills will be greatly improved. Lin Xuan smiled. What confidentiality agreement? The exclusive fish dish recipe must not be leaked to outsiders in any form. Otherwise a fine of RMB 5 million will be imposed. Lin Xuan changed the subject and said in a firm tone. 5 million is not a small sum for an ordinary family. Many people cannot earn this much even if they work hard all their lives. I promise you, I Xu Yang, will never be such a treacherous person, Xu Yang said with a firm look in his eyes. I promise you too, if my husband can do it, I can do it too, Wang Li said in a firm tone. Okay Xu Quan, go prepare the labor contract and we'll sign it right away. Okay, Xu Quan ran out happily to prepare the labor contract. While Xu Quan was preparing the labor contract, Lin Xuan chatted with the couple. Suddenly Lin Xuan's phone rang. He picked up the phone and saw that it was his wife. Hey, baby. When Li Mengyao heard Lin Xuan calling her baby, she was slightly stunned. Why did he suddenly change his taste today? Husband, where are you now? I'm still in the restaurant. My roommates want to come over to my house for dinner later, is that possible? Us now in Li Mengyao's roommate group, Chen Manman and Yang Ling kept clamoring to come and see her, and Liu Yuxian was also fanning the flames. Li Mengyao had no choice but to call Lin Xuan for his opinion. Of course, I'll go back and buy some more vegetables later, Lin Xuan said with a smile. Okay. Baby, remember to eat breakfast, Lin Xuan said with a smile. Li Mengyao hung up the phone shyly. She just called her husband baby, and now she's calling him baby. What's wrong with her husband today? Li Mengyao patted her face lightly, picked up her phone, clicked on the roommate group, rich women foursome, come over here. Chen Man, hey. Yao, I'm here. Yang Lin, where's the address? How can I get there without the address? Li Mengyao shared an address. Chen Man? Yang Lin? Chen Man and Yang Lin obviously did not expect that Li Mengyao lived in Jinwan Mansion, the most luxurious area in Jingha City. On the other side, Xu Quan finally came to the restaurant with two labor contracts. Brother Xuan, I'm ready, take a look. Lin Xuan took the two labor contracts and looked at them carefully. When he found no problems, he signed his name and then handed them to Xu Yang and Wang Li. If there is no problem, please sign this labor contract. I have a question. Is Xu Quan considered an outsider? Xu Yang looked at his cousin with a smile. Okay, Lin Xuan also looked at Xu Quan with a smile and said jokingly. Brother Xuan, don't do this, we have been roommates for 4 years. Okay. I'm just kidding. I've handed the restaurant over to you to manage, isn't that enough trusting you? Lin Xuan laughed. Brother Xuan, I will definitely make the restaurant bigger and stronger, Xu Quan said with a grin. I'll leave the rest to you, if nothing else, I'll go home. After saying goodbye to them, Lin Xuan drove his Maybach to the supermarket to buy some vegetables and then went home. Back to Li Mingyao. Ding dong, the crisp doorbell rang. After hearing the doorbell, Li Mingyao put down what she was doing, went to the front door, and confirmed through the screen of the smart lock that it was her roommates before she opened the door with confidence. My Yao Yao, happy wedding. Yang Lin walked up to her, hugged her, and gave her a gift. And mine, Yao Yao, happy wedding. Chen Man Man also walked in and handed the gift to Li Mingyao. Here, this is mine, Yao Yao. Happy wedding. Liu Yuxian also smiled. Thank you. Li Mingyao smiled happily. Chen Man Man sat down on the sofa, looking very happy. Yang Lin followed closely behind, and only Liu Yuxian was helping Li Mingyao prepare drinks and fruits. Yao Yao, you are feeling so comfortable, you ray like a rich woman, Chen Man Man exclaimed. Yes, such a big house with a river view, this is the life I have always dreamed of. Yang Lin also sighed. Come, have some drinks, there are also fruits here. Li Mingyao brought a plate of fruit and a few drinks and placed them in front of them. Chen Man Man, Yang Lin, and Liu Yuxian sat on the sofa while Li Mingyao lay on the lazy chair, all gossiping and complaining about recent events. Yao Yao, you don't know, my internship is so hard now. You know that I have to work overtime every day? Chen Man Man complained. Everyone is like this, I have to work overtime to correct homework every night. It's really a headache. Yang Lin also complained. Yao Yao, why don't you have to go to work? Chen Man Man asked. Yao Yao, you lie, tell the truth, you can't fool us sisters. Yang Lin saw through it at a glance. She is a key protected person now, how could Lin Xuan let Yao Yao go to work? Liu Yuxian said. Liu Yuxian felt that there was no need to hide it from her sisters anymore. After all, Lin Xuan and Li Mingyao had already obtained their marriage certificate. What do you mean? Key protected person? That's weird. Chen Man Man stared at Li Mingyao with a smile. Actually, it's because I'm pregnant. Li Mingyao blushed and spoke in a low voice. Chapter 42. I want to hear the baby's voice. What? Yao Yao, you are pregnant. Yang Lin widened her eyes and said in disbelief. Oh my god. When did it happen? How could it happen so quickly? Chen Man Man couldn't believe it either. It's been more than 3 months. The blush appeared on Li Mengyao's delicate face. Only Liu Yuxian remained silent, she had known it for a long time. Yang Lin. 3 months ago, that is, before you graduated. Chen Man Man. And she's pregnant before marriage, Yuxian, aren't you surprised? I'm surprised. Didn't you see that? Liu Yuxian deliberately put on a surprised expression. Yang Lin, okay. So you already knew it, but you didn't tell us. Chen Man Man, that's right. We are still good sisters, Lin Lin, let's go together. I'm warning you. Don't come over here, if you come over again, I'll scream, Liu Yuxian said fearfully. Holding a pillow, Yang Lin and Chen Man Man surrounded Liu Yuxian together and started tickling her with their hands. Chen Man Man, scream. Scream, even if you scream your throat out, no one will pay attention to you. Yao Yao. Save me. Liu Yuxian was tickled so hard that she begged for mercy and laughed until tears came out. Okay, stop making trouble. It's me who told Xian not to say it. Li Mingyao hurriedly stopped them. Chen Man Man, well, since there is a pregnant woman pleading for you, I won't bother with you. Yang Lin, by the way. Yao Yao, is Lin Xuan good to you? Chen Man Man, yes. Yes. Is he good to you? Lin Xuan is very good to me and I love him very much. Li Mingyao said with a blushing face. Is this still the pure campus beauty from Jingha University, who always maintains a very cold attitude towards boys, an unusual impression? Yang Lin, you're married and have a child. Yao Yao, you're really a winner in life. Hey, what do you think? Should senior Deng Junyi give up? Chen Man Man suddenly remembered that there was a senior in school who was obsessed with Li Mingyao and had been pursuing her. Yang Lin, yes. I heard that he is preparing to return to China. Let him give up on this idea. Yao Yao is already taken. Liu Yuxian did not have a good impression of Deng Junyi. I've rejected him many times, she probably won't come to me again this time. Li Mingyao pursed her lips. Suddenly, the sound of the door unlocking was heard. Wife, I'm back. Lin Xuan walked in carrying a big bag of things. Chen Man Man and the others only saw Li Mingyao quickly get down from the lazy chair, put on her shoes, trot over, and throw herself into Lin Xuan's arms. Welcome home. Every time Lin Xuan returned home, he could always feel a warm breath blowing on his face, and the source of this warmth was Li Mingyao's hug, which made him deeply feel the warmth and happiness of home. Lin Xuan gently stroked Li Mingyao's hair and asked softly, Wife, how do you feel today? Are you feeling uncomfortable? Li Mengyao shook her head gently. I'm fine. Li Mengyao looked back and saw Chen Man, and the others looking at the two of them excitedly. Only then did she let go of Lin Xuan, her face as red as a tomato. Hello? I'm Li Mengyao's husband, Lin Xuan. Hello, I'm Chen Man. Chen Man smiled brightly. Chen Man is tall and slender, with neat short hair, giving people a free and unrestrained feeling. Hello, I'm Yang Lin. Yang Lin also smiled slightly. Yang Lin is completely the opposite. She has a petite figure and long, shiny black hair, giving people a quiet and elegant feeling. As for Yuuxin, naturally, there is no need to introduce her in details. He looks like a domineering queen. You guys continue chatting. I'll go to the kitchen to cook. Lin Xuan smiled slightly, then walked into the kitchen and started preparing lunch. The four returned to their original positions and continued their discussion. Yao, your husband is really handsome. Oh my god, how did you hold his lifeline? Please teach me. At this moment, Li Mengyao could only blush. After a while, Lin Xuan brought out the last dish. It's time for dinner. Everyone came over after smelling the scent. Smells so good. Today we have stir-fried lamb with scallions and cumin spiribus, beef ribs with soy sauce, spicy chicken, and a big plate of grilled fish. Wow, this is so delicious. I have never eaten anything so delicious in my life. Chen Man took a bite and the look of happiness appeared on her face. Yes, even the chefs in big hotels can't make food so delicious. Yang Lin also sighed. Yeah, it's really delicious. Yuuxin pretended to be calm in her words, so as to avoid being besieged by her good roommates who found out that she had been there before. Soon, after Chen Man and the others had eaten and drunk their fill, they prepared to go back. Chen Man. Lin Xuan, Yao is now in your hands, please take good care of her. Yang Lin. Yes, otherwise we sisters will not let you go. Okay, I will protect Mengyao as the most precious person to me. Lin Xuan held Li Mengyao's hand and said in a firm tone. After Chen Man and the others went back, Lin Xuan cleaned up the dishes then. Because he had sweated a lot, he went back to the bathroom to take a quick shower and then returned to his room. At this time, Li Mengyao was leaning against the head of the bed reading quietly. Lin Xuan also climbed onto the bed and lay next to Li Mengyao. Baby, what are you looking at? You. Why did you suddenly call me baby? Li Mengyao blushed, she was not used to it. Because you are my baby. Lin Xuan said with a smile. Shameless, Li Mengyao's face turned red instantly, and she continued to read the book silently, as if she wanted to use the book to cover up her embarrassment and shyness. Seeing that his wife ignored him, Lin Xuan's eyes involuntarily fell on Li Mengyao's soft belly. He slowly reached out his hand, quietly lifted Li Mengyao's clothes, and gently put his ear against her soft belly, accompanied by a burst of fragrance. A wonderful feeling surged in his heart. Husband, what are you doing? Li Mengyao was frightened by Lin Xuan's sudden action. She tried to stop him, but she was a step too late and her face became even redder. Li Mengyao stretched out her little hand and tried to push him away, but the latter did not move at all. Seeing that she couldn't push him open, Li Mengyao began to knead Lin Xuan's handsome face hard. Wife, I want to hear the baby's voice, Lin Xuan said gently. Even though Li Mengyao was already 13 weeks pregnant and the fetus had developed to a certain stage, Lin Xuan still couldn't hear any movement of baby even though he was holding her belly close to his. Li Mengyao was amused by his innocent and cute appearance, and a warm feeling surged in her heart. Did you hear that? I heard it, the baby said. Daddy is so handsome. Shameless. Li Mengyao just looked at Lin Xuan quietly at this moment. He was like a baby. Suddenly, a cell phone rang. Chapter 43. Brother, just wait for me. Suddenly, a cell phone rang. Lin Xuan reluctantly picked up the phone and found that it was his mother calling, so he quickly answered the call. Hey, Mom, what's going on? Son, have you eaten yet? Have eaten. It's good to eat. When are you going to bring my daughter-in-law home to see me? Shang Shulan said impatiently. Lin Xuan put down his phone and turned to look at Li Mengyao. Wife, can we go back to Yanhai City tomorrow morning? Yeah, Li Mengyao nodded obediently. Mom, we'll go back tomorrow morning. In the afternoon, Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao prepared to go to Jinwan shopping mall to buy some gifts to bring back to Yanhai City. Honey, let's go. Li Mengyao changed into a dark blue denim dress, tied a black belt around her waist, and finally wore a pair of white canvas shoes, showing the girl's freshness and vitality. My wife, you look so beautiful today. Lin Xuan walked up to her and put his arms around her, savoring Li Mengyao's fragrance. Okay, stop hugging me and let's go. Li Mengyao pushed him away gently. Lin Xuan held Li Mengyao's hand, came to the parking lot, started the Maybach and headed for Jinwan Plaza. The two went to the second floor of Jinwan shopping mall, found a jewelry store and walked in. Hello, both of you, welcome. Hello, may I ask if there are any bracelets you would like to recommend for gifting to elders? Yes, please wait. A clerk took out several bracelets with a smile and showed them to Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao and introduced their features. Honey, how about this? Will mom like it? Li Mengyao took a fancy to a jade bracelet, which was crystal clear and had a smooth texture, just like emerald green lake water. She should like everything my daughter-in-law gives her. Lin Xuan said with a smile. His biological son is becoming less and less important. Hello, how much is this? Li Mengyao asked politely. Beautiful lady, you have a good taste. This is the one most loved by the elders. The material used is all icy jadeite, so the price will be slightly higher, 100,000 yuan. Li Mengyao turned her head and looked at Lin Xuan, as if asking for Lin Xuan's opinion. Wife, the money in the house is in your hands. You decide. Lin Xuan saw what she was thinking and smiled slightly. Hello, I want this one. Li Mengyao smiled. Okay, I'll pack it right away, please pay here. The clerk was so happy that he sold a large order as soon as he started working in the afternoon. These two young people are really rich. Beautiful lady, please keep it and welcome to visit us next time. After getting the bracelet, Li Mengyao returned to Lin Xuan, took his arm, and walked out of the jewelry store. Let's go and see if there's a gift that daddy likes. Lin Xuan gently snatched the packaging bag. My dad doesn't have any other hobbies, except fishing. Sometimes he even stays up all night, so let's buy him a fishing rod. Do all boys like fishing when they reach middle age? But there doesn't seem to be any fishing tackle store nearby. Li Mengyao blinked her beautiful eyes. Look, there seems to be one there. Li Mengyao followed Lin Xuan's gaze and found one in a corner of Jinwan shopping mall. And let's go. Li Mengyao happily pulled Lin Xuan towards the store. The two walked into the store, and since Li Mengyao didn't know how to choose a fishing rod, she handed it over to Lin Xuan. Lin Xuan reached out and grabbed a fishing rod used specifically for fishing competitions, and looked at it carefully. The fishing rod is pitch black, but the faint light flickering on it, as if it contains endless power. Lin Xuan gently held the handle, felt the texture of the fishing rod, tried to swing it a few times, and it felt pretty good. This is really good. Dad will probably like it very much. Lin Xuan smiled. Then let's go with this one. Li Mengyao smiled. The two men came to the front desk to check out. The boss was a middle-aged man who was preparing fishing bait for the evening. It was obvious that he was a veteran fishing enthusiast. Hello, boss. How much is this? Li Mengyao smiled slightly. This one costs 60,000 yuan. Because it's a competition fishing rod, the materials used are all top-notch. The owner of the fishing shop didn't expect that such young people would come to buy fishing rods. A fishing rod costs 60,000 yuan? Boss, can you give me a discount? Li Mengyao looked at the fat middle-aged man with pitiful eyes. Do you like fishing? The boss looked at the two and asked. Yeah, we love fishing the most. Li Mengyao blurted out. Only Lin Xuan looked at his wife in shock. Is this how his wife bargained? Well, since you two are young people who love fishing, I'll sell it to you at a lower price, 50,000 yuan. It really can't be any cheaper. Thank you, boss. Li Mengyao was so happy that she almost jumped up after hearing this. After walking out of the store, Lin Xuan couldn't help but laugh. Bubby, what are you laughing at? Li Mengyao pouted. I'm laughing, honey, you are so virtuous. Do you really know how to fish? Li Mengyao's pretty face flushed red. She raised her jade hand and twisted it towards a familiar place. Okay, honey, I was wrong. By the way, honey, what does your sister like? Li Mengyao suddenly remembered that Lin Xuan had a younger sister. Cici? You don't have to buy anything for her if you really want to buy something. I think you can buy 5 years of college entrance examinations and 3 years of simulations. Lin Xuan showed his signature smile. Lin Cici brother, just wait for me. Be serious. Li Mengyao rolled her eyes at Lin Xuan and suddenly saw an Apple mobile phone store upstairs. I know what to buy, let's go. Li Mengyao took Lin Xuan's hand and walked upstairs. The two soon arrived at the door of the mobile phone store. Wife, do you want to buy a mobile phone for Cici? Lin Xuan asked. Yes, Li Mengyao smiled slightly. Her cell phone was just confiscated at school. Lin Xuan smiled heartily. It's okay, just let her play at home. Li Mengyao felt that she shouldn't be so strict with her children and that she should relax. Lin Cici, sister-in-law, my dear sister-in-law, I love you. Then the two of them walked in. Hello, both of you, how can I help you? A clerk came forward. Hello, do you have the latest model of Apple phone? Li Mengyao asked politely. Yes. This is our latest Apple 15 version. It is not only equipped with the most advanced chip technology, but also an ultra-definition camera, which allows you to easily take high-quality, clear and delicate photos and videos. The appearance is stylish and simple, and a variety of colors are available, showing your personal charm. The clerk explained in detail. How much is this top model? The top configuration costs 18,999 yuan. Li Mengyao was a little hesitant. She bought 50,000 or 100,000 yuan for her parents, but only bought 10 0 yuan for her sister Lin Xuan. Would she be considered a bad sister-in-law? Chapter 44, a bit like selling insurance. The clerks saw Li Mengyao frowning and suddenly remembered that they were both students and probably couldn't afford such expensive things. If you think the top version is too expensive, you can take a look at the standard version. No need. Do you have the latest laptop? Li Mengyao had an idea. Yes, or do you want the top configuration? The clerk asked in shock. Yes, the top-notch one. Li Mengyao nodded slightly. Okay. Wait a moment. Soon, the clerk brought a notebook and placed it in front of Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao. This is our latest top-of-the-line Apple laptop. It has an amazing running speed, a massive amount of memory, and is incredibly light. The price is also a bit more expensive. At 22,399 yuan. Honey, what do you think? Li Mengyao looked up at Lin Xuan. I think Cici is laughing so hard now. Lin Xuan nodded helplessly. We want these too. Li Mengyao smiled slightly. Okay, wait a moment. The clerk left and immediately came back. Hello, beautiful lady, if you want these two items, you might as well try our latest full gift package, which includes a mobile phone, iPad, laptop and wireless headphones. They are all top-notch. The original price is 77,188 yuan, and now the discounted price is 67,188 yuan. It's better to just buy the whole set, which is more cost-effective, the clerk introduced. Li Mengyao pursed her lips and looked at Lin Xuan hesitantly again. Buy it, you have money anyway, my dear. It can be considered a big gift for Cici. Lin Xuan smiled. Okay, let's buy the whole set. Li Mengyao smiled again. Okay, wait a moment. The clerk packed up excitedly and completed another big order. Alas, even Lin Cici's gift is more valuable than her father's. It turns out that family status determines value. Lin Xuan glanced at Li Mengyao, who was playing with her mobile phone, and suddenly realized that his wife was still using the old mobile phone. It's just that Li Mengyao loves cleanliness and always wipes her phone clean, making it look like new. In fact, she bought it during her freshman year in college. Hello, could you please add another latest model of Apple 15 top and mobile phone? Lin Xuan said to the clerk, who was still packing. Okay. It'll be there right away. The clerk smiled even more happily. Husband, why do you want to buy another mobile phone? Li Mengyao gently squeezed Lin Xuan's hand. Wife, how many years have you been using this cell phone? Lin Xuan looked at her gently. It won't take long, it can still be used. Li Mengyao blushed slightly and said in a low voice. It's my fault that I just realized it now. Wife, you don't have to worry about how to save money in the future, just spend it boldly. Lin Xuan gently hugged Li Mengyao. No, we need to be frugal and manage our household well, Li Mengyao murmured. This girl is really so lovable. Be obedient, Lin Xuan said gently. Oh. Soon, Lin Xuan walked out of the store carrying a lot of bags. Li Mengyao took his arm and continued to look left and right to see if there was anything else he needed to buy. Honey, don't buy any more. I can't carry them anymore. It's okay, I can still get it. Li Mengyao was unmoved, and then she discovered a men's clothing store. Let's go over there and take a look. Li Mengyao happily stretched out her little finger and pointed. Clothes? I don't lack clothes, Lin Xuan said. I'm tired of seeing you wearing the same few clothes over and over again. Be obedient. Li Mengyao grabbed Lin Xuan's hand and walked into the store. Don't boys change clothes back and forth? Lin Xuan didn't understand, but he listened to his wife and walked in. The two walked into the store. Li Mengyao took a look, then walked forward, picked up a few pieces of clothing, and tried them on Lin Xuan. This style is not good looking. Li Mengyao shook her head slightly. The color of this piece is too eye-catching. Li Mengyao continued to choose. This polo shirt and that short-sleeve t-shirt are both pretty good, honey. You should try them. Li Mengyao nodded with satisfaction. Good. Lin Xuan picked up 2 pieces of clothing and went to the locker room to change. After Lin Xuan tried on 2 pieces of clothing, Li Mengyao smiled and nodded, saying that these were the 2 she wanted. She turned her head and glanced at the suit beside her. She had never seen Lin Xuan wearing a suit before, so how could she miss this opportunity today? Then he picked one and handed it to Lin Xuan again. Hubby, try again. Li Mengyao raised the corners of her mouth slightly. Come again. Lin Xuan picked up his clothes helplessly and went back to the locker room again, while Li Mengyao waited quietly outside. Not long after, Lin Xuan walked out of the locker room wearing a clean white suit, a classic black jacket, an exquisite black belt, and slim black trousers. He looked particularly energetic and dignified. Wife, how is it? It looks good, it really looks good. It's a bit like selling insurance. Li Mengyao's eyes were curved with joy. Wife, you are kidding me. Lin Xuan's face turned red with embarrassment, and he hurried back to the locker room to change back. Li Mengyao is really happy. Her husband is also sometimes dull. Hello? Please help me pack these 2 on the suit he just wore. Okay, wait a moment. Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao walked out of the store, finally finishing their shopping in the mall. Wife, let's go back and eat. Lin Xuan took Li Mengyao's hand and prepared to leave, but the latter did not move, staring straight at a barbecue restaurant upstairs. Honey, I want to eat barbecue. No, there's a strong smell of cooking fumes there, and I'm afraid you'll have morning sickness again. Lin Xuan refused. This barbecue restaurant has a smoker at every table, so there's no smell of oil smoke. That won't work either. Who knows if the meat here is fresh? Lin Xuan refused again. This barbecue restaurant ranks first in Jinghe City, and the meat is very fresh. Isn't it? Li Mengyao pouted her lips and said coquettously. The two of them walked around for the whole afternoon, and Li Mengyao didn't want Lin Xuan to go home and work hard to cook. Besides, the barbecue was really delicious. Under Li Mengyao's soft and hard persuasion and cute attacks, Lin Xuan had no choice but to agree. But there is a prerequisite. Lin Xuan will first taste it to see if it is fresh. If he finds that the meat is not fresh, he will immediately take his wife home for dinner. Afterwards, the two of them happily walked into the barbecue restaurant. After a while, the waiter brought all the ingredients that needed to be grilled. Lin Xuan picked up a piece of beef, put it on the baking tray and slowly roasted it. After it was cooked, he put it into his mouth and tasted it carefully. How is it? Not bad. Li Mengyao almost drooled when she saw it. After all, she was really hungry. Well, the meat is pretty good and quite fresh. After saying that, Lin Xuan picked up another piece of beef and put it on the baking tray. After it was thoroughly cooked, he gently blew away the heat on the surface and then brought it to Li Mengyao's lips. Honey, be careful of the heat. Li Mengyao opened her mouth slightly and took a bite of the beef. Suddenly, a satisfied smile appeared on her face. At this moment, in a corner, a figure was looking towards Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao. Isn't this our school's most beautiful girl? Li? Chapter 45. What are you, a follower? Shan Yue is Deng Junyi's friend, and he happened to be eating at this barbecue restaurant at that time. And he slowly took out his mobile phone from his pocket, turned on the camera, and pointed the lens at Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao. When Lin Xuan gently put the food to Li Mengyao's mouth, he pressed the shutter button and sent it to Deng Junyi. An hour later, Li Mengyao took Lin Xuan's arm and left the barbecue restaurant contentedly. Wife, let's grill at home next time. Lin Xuan looked at Li Mengyao gently. Okay. Li Mengyao smiled sweetly. Just as Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao were about to leave Jinwan shopping mall, an uninvited guest suddenly stood in front of them. This person was Deng Junyi. Deng Junyi is 180 cm tall, about the same height as Lin Xuan. He has a good appearance, sharp eyebrows, bright eyes, and a handsome face, but he is still a little inferior to Lin Xuan. At this moment, he is looking at Lin Xuan with an arrogant expression. Long time no see, junior sister Mengyao. Deng Junyi looked at Li Mengyao gently. Long time no see, Senior Deng, Li Mengyao responded politely. This is a gift I brought you from abroad. Do you like it? Deng Junyi completely ignored Lin Xuan and handed the exquisite high-end perfume in his hand to Li Mengyao. I'm sorry. I don't like using this perfume, Senior Deng. You should keep it for yourself, Li Mengyao said calmly. It doesn't matter if you don't like this, I'll buy you what you like, Deng Junyi continued. No need. Senior Deng, you don't have to give me anything, Li Mengyao said in a cold tone. Don't you understand my feelings? I've liked you for 4 years. Who is that person next to you? Deng Junyi clenched his fists and said angrily when he saw a shining diamond ring on Li Mengyao's left hand. I know. But I said it a long time ago that we are not suitable. The man next to me is my husband. Li Mengyao held Lin Xuan's hand tightly. Why? Why did you get married after I was gone for only a year? He's nothing but a gigolo. Mengyao, don't be deceived by him. Deng Junyi said angrily. People who randomly and maliciously comment on others are often conceited. It is not your turn to comment on my husband. Please don't harass me again in the future. Hubby, let's go. Li Mengyao's eyes suddenly turned cold and she said angrily. Li Mengyao doesn't like Deng Junyi, so she calls him Senior Deng out of politeness. But he slandered Lin Xuan, and Li Mengyao certainly couldn't agree to it. If I'm a gigolo, what are you, a follower? Lin Xuan looked at Deng Junyi and smiled disaffably. Then, Li Mengyao held Lin Xuan's hand tightly, walked around Deng Junyi without hesitation, and walked forward with big strides. At this moment, Deng Junyi's face became extremely ugly. He clenched his fists tightly, with anger and unwillingness flashing in his eyes. Suddenly, Deng Junyi turned around. As if he had lost his mind, he waved his fists like crazy and rushed straight towards Lin Xuan. Facing this sudden attack, Lin Xuan remained extremely calm. He seemed to have already noticed the movement behind him, and quickly let go of Li Mengyao's hand and turned around at lightning speed. Lin Xuan accurately caught Deng Junyi's fist, then pushed him hard, followed by a beautiful shoulder throw, knocking Deng Junyi to the ground. Deng Junyi screamed and lay on the ground, unable to move for a while. A sneak attack from behind. You are really a follower. There are surveillance cameras here. I'm warning you, if you do anything wrong again, we will call the police. Lin Xuan said coldly. Honey, are you okay? Li Mengyao was frightened and hurried back to Lin Xuan. looking carefully to see if he was injured anywhere. It's okay, he's just a desperate man, he can't hurt me at all. Lin Xuan smiled slightly. Let's go. Li Mengyao saw that everyone around her was looking at her strangely, so she took Lin Xuan's hand and left. After returning home in the evening, Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao began to pack their luggage. After packing her luggage, Li Mengyao went into the bathroom to take a shower, while Lin Xuan lay on the sofa and read the daily corporate newspaper of Jinwan Technology Co. Limited. Honey, go get me some pajamas. Li Mengyao opened the bathroom door a crack, poking her little head out with a shy look on her face. Okay. Where did you put your pajamas? Lin Xuan said with a smile. I forgot, please help me find it. Li Mengyao said nervously. Lin Xuan first went to the closet but didn't find it, then he went to the huge balcony and saw cute pajamas hanging there at a glance. Soon, Lin Xuan took Li Mengyao's cute pajamas and came to the bathroom door. At this time, Li Mengyao quickly retracted her cute little head into the bathroom, leaving only one white and delicate arm exposed, exuding a charming luster. Lin Xuan was stunned. Okay, are you okay? Li Mengyao asked in a low voice. Here. Lin Xuan came back to his senses and handed the pajamas to Li Mengyao. Thank you, husband. Li Mengyao was about to take back her pajamas, but found that she couldn't pull them off no matter how hard she tried. Lin Xuan. Let go, Li Mengyao said angrily. Wife, why don't we take a shower together? Lin Xuan showed his signature smile. No, you big rascal. Okay. Honey, I was just teasing you. Lin Xuan gently let go of his hand. Big bad guy. After Li Mengyao withdrew her hand, she quickly closed the door and did not forget to scold Lin Xuan. Lin Xuan returned to the living room with a smile. Half an hour later, Li Mengyao finally came out of the bathroom, glared at Lin Xuan who was still smiling on the sofa, and went back to her room to rest. My wife is so cute when she is angry. Afterwards, Lin Xuan also walked into the bathroom and started to take a shower. Halfway through, he suddenly realized. Where's my towel? Where's it? After searching in the bathroom for a long time, Lin Xuan had no choice but to open the bathroom door slightly. Wife, my towel is missing, can you help me find it? I can't hear you. Wife, I was wrong. What's wrong? You should not tease your wife. I will never dare to do that again. I don't dare. There was no response from Li Mengyao just as Lin Xuan was still admitting his mistake. He suddenly heard light footsteps slowly approaching the bathroom. Suddenly a blue light flashed before Lin Xuan's eyes. He looked closely and saw that it was Li Mengyao holding a blue towel and standing at the bathroom door. She moved very quickly, like a guilty thief, and hung the towel on the bathroom door handle, then turned around and ran back to the room. With a hint of laughter. Chapter 46. This is my home now. After taking a shower, Lin Xuan returned to the room and saw Li Mengyao pretending to read seriously with an unconcealable smile on her face from time to time. She glanced at Lin Xuan who was standing in front of the window. Lin Xuan had roughly guessed the reason. Wife, where did you find the towel? Lin Xuan was lying on the bed, next to Li Mengyao. Well, on the balcony. Li Mengyao said calmly. That's strange, I found your pajamas on the balcony, but I didn't notice my towel hanging there at that time. Lin Xuan said with a smile. You're seeing things, Li Mengyao continued to pretend to be calm. And is there a possibility that my wife secretly took my towel and then pretended not to know? Lin Xuan once again showed his signature smile. There is no such possibility, honey, I am sleepy. At night? Li Mengyao put the book beside the bed as quickly as possible, and then climbed onto the bed as lightly as a cat. She lay quietly with her eyes closed. And her breathing became even, as if she had really fallen asleep. However, the slightly upturned corners of her mouth betrayed her. After seeing this, Lin Xuan didn't tolerate it and leaned over to kiss those tempting lips. I'm ignoring you. Li Mengyao turned around, leaving Lin Xuan with only the back of her head looking pretty. In the end, she was the one who suffered. Li Mengyao couldn't figure it out, and suddenly she thought of something. Li Mengyao turned around again and looked at Lin Xuan with worry in her eyes. Hubby, will Cici dislike me as her sister-in-law? Of course not, my wife is so gentle and pretty, as beautiful as a fairy. Everyone who sees her will like her. Lin Xuan took the opportunity to stroke Li Mengyao's hair with one hand, exuding a charming fragrance. Stop kidding. I'm serious, Li Mengyao said with some embarrassment. Cici is a lively person, the more lively the scene, the happier she is. Don't worry, my wife. Okay. It's getting late, the babies need to go to bed. Lin Xuan hugged Li Mengyao tightly and comforted her. Then they both fell asleep. The next morning, Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao didn't get up until the sun was shining on their butts. After they finished washing up, Lin Xuan went to the kitchen to prepare breakfast, and Li Mengyao counted the luggage to see if she had missed anything. Soon, after finishing breakfast, the two came to the parking lot downstairs of Jinwan Mansion. Just as Lin Xuan was about to walk towards his Maybach, Li Mengyao suddenly grabbed him. Honey, let's drive the Xiaomi SU7 this time. Li Mengyao smiled slightly. Why? Lin Xuan asked, puzzled. Lie. Because you dote on Xiao Qi too much, don't you think it's too serious? This Xiaomi has only been driven a few times? Li Mengyao blinked her elegant eyes slightly. Lin Xuan thought about it and realized that it was indeed not open very often. Okay, I'll listen to my wife. Lin Xuan took Li Mengyao to the Xiaomi SU7. After she sat firmly in the back seat, he returned to the driver's seat and started the car. Ding! It is detected that the host needs to drive the Xiaomi smart car for a long journey for the safety of the babies. The system will help you upgrade the Xiaomi SU7's smart driving system and battery for free. 1 minute later. Congratulations to the host for successfully upgrading the Xiaomi SU7. The intelligent driving system has been upgraded to the top level. In the future, the host does not need manual driving. The battery has also been successfully upgraded. The host only needs to charge it once to run for a year. There is such a good thing. Originally, Lin Xuan was planning to drive manually, but the system upgraded for free. Xiaoe, turn on the smart driving mode, Lin Xuan said with some anticipation. Then a gentle response sounded. Okay, where do you need to go? Master, go to Yunhe City, Lin Xuan replied. Okay, the destination has been set as Yunhe City. We are about to depart. Please fasten your seatbelt and relax. After the Xiaomi SU7's intelligence system sounded a prompt, the vehicle started slowly and drove smoothly towards Yunhe City. Lin Xuan sat quietly in the driver's seat, holding the steering wheel lightly with both hands. At first, he was still a little worried, fearing that an accident might occur, so he was ready to take over the vehicle at any time. Soon, Lin Xuan witnessed the power of the system, and he couldn't help but feel a surge of emotion in his heart. The system is so powerful that the upgraded intelligent driving is already very advanced. And its reaction speed is even much faster than that of humans. Along the way, Lin Xuan looked at the scenery while talking to Li Mengyao about his hometown, Yunhe City. It is a beautiful coastal city with a stunning coastline and unique charm. Can I go see the sea then? Li Mengyao asked expectantly. Li Mengyao has never seen the sea since she was a child. Of course, Lin Xuan said with a smile. While chatting, Li Mengyao fell asleep again. Soon, 3 hours passed. Lin Xuan drove out of the Yunhe City toll station and came to a place he was familiar with. Wife, wake up, we have arrived in Yunhe City. Lin Xuan patted Li Mengyao gently. Are we there yet? Li Mengyao rubbed her eyes with her little hands, then looked out the window with surprise. The city is located on the shore of the Blue Sea. The edge of the city is connected to the sea. The Blue Sea and the sky merge into one, forming a beautiful picture. Wow, it's so beautiful. We can go to the beach in the evening. Let's go home now. Lin Xuan smiled slightly. A hint of happiness flashed across Li Mengyao's face. Xiaomi SU7 started again and drove slowly towards Lin Xuan's hometown. After a while, the two came to a community that looked very warm, with good greenery and beautiful environment. Although this neighborhood has been lived in for several years, it still maintains a brand new appearance. Lin Xuan parked the car in the parking lot, then took Li Mengyao's hand and walked towards the elevator door. When they walked into the elevator, Lin Xuan could clearly feel that Li Mengyao's little hands were slightly sweaty, which made him laugh. Still nervous? It's okay, Haven T, we've seen this before at home, relax. My mother should be the only one at home at this time. Lin Xuan smiled slightly. I'm still nervous, Li Mengyao said in a low voice. At this time, the two had arrived at Lin Xuan's house. He took out the key, opened the door and walked in. Mom, I'm back, Lin Xuan said happily. My daughter-in-law is here. You must have had a hard time on the journey. Chen Shulan came up to greet him enthusiastically and bypassed Lin Xuan directly. Come on. This is your home now, don't be polite. Okay, Ma, Li Mengyao said a little nervously. After Li Mengyao sat down, Shen Shulan looked back at her son and said, What are you still standing there for? Bring in all the luggage. I know, Lin Xuan said helplessly. After Lin Xuan brought the luggage in, Li Mengyao took out the jade bracelet from inside and handed it to Shang Shulan with a smile. Mom, this is a gift for you. Shang Shulan smiled happily. Why buy a gift? You are the best gift. Shang Shulan picked up the crystal clear jade bracelet and could tell at a glance that it was not cheap. Mom likes it very much, but you are not allowed to buy it next time, understand? Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao just kept smiling and pretended not to hear. Of course, they would continue to buy. Daughter-in-law, have you been to the hospital for a checkup recently? How is the baby? Shang Shulan asked impatiently. The baby is developing very healthily, the doctor also said. Li Mengyao lowered her eyes nervously. What else did you say? Shang Shulan asked anxiously. The doctor said it was twins. Shang Shulan was stunned for a moment. Chapter 47. Lin Xuan is very kind to me. What? Twins? Shang Shulan jumped up from the sofa as if there was a spring under her butt. Then quickly walked to Li Mengyao and sat down, holding her little hand tightly, her face full of joy, her mouth almost grinning from ear to ear. Mengyao, are they really twins? Yes. It's true. Li Mengyao was frightened by her mother-in-law's series of abnormal actions. Here, this is the pregnancy test report. Lin Xuan quickly handed Li Mengyao's most recent pregnancy test report to his mother. Chang Shellen took the report and saw the words, twins, clearly written on it. He was so excited that her hands began to tremble. That's great. Son, you are really good. Lin Xuan smiled slightly, and Li Mengyao's face turned slightly red after hearing that. Chang Shellen read the pregnancy test report again, and kept repeating, twins are good, twins are good. Suddenly, Chang Shellen thought of another thing. Son, did you bring your and Yao Yao's marriage certificate? Show it to Mom. Here it is. Lin Xuan continued to hand the little red book to his mother. Chang Shellen looked left and right. A happy smile on her face. My silly son finally got married, and my daughter-in-law is so beautiful. She is so beautiful that she can make fish sink to the bottom of the water and geese fall to the ground. What's even more surprising is that my daughter-in-law is pregnant with twins. Maybe they are a boy and a girl. Li Mengyao blinked in confusion. She had never expected her mother-in-law to be so excited. How can I not be excited? I have two kids at once and will be grandparents soon. After a while, Chang Shellen realized that she had lost her composure. So she sat back next to Li Mengyao and said with a smile, Mom is just happy, don't be surprised. Li Mengyao was still a little nervous and said, Mom, I understand. She herself was also very shocked when she found out they were twins. Chang Shellen looked at Li Mengyao's belly. She was 14 weeks pregnant and carrying twins. So why wasn't she showing yet? You little brat, didn't you provide my daughter-in-law with enough nutrition? Why isn't her belly showing yet? Chang Shellen glared at Lin Xuan. Mom, some pregnant women show their pregnancy later in life, Lin Xuan explained helplessly. Mom, Lin Xuan is very nice to me, Li Mengyao said in a low voice. Mom is too anxious. Chang Shellen immediately changed her expression to a gentle one and smiled at Li Mengyao. Son, go to the kitchen and make lunch also. Remember to stew some old hand soup for Mengyao to supplement her nutrition. Chang Shellen had a different expression towards Lin Xuan. Why do I have to cook when I get home? Lin Xuan complained. You are such a jerk. You have always disliked my cooking since you were a kid. Go now. Lin Xuan walked into the kitchen helplessly and started to get busy. Li Mengyao clenched her hands tightly together. She became even more nervous after Lin Xuan left. Chang Shellen saw the diamond ring on Li Mengyao's left hand and the bracelet she gave to her daughter-in-law for the first time. And her heart was filled with joy. Mengyao, don't be so nervous, just treat this as your own home. Yeah, Li Mengyao nodded slightly. At this moment, the door was suddenly opened. And it was Comrade Lin Zhengjiuo who came back. Honey, I'm back. He walked in with a sad face because of the pressure of working in a state-owned enterprise. Then Chang Shellen glared at him fiercely, which made him feel uneasy and tremble all over. And he discovered that his daughter-in-law Li Mengyao was sitting on the sofa in a dignified and quiet manner, looking a little restrained and nervous. Dad. Mengyao. You're here. Lin Zhengjiuo came back to his senses, immediately put on a friendly smile and responded enthusiastically. Did that kid Lin Xuan bully you? Tell Dad, I'll teach him a lesson. Lin Zhengjiuo sat down on the sofa opposite and said with a smile. No. Lin Xuan is really good to me. Li Mengyao's pretty face is red. Kissing shouldn't be considered bullying. Dad. This is the gift I brought you from Jinghe City. Li Mengyao handed Lin Zhengjiuo the competition-specific fishing rod she had bought at the mall. Lin Zhengjiuo could tell at a glance that this fishing rod was worth a lot of money. He held it in his hand and kept stroking it. What a good rod. He had wanted to buy a fishing rod like this a long time ago, but unfortunately the financial power was in the hands of Chang Shellen, who felt that it was not worth spending tens of thousands of dollars on a broken fishing rod. Thank you, Mengyao. I like it very much, Lin Zhengjiuo said happily. By the way, Lao Lin, take a look at this. Chang Shellen pointed to the small red book and a pregnancy test report on the table. Lin Zhengjiuo picked up the marriage certificate and looked at it. The corners of his mouth slightly raised, revealing a barely perceptible smile. Then he picked up the pregnancy test report and was stunned for a moment. A few seconds later, a smile broke out on his face. Where is Lin Xuan? Lin Zhengjiuo asked impatiently. Cooking in the kitchen. Chang Shellen replied. And I'll go help. You guys continue chatting. After saying that, he walked into the kitchen happily like a little child. Chang Shellen couldn't help but feel a little surprised. Lao Lin usually gave people an impression of being calm and reserved, but this time he simply disregarded his image. Come to the kitchen. Lin Zhengjiuo slapped his son Lin Xuan hard. That's great, little brat. You let me be the grandfather of two children at once, Lin Zhengjiuo said happily. Dad, be gentle. Lin Xuan looked at his father's speechless lie. If there's anything else you need to cook, Dad will help you. Dad, aren't you tired after get off work? In Lin Xuan's impression, Lin Zhengjiuo was always very tired after get off work. Why are you tired? I'm full of energy now. I'll help you and Dad a few more dishes for the babies. Then Lin Zhengjiuo picked up the kitchen knife and started to get busy. After a while, the father and son prepared a table full of dishes. It's time to eat. At the dinner table, Shan Shaolin kept picking up food for Li Mengyao. And her bowl was never empty. But Li Mengyao really couldn't eat so much, so she had to look up at Lin Xuan and raised her eyebrows. Lin Xuan understood what Li Mengyao meant and finished everything she couldn't eat. Mengyao, can we go back to Lin Xuan's hometown together, in a few days? His grandparents have always wanted to see you, Shen Shaolin asked. Okay, Li Mengyao nodded slightly. After lunch, it was Shen Shaolin who cleaned up the dishes. Lin Xuan took Li Mengyao's hand and returned to his room. After Li Mengyao entered, she looked around carefully. It was a spacious and tidy room with a bed. Opposite the bed there is a wardrobe, which is simple and practical in style. There is also a desk next to the bed, on which is a notebook. And the bookshelf is filled with various books and some Gundam mecha models. Honey, you're still playing with this. Li Mengyao picked up one of the models and smiled slightly. Those are all things we played with when we were little. Okay, time to take a nap. And the two hugged each other and fell into a sweet dream together. Chapter 48, Number 1 Scholar. The time came, 3:30 in the afternoon. Lin Xuan slowly opened his eyes and looked at the beautiful woman in his arms, who was still sleeping soundly. He carefully tried to get up quietly. Just as Lin Xuan was changing clothes, Li Mengyao's sensitive little hands noticed Lin Xuan's departure, and she opened her eyes in a daze. Honey, where are you going? Li Mengyao propped herself up with one hand, rubbed her eyes gently with the other hand, and asked in a soft voice. I'm going to pick up Cici and take her home. She's going to have summer vacation soon. You can continue to sleep, honey, Lin Xuan responded gently. I want to go too. Li Mengyao quickly sat up and hugged Lin Xuan. Li Mengyao wanted to leave a good impression on Lin Cici. Okay. Let's go together. Lin Xuan rubbed Li Mengyao's pretty head. Another half hour passed. Hubby, let's go. Li Mengyao changed into a simple white shirt, paired with an elegant black skirt, and put on light makeup, giving people a fresh and natural temperament, highlighting her purity and charming charm. Lin Xuan stared at her again. Don't kiss me, I finally got the new one. Li Mengyao stretched out her little hand and gently pressed Lin Xuan to prevent him from succeeding. But Miss Li Mengyao's strength was no match for Lin Xuan. Lin Xuan lightly touched Li Mengyao's alluring lips with lightning speed. Just a kiss, Lin Xuan said with a smile. Okay, let's go. Li Mengyao's face turned red and she quickly broke free from Lin Xuan's arms, holding his hand and walked out. The two came to the parking lot and got on the Xiaomi SU7. Student Xiaowei, please go to Yunhai City No. 1 Middle School, Lin Xuan said. Yes, master. Xiaomi SU7 started slowly and drove towards Yunhai No. 1 Middle School. More than 20 minutes later, the Xiaomi SU7 parked steadily in the parking lot of Yunhai No. 1 Middle School. It was already 4:30 in the afternoon, and Lin Cici still had half an hour to finish studying for the last subject of the final exam. Lin Xuan originally wanted to stay in the car and wait for his sister to finish the exam. Honey, can we go for a walk around the school? Li Mengyao pulled Lin Xuan's hand and smiled slightly. Okay, let's go. Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao got out of the car and walked hand in hand to the security room at the school gate. Uncle, do you remember me? Lin Xuan greeted the security guard with a smile. Hey, isn't this Xiao Xuan? How come you have time to come back? The security guard responded with a smile. I brought my wife back to visit my alma mater, and to pick up my sister for the holiday. Can I go in and take a look? Lin Xuan smiled heartily. Xiao Xuan is a celebrity in the school, of course you can come in. The security guard pressed the button in his hand, and the school gate slowly opened. What a talented man and a beautiful woman, Xiao Xuan. I didn't expect you to get married so soon. The security guard looked at the two of them with a kind eye. Uncle, are you ready to retire too? Lin Xuan asked. Yes, I will retire after I finish my work this year. Okay, you can go in. The security guard said with a smile. Thank you, sir, Li Mengyao responded politely. No. Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao came to Yunhai No. 1 Middle School, which is the top institution of higher learning in Yunhai City and gathers outstanding students from all over the city. The campus is shaded by great trees and blooming flowers. The modern teaching buildings are neatly arranged and the environment is clean. Every corner exudes rigor and order. The two walked side by side on the greenway, their steps slow and gentle, as if they were afraid of breaking the tranquility. Li Mengyao raised her head slightly, quietly feeling the unique atmosphere of the campus. The breeze gently caressed her face, bringing a faint scent of grass. She imagined every day that Lin Xuan spent in high school, his focused expression in class, and the way he laughed and played with his classmates after class. A feeling of joy involuntarily welled up in her heart. On both sides of the greenway, every 10 or so meters there stand display boards depicting the glorious deeds of college entrance examinations over the years. Li Mengyao strolled among them, her eyes inadvertently sweeping across the display boards. Suddenly, her eyes stopped at a certain display board, and she walked closer to take a closer look. Was Anne T at her current husband, Lin Xuan? It was clearly written on the glorious deeds board. Lin Xuan won the title of Yunhai City's top scorer in science in 2020 with an astonishing score of 687, and was successfully admitted to Jinghe University. Li Mengyao was stunned. She knew that Lin Xuan was very smart and had a strong learning ability, but she didn't expect that he was the top scorer in science. No wonder the security guard just said that Lin Xuan is a celebrity in the school. Honey, why didn't you tell me these things? Li Mengyao raised her head slightly and asked with a smile. Your husband is very low-key. Besides, you didn't ask. Lin Xuan smiled proudly. Lin Xuan wanted to reach out and pinch Li Mengyao's little face, but she easily dodged him. You should be more restrained in high school. Lin Xuan then gave up. Isn't this Lin Xuan? Why are you back? A middle-aged woman walked slowly over. She was wearing a light blue dress and a pair of white high heels. Her steps were light and graceful. This person was Lin Xuan's senior class teacher, Miss Qiu. Teacher Qiu. Long time no see. You are still as beautiful as ever, and look younger and younger. Lin Xuan smiled with surprise. You are different after going to college. You even start making jokes about your teachers. Qiu couldn't help laughing out loud. Lin Xuan chuckled and introduced the woman next to him to teacher Qiu. This is my wife, Li Mengyao. And he turned to Li Mengyao and said, Wife, this is my senior year class teacher, Teacher Qiu. Hello, Teacher Qiu. Li Mengyao greeted politely. Hello, you are such a beautiful girl. You two are a perfect match. I didn't expect Xiaoshuan to get married so soon. Qiu smiled with satisfaction. Thank you for the compliment, teacher. Li Mengyao's cheeks flushed slightly after hearing Qiu's compliment. You may not know that because Lin Xuan is handsome, many girls approached him in high school, including some who were very pretty. However, Lin Xuan was unmoved and only cared about studying, so in the end they all said he was a nerd. But those girls are not as pretty as you are. Xiaoshuan has a really good taste. Qiu said with a smile as she recalled Lin Xuan's high school days. Li Mengyao was a little confused after hearing this. A nerd? Wouldn't nerd hug her and kiss her every night? Chapter 49 Sister-in-law, you are simply my savior. Bing ling ling, the exam time is up. Please stop answering questions. The bell indicating the end of the exam time rang. Teacher still has things to do. Please come back to visit your alma mater often when you have time. Qiu said goodbye with a smile. Then Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao came to Lin Cici's teaching building and waited. Not long after, a girl with skin as white as snow, delicate features, a high-nose bridge, and eyes as deep and bright as Lin Xuan's was the first to run out of the teaching building. Her high ponytail bounced up and down as she ran, highlighting her innocence and cuteness. The cleverness revealed between his brows makes people's eyes light up. Elder brother. Lin Cici immediately spotted Lin Xuan, who came to pick her up, and waved her hands excitedly and shouted loudly at the same time. She also saw the elegant and beautiful woman next to Lin Xuan. That should be my sister-in-law. Lin Cici trotted over excitedly, took Lin Xuan's hand, and said happily, Brother, you came to pick me up? Lin Xuan reached out and touched Lin Cici's little head, and said with a smile, Yes. Let me introduce you. This is your sister-in-law, Li Mengyao. Lin Cici then said to Li Mengyao happily, Hello sister-in-law, I am Lin Xuan's sister Lin Cici. Li Mengyao smiled slightly. Hello Cici. My sister-in-law is so beautiful. I knew she was a beauty from the photos I saw in the group chat. I didn't expect her to be even prettier in person. She is like a fairy descending to earth. And Lin Cici looked at Lin Xuan with a questioning look. Lin Cici couldn't figure out how her silly brother managed to marry such a beautiful sister-in-law. Lin Xuan immediately saw through his sister's thoughts and gave her a light slap. What are you thinking about? Go back to the dormitory and move your luggage out. Brother, won't you help me move? Lin Cici covered her forehead and complained with a frown. It's not convenient for me to enter your girls' dormitory. I'll drive the car to the downstairs of your dormitory later and you can just move down, Lin Xuan explained. Oh, after all, Lin Xuan had just graduated from college, not much older than the high school students. It would be bad for him to enter the girls' dormitory in the name of a parent. Cici, let me help you move your luggage, Li Mengyao said to Lin Cici in a soft tone. Sister-in-law, this is absolutely not possible. You are pregnant. If my mother knew about it, she would beat me to death. Lin Cici hurriedly waved her hands to refuse. It's okay. I'll just help you get some light things. Li Mengyao smiled slightly. No, the school is getting ready for the holidays. And the dormitory corridors are full of people. What if we bump into each other? Lin Xuan quickly spoke up to stop Li Mengyao. Okay then. Li Mengyao said in a low voice. Cici, go back and pack your things. I'll be waiting for you downstairs in the dormitory. Lin Xuan said with a smile. Yeah, Lin Cici responded, and then ran towards her dormitory building like a little rabbit. Cece is so cute, Li Mengyao said with a smile. She is just a lively little girl, with a very lively and cheerful personality. Okay, let's get back to the car. Not long after, the two returned to the car, started the Xiaomi SU7, and drove to the downstairs of Lin Cece's dormitory. Half an hour later, Lin Cece was carrying a small and exquisite school bag, dragging a large suitcase with one hand, and drinking an iced drink leisurely with the other hand. Lin Cece stood on the side of the road, looking around, but she didn't see her father's cars. He couldn't help but wonder in her heart, why is this old man so slow? Beep, Lin Zhuan pressed the horn. Lin Cece looked in the direction of the voice and found her brother sitting in a brand new Xiaomi SU7. Lin Cece's eyes lit up and she immediately trotted over, dragging the suitcase. At the same time, Lin Zhuan pushed open the car door and got out. He walked quickly towards Lin Cece and took the large suitcase from her hand. Wow! Brother, when did you buy a new car? It's so cool, Lin Cece exclaimed with surprise. I just bought it recently, Lin Zhuan said as he deftly stuffed Lin Cece's luggage into the trunk. Then could you please stop? You don't even have a driver's license. Don't even think about it. Get in the car and sit still. Before Lin Cece could finish her words, she was ruthlessly interrupted by Lin Zhuan. Lin Cece had no choice but to shut her mouth in disappointment and got into the car silently. After Lin Zhuan put his luggage away, he closed the trunk and got into the car. When he turned around, he saw his sister sitting in the backseat with an aggrieved look on her face. After you graduate from high school and pass the driving test, I will buy you a new car. How about it? Lin Zhuan said gently. Really? Lin Cece instantly broke into a bright smile. When have I ever lied to you? Lin Zhuan smiled heartily. Isn't it you who swindled all the New Year's money I received every year? Lin Cece pouted mischievously. How can it be called cheating between us siblings? It's just a temporary loan, Lin Zhuan explained without changing his expression. His shamelessness was shocking. Li Mengyao on the side couldn't help but laugh out loud. I don't care, you have to charge interest when I get my driver's license. You have to buy me a brand new car, Lin Cece said cockathiously. I know, I will buy it for you as a high school graduation gift, Lin Zhuan said with a smile. Speaking of gifts, Li Mengyao suddenly remembered, and then took out the full set of Apple gift packs she had bought at the mall and handed it to Lin Cece. Smiling slightly, Cece, this is a meeting gift from your sister-in-law. Wow, sister-in-law, you are my savior. Thank you, sister-in-law. Lin Cece took out the Apple gift package, which contained all the things she had been thinking about: mobile phone, computer, iPad, headphones. Don't be happy too soon, you can only play with these during the holidays and can't bring them to school, Lin Zhuan reminded with a smile. While starting the car and turning on the advanced smart driving mode, the Xiaomi SU7 slowly drove towards home. My academic performance has not been affected by playing with my phone. I have always been in the top 10 in the grade, Lin Cece pouted in dissatisfaction and protested. I have to admit that Lin Cece's grades in Yanhae City No. 1 middle school have always been among the best. If nothing unexpected happens, he will definitely go to Jinghe University if he works a little harder. Maybe he can get the top score in the city like his brother. Being in the top 10 now doesn't mean you'll be in the top 10 in the future. I have to add another condition: if I find out that you secretly bring your phone to school, I won't buy you a car. Although Lin Zhuan's tone was gentle, the firmness contained in it was unquestionable. Chapter 50. Take a walk on the beach. I understand, Lin Cece could only agree. Brother, don't you need to hold the steering wheel tightly? No need, this is intelligent driving now, Lin Zhuan responded with a smile. Wow! This is so cool. Lin Cece looked expectant, hoping that she would be able to drive a smart car in the future. Not long after, the Xiaomi SU7 parked steadily in the community parking lot, and then the three of them returned home together. It's still so comfortable at home. Lin Cece sat down heavily on the soft sofa with an expression of great enjoyment. Li Mengyao also looked a little tired, and she sat down gently beside Lin Cece. Brother, I want to eat braised beef, boiled pork slices, pickled fish, and grilled lamb chops tonight. Lin Cece likes the food cooked by her brother the most and she hasn't eaten it for a long time. You're just greedy, Lin Zhuan rubbed Lin Cece's little head hard, and turned and walked into the kitchen and began to prepare dinner for tonight. A man who knows how to cook cannot escape the fate of cooking no matter where he is. After seeing her brother enter the kitchen, Lin Cece turned to look at her sister-in-law Li Mengyao, with curiosity flashing in her eyes. Sister-in-law, you are so beautiful and elegant. How did you and my brother know each other? And how did my brother pursue you? Lin Cece couldn't help but ask softly. Well, we met in the library. And then it was love at first sight. Yeah, that's it. Li Mengyao smiled slightly, and a blush appeared on her delicate face. After hearing this, Lin Cece's eyes lit up and she said with a smile. I knew my brother was a nerd, but sister-in-law, although my brother sometimes seems silly, he is a really good person. Then, she stretched out a cute little hand and began to count. He can not only cook, but also is good at doing housework. He has excellent academic performance and is very caring to his family. Every time she counted an item, Lin Cici's face was filled with pride. You may have some misunderstanding about your brother, he is just a kissing maniac. What was Li Mengyao thinking at this moment? Mengyao, Cici, you guys are back? At this time, there was the sound of a door opening. It was Shan Shulan who came back and saw her daughter and daughter-in-law sitting on the sofa chatting. Mom, you're back. Lin Cici quickly stepped forward and took a large bag from her mother's hand. Well, how did you do in the final exam? Shan Shulan asked with a smile. Are you still not clear about your daughter's level? Don't worry, there will be no problem. Lin Cici showed a confident expression. Mom, welcome back. Li Mengyao, who looked a little tired at this time, hurried forward to greet Shan Shulan. Mengyao, are you feeling unwell? Did that brat bully you? Shan Shulan asked anxiously when she saw Li Mengyao's tired look. No, I'm just a little sleepy. Li Mengyao responded softly. Li Mengyao was a bit attached to her bed, so she didn't sleep much in Lin Xuan's room in the afternoon, otherwise she wouldn't have noticed that her husband had gotten up. And go back to your room and have some rest. I'll call you when dinner is ready. After saying that, Shan Shulan took Li Mengyao's hand and went back to the room. Li Mengyao nodded obediently and lay down quietly. Only then did Shan Shulan walk out of the room with peace of mind. Li Mengyao was indeed too sleepy and fell asleep quickly. What time is it? Li Mengyao opened her beautiful eyes drowsily, sat on the bed, and stretched, gently. Wife, it's already 8 o'clock, a gentle voice came. Husband, you are scaring me to death. Li Mengyao was startled and suddenly found Lin Xuan lying next to her. She was half asleep and didn't notice it. I'm sorry, honey, I didn't mean to scare you. Lin Xuan quickly stood up and hugged Li Mengyao, comforting her softly. I know. Li Mengyao also reached out and hugged Lin Xuan. Feeling his body temperature and the sense of security brought by his embrace, her heartbeat gradually calmed down and her mood became cheerful. Have you had dinner? Li Mengyao raised her head and looked into Lin Xuan's eyes and asked. I've already eaten it. We specially left a portion for you, Lin Xuan said gently. Why didn't you wake me up? Li Mengyao scolded, which made her seem very rude. I see you are sleeping so soundly that I don't have the heart to wake you up. Let's go. Let's go eat now, the babies are all hungry. Lin Xuan gently touched Li Mengyao's hair, his eyes full of pampering. Lin Xuan held Li Mengyao's little hand and came to the dining table. After Li Mengyao sat down steadily, Lin Xuan took out a dinner from the warming cabinet and gently placed it in front of her. They were all her favorite dishes. At this time, Li Mengyao was very hungry and began to eat her rice in small bites, while Lin Xuan watched quietly at the side. Where are my parents and Cici? Li Mengyao looked up and found that she and Lin Xuan were the only ones left at home. Mom and Dad went out for a walk after eating, and Cici went out to play with her classmates. Lin Xuan said with a smile. Oh, Li Mengyao continued to eat. Soon, Li Mengyao was full and burped with satisfaction. Wife, let's take a break and go for a walk. Okay. Li Mengyao smiled happily. After eating, Li Mengyao rested for more than 10 minutes, and then the two walked out of the house. Lin Xuan took Li Mengyao's hand and came to a small electric scooter. Honey, aren't we going for a walk? Li Mengyao asked, looking at the cute electric car in confusion. Yes, let's go for a walk on the beach. Ask quite a distance from here. So we'll ride an electric bike, Lin Xuan said with a smile. Li Mengyao's eyes were curved with joy when she heard that she could go to the beach to play. Wife, get in the car. Lin Xuan sat on the electric scooter, handed a small pink helmet to Li Mengyao, and said with a smile. This is Lin Cici's little helmet. Lin Xuan used to take her out for a ride often. Li Mengyao put on her helmet, held Lin Xuan's shoulders, and gently crossed her long legs with graceful and neat movements. She sat steadily behind Lin Xuan, wrapped her hands tightly around his waist, and smiled happily. Honey, I'm ready. Then let's go. Lin Xuan started the car and slowly drove towards the beach. As the electric scooter moved forward, Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao were getting closer and closer to the beach. The sea breeze blew over with a salty taste, making people feel relaxed and happy. Li Mengyao closed her eyes, feeling the embrace of the breeze, and felt particularly relaxed. Finally, they reached the seaside. The seaside at night is quiet and mysterious, and the moonlight sprinkles on the sea like water, making the waves sparkle. After Lin Xuan parked the electric scooter, Li Mengyao couldn't wait to get off. She opened her arms, welcomed the baptism of the sea breeze, and enjoyed the tranquility and freedom brought by the sea. Lin Xuan stood quietly aside, admiring Li Mengyao's beautiful figure, his heart full of love. Chapter 51. Kissing more often will make you more skilled. It's so beautiful here, Li Mengyao said in amazement and took out her mobile phone. She smiled slightly and with a click, she successfully captured the intoxicating beauty in front of her. At this moment, Lin Xuan quietly walked behind her, gently stretched out his arms, gently hugged Li Mengyao, and enjoyed the beautiful scenery of the seaside at night with his wife. Lin Xuan has lived here since he was a child and often comes to the beach. He is very familiar with this beach. How come he didn't realize that it is so beautiful before? After Li Mengyao finished taking the spectacular picture of the waves hitting the shore, she lightly touched the screen with her small fingers, and the phone instantly switched to selfie mode. Two faces filled with happy smiles immediately appeared in front of the camera, and the beautiful moment was frozen in time. "Wife, let's take a walk along the beach," Lin Xuan asked softly, his tone full of tenderness. "Yeah," Li Mengyao nodded slightly. So they walked along the beach hand in hand, at a slow and leisurely pace. A waves occasionally rushed onto the beach, gently brushing Li Mengyao's little feet, bringing waves of cool touch. Li Mengyao recalled that her father often carried her everywhere. Whenever he met an acquaintance, he would happily introduce her. "Look, this is my daughter." At that time, Li Mengyao was still young and only knew how to play on her father's back. She felt that her father's shoulders were particularly strong. Ever since her father passed away suddenly, Li Mengyao has never been carried on anyone's back again. The two continued to walk forward leisurely, and suddenly Li Mengyao stopped moving, as if she was frozen. "What's wrong?" Lin Xuan turned around and asked gently. "Honey, I can't walk anymore." Li Mengyao's watery eyes blinked as she looked straight at Lin Xuan. "What should we do? How about we go back?" Of course Lin Xuan knew his wife's little thoughts, but he still pretended to be unaware. "I can't walk even if I go back." Li Mengyao puffed up her cheeks and said angrily. "Then can I carry you on my back?" Lin Xuan raised the corners of his mouth slightly, revealing a doting smile, then turned around and squatted down. "Husband? I'm going up." Li Mengyao was as happy as a child. She took a small step back, then quickly quickened her pace and jogged. Finally she jumped up lightly, lay steadily on Lin Xuan's broad back, and hugged his neck tightly. "Be careful." Lin Xuan quickly grabbed Li Mengyao's long legs with both hands. "Honey, let's go," Li Mengyao shouted excitedly. "Yes, my dear wife." Lin Xuan turned around and headed back. "Husband, why are you going back? I haven't seen enough." Li Mengyao pulled Lin Xuan's clothes and said anxiously. "Didn't your wife say she couldn't walk anymore? So I'm carrying you back now." Li Mengyao quickly realized that Lin Xuan did it on purpose, then lowered her head and kissed Lin Xuan's shoulder lightly. Wife. I was wrong. I'll change it back now." Lin Xuan hurriedly changed direction again. After Li Mengyao's words, Lin Xuan became a little more obedient. Li Mengyao smiled happily when she saw the small teeth mark she left on Lin Xuan's shoulder. "Honey, am I heavy?" "Not heavy." Lin Xuan felt a surge of crisis. "I weighed myself yesterday and I've gained 2 kilograms, Li Mengyao pouted. "It's normal to gain weight during pregnancy, and you're pregnant with 2 babies, Lin Xuan explained patiently. "What if I can't lose weight after giving birth to the baby?" Li Mengyao asked, resting her little face on Lin Xuan's shoulder. "No, my wife will definitely lose weight again," Lin Xuan said in a firm tone. "I mean, what if? And I'll eat myself fat too, and we'll get fat together." After saying that, Li Mengyao kissed Lin Xuan hard on the right cheek. "Wife, why are you kissing me secretly?" Lin Xuan tried to turn his head to look, but Li Mengyao turned to the other side. When Lin Xuan turned to the other side, Li Mengyao hid back to this side, just to prevent Lin Xuan from seeing her. "How dare you say that? He used to kiss me secretly all the time, and every time I couldn't breathe. I'm doing this to train you. I'll become more skilled if you kiss more," Lin Xuan said shamelessly. Still talking, Li Mengyao stretched out her little hand and hit him lightly. Lin Xuan continued to walk forward, with Li Mengyao on his back. The two of them felt the refreshing sea breeze and listened to the sound of the waves. "Honey, you can put me down now," Li Mengyao patted Lin Xuan's back and said softly. "Good." Lin Xuan nodded slightly and carefully put Li Mengyao back to the ground. After Li Mengyao landed, she moved her body a little and was about to turn around and walk back. However, a gentle hand gently grabbed her and pulled her back into Lin Xuan's warm arms. "Husband, what are you going to do?" Li Mengyao's gaze fell on Lin Xuan's deep eyes and she instantly understood his intention. "My wife just kissed me secretly, should I kiss her back?" Lin Xuan whispered. Before he finished speaking, Lin Xuan did not give Li Mengyao any chance to raise his head, gently lifted her chin, and then kissed those seductive lips without hesitation. At this moment, there was only each other in their world, and everything around them became blurry. From afar, the two figures hugging each other tightly, like a beautiful painting, which together with the sea and the moon formed a charming scenery. After returning home, Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao took a shower and lay down on the bed. Li Mengyao nestled in Lin Xuan's arms, her mind still recalling the scene of her passionate kiss with Lin Xuan on the beach, and her little face blushed again. "Wife, why do you like the sea?" Lin Xuan asked gently, looking at his wife in his arms. Lin Xuan could see that Li Mengyao longed for the sea. "Because my father promised me before he died that he would take me to see the sea." "Wife, I'm sorry, I said the wrong thing." Lin Xuan hurriedly hugged Li Mengyao, stroked her hair, and comforted her. "It's okay. I'm very satisfied now. Li Mengyao raised her head slightly, looked at Lin Xuan and smiled slightly. How about we take our wedding photos at the beach? Lin Xuan looked at her with a smile. Okay. Chapter 52. I haven't gotten in the car yet. The next morning, Lin Xuan woke up first, tiptoed out of the room, went to the kitchen and started preparing breakfast for the family. I don't know why, but since getting the system's 5-star chef, Lin Xuan actually likes cooking. He likes his family to eat the delicious food he cooks, likes his family to praise his superb cooking skills, and likes the happy smiles on his family's faces. Soon, a big pot of fragrant shrimp porridge was served, along with steaming pumpkin pancakes and fresh and smooth egg custard. Lin Zhengjiuo and Shang Shaolin had already gotten up and were sitting on the sofa waiting for dinner. Lin Xuan first came to the door of his sister Lin Cici's room, gently pushed the door open, and saw the little guy sleeping on the bed at a glance. I saw that she was sleeping in a big human shape, with the quilt kicked aside, her mouth slightly open, and she was snoring from time to time. Sister, get up and have breakfast. Lin Xuan shook Lin Cici and called softly. Hey, I finally have a day off, what's wrong with letting me sleep for a while? While complaining, Lin Cici tucked her little head into the quilt and continued to immerse herself in her sweet dream. Lin Xuan had no way to deal with this sleepy sister, so he had to turn around and leave the room. As for his wife Li Mengyao, Lin Xuan has always been very doting on her and usually waits for her to wake up naturally. Lin Cici. Lin Xuan returned to the dining table and could only enjoy breakfast with his parents first, and put the rest in the warming cabinet. An hour later, Li Mengyao felt that the baby in her belly was hungry. She rubbed her charming eyes gently, then struggled to sit up in bed. Due to her pregnancy, her movements seemed a little clumsy and laborious, but she still tried to get out of bed, slowly walked to the bathroom and started washing. When she finished washing up and came to the hall, Mengyao, you're awake, are you hungry? Shang Shaolin saw her daughter-in-law get up, and hurried forward, taking her hand and leading her to the dining table. Mom, good morning, Li Mengyao smiled slightly. Shang Shaolin took out a breakfast from the thermal cabinet and placed it in front of Li Mengyao. Li Mengyao began to enjoy her breakfast in small sips and suddenly realized that her husband seemed not to be at home. Mom, where is Lin Xuan? Li Mengyao asked. I asked him to go to the rooftop to dry clothes, and he hasn't come back yet. Okay. Li Mengyao nodded slightly and continued eating breakfast. Soon, the sound of the door opening was heard. It was Lin Xuan who came back. Wife, are you awake? Lin Xuan came back and sat next to Li Mengyao and asked softly. Yeah. Li Mengyao smiled and nodded. Shang Shaolin looked at the two of them and Lin Zhengjiuo, who was watching TV in the living room, and suddenly realized that there seemed to be one person missing, Lin Cici. This lazy little bud was still sleeping. Mengyao, take your time eating, I'll go wake up Cici. After saying that, Shang Shaolin stood up and walked towards Lin Cici's room. 10 minutes later, Lin Cici was forced to go to the restaurant to have breakfast with a resentful look on her face. Fortunately, her brother's cooking skills were good and the delicious food made her feel better. Lin Xuan glanced at the time. It was only 9:30. Wife, shall we go visit the aquarium later? Lin Xuan asked with a smile. Great. I haven't been there yet. Li Mengyao's eyes lit up and a happy smile appeared on her face. Then Cici. Are you going? Lin Xuan turned to look at his sister and asked with a smile. I'm not going if I go. I don't know how much dog food I'll have to eat from you. I want to take a nap. Lin Cici seemed still a little sleepy and muttered with a little grumpiness. After having breakfast, Li Mengyao went back to her room, dressed up carefully, and went out with Lin Xuan. The two came to the parking lot and got into the Xiaomi SU7. Just as Lin Xuan was about to start the car, he heard a familiar voice calling from behind. Brother, wait for me. I haven't gotten on the car yet. Lin Cici shouted anxiously from behind. Lin Cici sat in the backseat, panting. Cici, didn't you say you wouldn't go? Lin Xuan couldn't help laughing and teasing. If I don't go, my mom will make me read and do homework. I might as well eat your dog food. Lin Cici pouted and complained reluctantly. Then let's go together, you can have fun when we get there. Lin Xuan then started the car and let Xiaomi locate the Yanhai City Ocean Rami. The Xiaomi SU7 slowly drove towards the destination. After a while, the Xiaomi SU7 parked steadily in the parking lot of Yanhai City Ocean Rami. The three of them got out of the car immediately. Li Mengyao stared in amazement at the amazing sight before her. The architecture of Yanhai City Ocean Museum is magnificent. The museum cleverly used advanced high-tech means to create a three-dimensional whale on the surface of the building. The huge whale appears lifelike on the surface of the building, as if it is swimming freely. This whale is so lifelike that it seems as if it may jump out of the surface of the building at any time, giving people an unparalleled shocking feeling. Walking into the aquarium, the interior is like a dreamlike underwater palace, magnificently decorated, with many marine animals swimming around, making you feel like you are in the underwater world. Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao first came to the Marine Biology Museum, where there are various marine creatures, a wide range of fish, colorful corals, ancient and solemn sea turtles, etc., vividly reflecting the diversity of marine life. Lin Sisi was also watching from the side. Wow, it's so spectacular, this turtle is so cute. As Li Mengyao spoke, she excitedly pointed with her little hand at a little turtle that was swimming slowly past her, a happy smile on her face. Lin Xuan quietly recorded his wife's surprise moment with his mobile phone. And the three of them came to the Jellyfish Museum. The jellyfish here, illuminated by special lights, look like elves, emitting a mysterious and charming glow. The elegance and agility of the jellyfish make the entire Jellyfish Museum full of poetic and romantic atmosphere. These jellyfish are so beautiful. Li Mengyao was so happy that she couldn't stop smiling. Wife, let's take a photo here as a souvenir, Lin Xuan said with a smile. Okay. Li Mengyao's face was filled with a happy smile. Sisi, come and take a picture for me. Lin Xuan smiled and shouted to his sister not far away. I knew it. Lin Sisi curled her lips. Lin Sisi reluctantly took out her cell phone and carefully took a few photos of Lin Xuan and her sister-in-law Li Mengyao. At this time, Li Mengyao noticed Lin Sisi's little mood and asked gently, Sisi, do you want to take a photo together? Okay. Lin Sisi immediately smiled brightly. She hadn't taken a photo with her brother for a long time. Then she ran to stand between Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao. Lin Xuan randomly found a passerby to help take pictures. He walked up and said politely, hello, could you take a picture for us? Sure. Thanks. Then, the passerby took the phone that Lin Xuan handed over and pointed the camera at the three people. Get ready, 123. Click, the three people in the photo are smiling and full of happiness. Chapter 53, Mom is cooking lunch today. After visiting the Jellyfish Museum, Lin Xuan and the other two came to the underwater tunnel, feeling as if they were in a magical underwater world. A blue light falls softly on you, and you are surrounded by sparkling water with fish swimming freely in it. A huge glass curtain wall closely connects people with marine life. Lin Xuan held Li Mengyao's hand and walked slowly along the tunnel, while Lin Sisi still followed behind. Li Mengyao was looking at the beautiful scenery in front of her with great interest. Suddenly, a shark whizzed past overhead, and Li Mengyao was so scared that she hugged Lin Xuan's arm tightly. Honey, why don't sharks eat other marine creatures? Li Mengyao blinked confused and asked curiously. Because the sharks here have adapted to artificial breeding, they have no shortage of food and naturally will not prey on other marine life. Lin Xuan explained patiently. Well then let's go to the shark museum. Li Mengyao smiled happily. Aren't you afraid? Lin Xuan said with a smile. What's so scary about this? Li Mengyao said proudly. And the three of them walked out of the underwater tunnel and headed towards the shark pavilion. Walking into the shark aquarium, you feel like you are in the realm of sharks. Under the huge glass screen, sharks are swimming around, including the ferocious great white shark, the petite lemon shark, the gentle nurse shark and the extremely fast mako shark. It was the first time that Li Mengyao saw these giant marine creatures up close. She hugged Lin Xuan's arm tightly. Although she said that she was not afraid, her body's reaction honestly revealed her inner fear. Lin Xuan noticed it quickly and said with a smile, okay, we have seen enough, we should go back. Li Mengyao nodded slightly. There is indeed a feeling of deep-sea fear. The three of them left the NHA City Ocean Rayami together and returned to the Xiaomi SU7. Lin Xuan started the car and the Xiaomi SU7 slowly drove out of the parking lot. On the way home, Li Mengyao suddenly saw a BMW for his store and thought of something. Husband, wait a minute, Li Mengyao shouted hurriedly. What's wrong? Lin Xuan quickly took over the Xiaomi SU7 and parked it by the side of the road. Let's go to the BMW for his store and have a look, Li Mengyao pointed with her little finger. Wife, do you want to buy a new car? Lin Xuan asked, with a smile. No, I want to buy one for my dad. Didn't you say that he likes the BMW series the best? Li Mengyao shook her head slightly and smiled. When Li Mengyao went out in the morning, she saw Lin Zhengjiuo's old BMW, which he had been driving for almost 10 years. Okay, let's go and take a look. Lin Xuan smiled slightly. Lin Xuan was moved when he heard this. He knew that his father had always loved BMW cars, but for various reasons he had never changed his car. Now that Lin Xuan is not short of money, it is time to upgrade the family car. Brother, can you buy me one? Lin Sisi asked expectantly. If you want beauty, you can take a look at it now. I will buy it for you after you graduate and get your driver's license. Lin Xuan turned around and said to his sister. Then Lin Xuan drove the car into the parking lot of the BMW for his store. The three got out of the car and walked into the BMW for his store together. Welcome, everyone. Are you here to buy a car? A young female salesperson with a graceful figure, dressed in a well-fitting professional suit and sexy black stockings, came forward lightly. As people say, the more expensive the product, the younger and prettier the salesperson. Yes. We are here to buy a car. Do you have any recommendations for BMW models? Lin Juan asked with a smile. Excuse me, sir. What is your budget? Asked the saleswoman. Wife, how much do you think is appropriate to buy? Lin Juan turned to Li Mengyao and asked gently. You decide this, I don't understand this. Li Mengyao lowered her eyes slightly and spoke in a low voice. About 1 million to 1.5 million. After getting the authorization from his wife, Lin Juan answered without hesitation. Li Mengyao was stunned for a moment after hearing this, but she quickly came to her senses. After all, they now have tens of millions of assets. However, the female salesperson and Lin Sisi were stunned by what they heard. The female salesperson thought that since there were 3 young people coming, one of whom looked like a high school student, they would probably choose the cheapest BMW series. She didn't expect that the price would suddenly reach the million-level range. Lin Sisi was also shocked. When did her brother become so rich? If it's in this price range, we highly recommend the BMW 8 Series. It has a stylish and dynamic exterior, exquisite interior, and the ultimate driving experience. It's the perfect combination of luxury and sport. The female salesperson led Lin Juan and the other two to a BMW 8 Series and introduced it. Lin Juan walked forward, carefully looked at the cool car in front of him, then sat in the driver's seat to experience it personally. He was very satisfied. He thought his father should like this model very much. Is this the top-of-the-line version of the BMW 8 Series? Lin Juan raised his head and continued to ask. The saleswoman smiled and shook her head, and replied, No, sir, if you want the top-of-the-line version, you can come with me to have a look at the car over here. After that, she led everyone to another BMW park not far away. This is the BMW 8 Series 840 version, the top model of the BMW 8 Series. As the female salesperson spoke, she opened the car door and invited Lin Juan to get in and experience it. Lin Juan got into the car and felt the comfort and texture of the top luxury car, and felt very satisfied. The female salesperson then gave a detailed introduction to the BMW 8 Series i840. From its cool exterior design to its exquisite and luxurious interior details, and to its high-end and advanced configuration. I want this one. Lin Juan smiled with satisfaction. Thank you very much for your choice, sir. However, since there is only one top-of-the-line BMW 8 Series in stock in our store, the car you ordered may not be delivered to you until 3 days later. The female salesperson handed Lin Juan a contract. Okay, thanks. Lin Juan glanced at the contract and paid the deposit after finding no problem. After the transaction was completed, Lin Juan and the other two left the BMW 4 store and returned to the Xiaomi SU7. Lin Juan started the car and the Xiaomi SU7 drove towards home. Sisi, which car had you taken a fancy to? Li Mengyao looked back at Lin Sisi and asked gently. Not yet. Sister-in-law. Lin Sisi showed a sly smile. At first, Lin Sisi thought that even if her brother bought her a new car, it would not be too expensive, maybe a few $100,000 or even hundreds of thousands at most. I didn't expect that. My brother is so rich now, he can buy $1 million car whenever he wants. So she has to think about it carefully. How can I give my brother a good beating? Soon, the Xiaomi SU7 parked steadily in the community parking lot, and the three of them took the elevator to their doorstep. We're back. Lin Juan shouted as he opened the door. Chen Shulan heard the sound and came out of the kitchen with a smile on her face. Hey, you guys are back. Was the aquarium fun? Fun. Li Mengyao smiled slightly. That's good. Wash your hands and get ready for dinner, Shang Shulan said, and walked into the kitchen. Lin Juan and Lin Sisi looked at each other. My mother cooked lunch today. Chapter 54. Maybe they are twins, a boy and a girl. Lin Juan and Lin Sisi, a brother and sister, have always been skeptical about their mother's cooking skills, so they secretly went to the kitchen to take a look. It turned out that it was dad Lin's Ngguo who was instructing Shang Shulan on how to cook. Shang Shulan's cooking is not that bad if she works hard, but in order to let her daughter-in-law Li Mengyao taste more delicious food, she asked Lin's Ngguo to give her some guidance. Seeing this scene, Lin Juan and Lin Sisi finally felt relieved. Before long, 4 exquisite dishes and a bowl of delicious soup were neatly placed on the table. Dinner is ready, Shang Shulan shouted loudly. The family sat around the dining table. Lin Juan first picked up a piece of pork ribs and put it in his mouth to taste it. Although it was not as delicious as the one he cooked, it tasted really good. What do you think? Don't think that I, your mother, really can't cook, Shang Shulan said when she saw her son's shocked look. Mengyao, come and try this piece of pork ribs. Shang Shulan picked up a piece of fragrant pork ribs and gently placed it in Li Mengyao's bowl. As Mengyao's mother-in-law, she naturally had to cook a sumptuous meal for her daughter-in-law herself. Delicious. After taking a bite, Li Mengyao showed a satisfied and happy smile. Mom, just do this next time. I like it, Lin Sisi said contentedly, taking a bite of beef. Okay, I'll make it for you next time. Shang Shulan was also very happy. The whole family happily enjoyed this warm lunch. After lunch, the family returned to their rooms and began packing their luggage, preparing to return to Lin Xuan's hometown in the afternoon to visit his grandparents. After Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao finished cleaning up, they lay down on the bed together and prepared to take a nap. At this time, Li Mengyao was tossing and turning, unable to fall asleep. Lin Xuan noticed something strange and reached out to gently hug Li Mengyao. "Wife, are you nervous?" Lin Xuan asked gently. Li Mengyao tucked her little head into Lin Xuan's arms and spoke in a soft voice. "Don't be nervous. My grandparents are very easy to talk to. Besides, you're going to give them great-grandchildren, so on the old people are very happy and are clamoring to see you." Lin Xuan gently stroked Li Mengyao's hair, lowered his head slightly, and kissed her forehead lightly. Then, "Well, your grandparents favor boys over girls. What if I give birth to 2 girls?" Li Mengyao raised her head slightly, with a hint of worry in her eyes. "My grandfather may be a little bit like that, but my grandmother is not. She especially likes children. Look at Cici. Comparatively, my grandmother loves Cici more," Lin Xuan said with a smile. "After all, they are from the older generation, so it is impossible to say that they don't favor boys over girls, but in fact, in Lin Xuan's view, it doesn't matter whether you have a boy or a girl. Besides, maybe they are twins, a boy and a girl." Lin Xuan continued with a smile. "How can it be such a coincidence?" Li Mengyao laughed softly after hearing what Lin Xuan said. She was not so nervous anymore. Anyway, whether the baby is a boy or a girl depends on the husband and has nothing to do with her. Li Mengyao nestled in Lin Xuan's arms, feeling the warmth he brought, and soon fell asleep. Time quickly came to the afternoon. After lunch, Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao prepared to go to their hometown, Yunshan Town. "Hubby, let's go." Li Mengyao put on light makeup and changed into a snow-white dress. The dress was well cut and had a cute bow-knot neckline design, perfectly presenting the gentle and fresh feeling unique to summer. She looked elegant and agile. Lin Xuan stared at it intently, and it took him a while to come back to his sense. She murmured 2 words. "It looks good. Then let's go." Li Mengyao chuckled, reached out and grabbed Lin Xuan, who was still in a daze, and walked out of the room together. Lin Zhengjiuo and Sheng Shulan were also ready, and Lin Cici followed closely behind her parents. A group of people came to the community parking lot. "Cici, whose car are you going to take?" Lin Zhengjiu asked as he opened the door of his slightly old BMW. "Of course I'll take my brother's car." Lin Cici sat in the back seat of Xiaomi SU7, the new car is still comfortable. Lin Zhengjiuo looked at his old BMW and thought, it's time to buy a new one as his daughter already dislikes it. Then Lin Zhengjiuo and Shang Shulan got in the car together and started driving towards Yunshan Town. At the same time, Lin Xuan carefully arranged Li Mengyao to sit in the back seat, and quickly started the car, with Xiaomi SU7 following closely behind. At first in Yunhai City, Lin Xuan's Xiaomi SU7 was still following closely behind his father. But once on the highway, Lin Xuan sped up without hesitation and instantly left his father's car far behind. "Why are you driving so fast, little brat?" Shang Shulan said angrily. "Wife, it's not that my son is driving fast, it's that we are driving too slowly," Lin Zhengjiuo explained. "Is that so? Then you should find time to buy a new one?" Shang Shulan looked at the old BMW and thought it was time to change it. "In the past, I always thought about saving money for Lin Xuan to get married, for fear that he, a blockhead, would not be able to find a wife. I didn't expect that I wouldn't have to spend any money, and now I already have a wife and children." Thinking of this, Shang Shulan felt that her son was still very capable. "Okay," Lin Zhengjiuo chuckled. He finally got his wife's permission to buy a new car. An hour and a half later, Lin Xuan was the first to arrive at the Yunshan Town highway exit and parked the car on the side of the road waiting for his father. 15 minutes later, Lin Zhengjiuo finally drove off the highway and headed back to his hometown. Lin Xuan followed closely behind him, just like he did in the city. Soon, 2 cars slowly drove into a small independent villa. Lin Xuan's grandparents had already been waiting at the door. "Grandpa and Grandma." Lin Cici opened the car door first and ran forward happily. "Hey, Cici, are you doing well in school recently?" Grandma asked kindly. "Very good." Lin Cici smiled happily. Lin Zhengjiuo and Sheng Shulan also got out of the car and came to their grandparents. "Mom and Dad, we're back," Lin Zhengjiuo greeted. "I'm glad you're back. By the way, where is my granddaughter-in-law?" Grandma asked impatiently. At this time, she could vaguely see a petite figure in Xiaomi's car. It turned out that Li Mengyao had fallen asleep in the car. "Wife, we're here," Lin Xuan called Li Mengyao softly. "Well, are we there yet?" Li Mengyao rubbed her eyes and responded sleepily. Chapter 55 Pretty. What caught Li Mengyao's eyes was a mountain villa, which towered into the clouds and was 5 stories high. A whole villa covers a large area with a deep courtyard, green grass and mist, making it seem like a fairyland, full of luxury and grandeur. Li Mengyao didn't expect that Lin Xuan's hometown has such a luxurious villa. Lin Xuan took the still-dazed Li Mingyao out of the car as soon as they got out of the car. Their grandparents came up to greet them warmly. Xuaner, you've gained weight recently, Grandpa said with a big laugh. Xuaner, is this our granddaughter-in-law? Lin Xuan's grandfather had his white hair combed neatly, and looked like an upright old man, very similar to Lin Xingguo. Although he was slightly hunched, his straight posture and firm gaze revealed his calmness and determination. Lin Xuan's grandmother has a kind and peaceful face, always with a warm smile on her face, and her voice is soft and gentle, as soothing as a spring breeze. Hello, Grandpa and Grandma. My name is Li Mingyao, and I am Lin Xuan's wife. Li Mingyao introduced herself politely. Okay, my granddaughter-in-law is so beautiful. Grandma couldn't stop smiling. Grandpa also smiled with satisfaction. Grandpa and Grandma, wait a moment. After saying hello, Li Mingyao turned back to the trunk of the Xiaomi SU7 and asked Lin Xuan to pick up two boxes of beautifully packaged health products together. Grandpa and Grandma, this is a small token of my appreciation for our first meeting. Li Mingyao handed the health products to her grandparents. Child, you are here, so why bring any gifts? Let's go in and sit down, Grandma said gently. Then she carefully took Li Mengyao's hand and slowly walked into the villa. As soon as she entered the villa, Li Mengyao was shocked by the luxurious scene before her. The decoration of the villa is extremely exquisite, and every detail reflects the owner's taste and wealth. Various precious mahogany furniture arranged in an orderly manner. Everyone sat down in the spacious and bright hall. Child, from now on, this will be your home. So don't be so reserved, Grandma said kindly. Well, thank you, Grandma. Li Mengyao nodded slightly and answered softly, but still a little nervous. That child? How many weeks pregnant are you now? Grandma stared at Li Mengyao's belly and asked impatiently. The two old people have been very happy since they heard that their granddaughter-in-law was pregnant. It's already 14 weeks. Li Mengyao said in a low voice with a little shyness. How is the baby developing? Have you gone to the hospital? Grandma continued to ask. Grandma, the babies are developing well, and the doctor said they are twins. At this time, Lin Xuan walked to Li Mengyao, gently took her hand, trying to ease her nervousness. Then he smiled and said to his grandmother, Xuaner, you didn't make us old people happy, did you? Are they really twins? Grandma was so surprised that she couldn't close her mouth. It's true, look, I've got the pregnancy test report for you. After saying that, Lin Xuan handed a pregnancy test report to his grandmother. Old man, go get my reading glasses, Grandma said hurriedly to Grandpa beside her. Grandpa was obviously shocked by the news. He stood up in a panic and hurried back to the room to get 2 pairs of glasses. After putting on their glasses, the two old people stared intently at the pregnancy test report, on which the words twins were clearly written. Grandma's eyes were wet with excitement, and there was a gleam of joy in her eyes. The grandfather, who is always steady and calm, couldn't help but show his joy at this moment. The corners of his mouth turned up and his face was filled with a happy smile. That's great, old man, Grandma said excitedly, grabbing Grandpa's arm. Yes, old lady, go and prepare dinner, everyone is hungry. Grandpa responded excitedly. Oh yeah, now is the time to replenish nutrition. The babies must be hungry, you see. I was so happy that I forgot about it. Granddaughter-in-law, I'll prepare dinner right away, it will be ready soon, Grandma said to Li Mengyao with a smile, and then quickly walked into the kitchen. Wife, I'm going to the kitchen to help Grandma cook, Lin Xuan said with a smile. Well, go ahead, Li Mengyao nodded. With Lin Xuan's help, the table was soon filled with delicious food. Grandma kept picking food for Li Mengyao, as if she was afraid that she was hungry. This scene reminded Li Mengyao of when she first came to Lin Xuan's house. Shang Shaolan also picked up food for her with such enthusiasm. Lin Xuan finished all the food that Li Mengyao couldn't finish. Of course, Grandma would also pick up food for Lin Xuan and Lin Sisi, and the family would have a great time at the dining table. After dinner, everyone sat together in the spacious and bright hall to watch TV. Li Mengyao leaned gently against Lin Xuan's side. Lin Xuan's family was very kind to her, and she felt extremely happy. As the night fell, Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao lay together on the soft and comfortable big bed. Honey, I didn't expect that you have such a luxurious villa in your hometown, Li Mengyao couldn't help but ask curiously. My grandfather used to be a businessman, so he saved some money, Lin Xuan explained with a smile. So Grandma only gave birth to one child. Li Mengyao has not met Lin Xuan's other relatives yet. Of course not, Grandma gave birth to 2 sons and 2 daughters, and my father is the youngest, Lin Xuan said. In the 1970s and 1980s, many families had several children. So they haven't come back yet? Li Mengyao continued to ask. They are all in other cities. One of my aunts is still in another province. They usually come back during the Chinese New Year, Lin Xuan said with a smile. Okay, it's getting late. Let's go to bed early and I'll take you around town tomorrow. Lin Xuan gently hugged Li Mengyao and soothed her to sleep. Li Mengyao felt Lin Yizhuan's warmth and soon fell asleep. The next morning, the sun shone through the clouds, dyeing the earth golden. After breakfast, Lin Yizhuan took Li Mengyao's hand and strolled around Yunshan town. They walked hand in hand through the streets of Yunshan town. Yunshan town is surrounded by mountains with lush greenery and shaded by trees, like an isolated paradise. The streets of the town are filled with a tranquil and peaceful atmosphere. Residents greet each other with bright smiles on their faces, making people feel a strong sense of warmth. Xiaoxuan, are you back? Suddenly, a voice came. Lin Yizhuan turned around and saw a middle-aged woman walking towards him. Yes. Aunt Wu, I just arrived last night, Lin Yizhuan said with a smile. Hey. Who is this? Aunt Wu's eyes fell on Lin Yizhuan and Li Mengyao's clasped hands, and a kind anti-smile appeared on her face. She is my wife. Lin Yizhuan introduced with a smile. Hello, Auntie. Li Mengyao greeted politely. Hello, you are such a pretty girl, very cute, Aunt Wu praised. After hearing this, Li Mengyao's cheeks turned slightly red and she lowered her head shyly. Chapter 56 Little Crying Pavilion. Little girl, you don't know. When Xiaoxuan was a child, Aunt Wu saw that Li Mengyao was a little shy and was about to tell her about the embarrassing things that happened in Lin Yizhuan's childhood, but was interrupted in a hurry by Lin Yizhuan. Alas, Aunt Wu, could you please stop mentioning my childhood in front of my wife? Let Aunt Wu continue. Li Mengyao's beautiful eyes blinked gently, revealing a hint of curiosity. Look, even your wife wants to listen to it. Aunt Wu chuckled and continued. Don't be fooled by Xiaoxuan's tall, handsome appearance. When he was little, he was a crybaby. If something didn't go his way or he was lightly touched, he would burst into tears. He was really arrogant at that time. So we all called him Little Crying Xuan. Li Mengyao burst out laughing. It turned out that her husband was a crybaby. Aunt Wu, aren't you going to the street to buy something? Go quickly, and we'll walk around a bit. Lin Yizhuan scratched his head awkwardly, trying to change the subject. And I won't disturb you too. Aunt Wu smiled and left. Looking at Aunt Wu's receding back, Li Mengyao's mouth corners slightly raised, staring at Lin Yizhuan with a smile. Husband, it turns out that you loved to cry so much when you were a child. How come I never noticed it? A hero never brags about his past achievements. Lin Yizhuan blushed slightly. Li Mengyao uttered a tsk. Afterwards, Lin Yizhuan and Li Mengyao came to a shop that sold local specialties of Yunshan town. Uncle Yi! Lin Yizhuan shouted. Hey, isn't this Xiaoxuan? When did you come back? A slightly plump middle-aged man with a smile on his face turned around and spoke in a friendly tone. He was wearing a white chef's uniform with some flour on it and holding a spoon in his hand. Obviously he was busy making pastries. I just came back last night. And here I come to see you early in the morning. Lin Yizhuan smiled slightly. You are such a sweet talker. You want to eat Yunshan pastries again, right? Uncle Yi laughed, and the wrinkles at the corners of his eyes squeezed into a ball. Lin Yizhuan scratched his head and smiled a little embarrassed. Lie. Uncle Yi still understands me. But this time it's not just me. As he spoke, he stepped aside and a beautiful woman appeared in front of Uncle Yi. This is my wife. Bring her here to try the Yunshan pastries you made. Lin Yizhuan took Li Mengyao's hand and introduced her to Uncle Yi. Hello, Uncle Yi. Li Mengyao greeted politely. Hello. Hello, your wife is so beautiful. I didn't expect Xiaoxuan to get married at such a young age. Wait. Uncle Yi will personally make two Yunshan cakes for you and wish you a happy wedding. After saying that, Uncle Yi turned back to the workbench and began to work skillfully. I saw him first knead the dough that had been prepared into a ball, and gently flatten it with a rolling pin, then put in various fillings and finally pinch it into an exquisite shape. Every movement seemed so skillful and confident, as if creating a work of art. Soon, the sweet aroma of pastries filled the air. Lin Yizhuan and Li Mengyao couldn't help but move closer, sniffing the tempting smell, waiting with full anticipation. A moment later, Uncle Yi handed them two carefully crafted Yunshan pastries. These pastries are brightly colored, small and exquisite, and dotted with a few crystal clear preserved fruits, just like exquisite works of handicraft. Wow, so beautiful, Li Mengyao exclaimed, with surprise shining in her eyes. Try it and see how it tastes. Uncle Yi looked at his work with pride. Li Mengyao carefully picked up a piece of cake, put it in her mouth and took a light bite. Suddenly, a rich sweetness spreads in your mouth. The outer layer is crispy and the inner layer is soft, which makes people linger on the taste. Delicious. Li Mengyao's eyes were curved with joy. Seeing his wife eating so happily, Lin Yizhuan also picked up a piece of cake and took a bite. Uncle Yi, your craftsmanship is getting better and better. Lin Yizhuan nodded with satisfaction. As long as you like it. How long are you planning to stay? When you leave, I'll make some for you to take back, Uncle Yi said with a smile. Thank you, Uncle Yi. Lin Yizhuan thanked him. Xiaoxuan, when have you become so polite? When you were a kid, you often came to my place to eat and drink. But you never thanked me. Uncle Yi laughed. Isn't it grown up now? Lin Yizhuan scratched his head embarrassed. Lie. And let's continue to wander around. Goodbye. Uncle Yi. Okay. Come again next time. Lin Xuan held Li Mengyao's little hand and continued walking in the town. Soon, the two came to an ancient bridge. There was a river under the bridge, and small boats passed by from time to time. The two continued walking forward and came to a small stream. There were a few houses around the stream, giving the feeling of a family with a small bridge and flowing water. The stream here is so clear that you can clearly see the shrimp swimming in it. Li Mengyao walked to the stream and put her little hand in to feel it. The water here is icy cold. So refreshing. I used to take a bath here when it was very hot in the summer, Lin Xuan said with a smile. How shameless. Li Mengyao responded coquettishly with a smile on her face. Wife, it's almost time for us to go back, Lin Xuan said after looking at the time. Li Mengyao nodded slightly. The two returned home quickly. We are back. Lin Xuan shouted loudly. Mengyao must be tired. Come here and rest for a while. Grandma pulled Li Mengyao and asked her to sit down beside her. Brother, did you bring me some pastries? At this time, Lin Sisi rushed out of the house and asked anxiously. And your sister-in-law knows you like it, so she bought it for you. Lin Xuan took out a Yunshan pastry from behind and handed it to his sister. The pastry exuded an enticing aroma, making people salivate. Thus now when Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao were returning home, Lin Xuan casually mentioned that his sister also liked to eat Yunshan pastries. Without saying a word, Li Mengyao immediately turned around and returned to the pastry shop to buy another one. Thank you, sister-in-law. Lin Sisi also sat next to Li Mengyao with a happy smile on her face. Lin Xuan then went straight into the kitchen and started preparing today's lunch. After a hearty lunch, everyone went back to their rooms to rest. After waking up in the afternoon, Lin Xuan received a message from his father Lin Zhengjiuo. Son, do you want to go fishing? Lin Xuan looked back at Li Mengyao who was still sleeping, leaned over slightly, and whispered in her ear, Wife, I'm going to go fishing with Dad, okay? Well, go ahead. Li Mengyao muttered subconsciously, and then fell asleep again. In the afternoon, Lin Xuan went out to fish with Lin Zhengjiuo and his grandfather. After waking up, Li Mengyao felt a little bored, so she sat in the hall and played with her mobile phone quietly to pass the time. At this moment, Grandma came over with a staggering step, holding a thick photo album in her hand, and came to Li Mengyao's side. Grandma. What is this? Li Mengyao asked curiously. This is Lin Xuan's childhood photo album, Grandma replied with a smile. Chapter 57. They must have a good relationship. Li Mengyao opened the album and what caught her eyes were pictures of Lin Xuan's childhood. There are cute photos of the full moon, with round eyes looking at the world curiously, and a little mouth slightly open, revealing an innocent smile. There are also photos of a 1-year-old boy holding a colorful ball and smiling foolishly. There are also photos of him starting to walk independently, unsteadily at the age of 2. There are even some people running around the house naked. She looked at each photo carefully and felt the happy times of Lin Xuan's childhood. Grandma, was Lin Xuan very naughty when he was a child? Li Mengyao asked. Yes. He was very naughty when he was a child and often wet the bed, Grandma recalled with a smile. Li Mengyao continued to turn to another page, which showed Lin Xuan and a little girl holding hands and smiling happily. This is Lin Xuan and his childhood playmates, Grandma said, pointing at the little girl in the painting. Oh, it's a girl. Li Mengyao couldn't help but feel a little curious. She continued to flip through the pages and found many more photos with the little girl. They must have a very good relationship, Li Mengyao said to herself. At the same time, Lin Xuan, his father Lin Zhengjiuo and his grandfather came to the reservoir near Yunshan town to start their fishing time. The three of them prepared the fishing tools, adjusted the fishing rods, hung the previously prepared bait on the fish hook, swung it hard, started fishing, and waited for the fish to bite. As usual, whoever catches the most fish will be weighed by kilogram, Lin Zhengjiuo said confidently. Dad, have you forgotten how badly we lost last time? Lin Xuan said with a smile. I was just unlucky last time, so it doesn't count, Lin Zhengjiuo explained. Lin Zhengjiuo now has a new fishing rod given by his daughter-in-law, which can at least change his fate. Okay, then let's race again. Until sunset, the grandfather at the side also laughed. About half an hour later, Lin Xuan's bell rang first, and the fishing rod was shaking violently. It's hooked, it's hooked, it looks like a big fish. Lin Xuan excitedly grabbed the fishing rod, quickly tightened the fishing line, and began to play games with the big fish. After a while, the big fish's strength was gradually exhausted. Lin Xuan slowly reeled in the fishing line, and then pulled it hard, and saw a huge bass was successfully pulled ashore. Lin Xuan quickly reached out and grabbed the fish, weighed it carefully, and a delighted smile appeared on his face. Hey! It weighs more than 3 kilograms. DSK, the one I catch later will definitely be bigger than yours. Lin Zhengjiuo looked on with envy, but still showed a disdainful attitude. Time passed minute by minute. 10 minutes later, Grandpa's bell rang and the fishing rod was shaking. but it was obviously not as violent as Lin Xuan's just now. As an old friend of fishing, my grandfather was calmly reeling in the fishing line with skillful and steady movements. Not long after, a grass carp jumped out of the water. It looked to be weighing more than 1 kilogram. Zhang Jiyuo, you are the only one who hasn't opened yet, Grandpa said to his son with a smile. The big fish are all behind, just wait. Lin Zhang Jiyuo continued to stare at his fishing rod intently, not daring to relax at all, as if he was afraid of missing any chance of catching the fish. At this moment, beside him, Lin Xuan and his grandfather were leisurely tasting the finest Taiguanian, feeling particularly happy. Hey, another one! Lin Xuan shouted excitedly. His bell rang again, and the fishing rod began to shake. I have a situation here too. Almost at the same moment, Grandpa's bell also made a pleasant sound. The sun was about to set, and there were all ready for fish in Lin Xuan's fish bucket except for the 3 jin catch that he caught the first time. The rest were around 1 jin, which together weighed 6 jin. The grandfather next to him also caught 3 fish, each weighing more than 1 kilogram, which together weighed almost 4 kilograms. I looked into Lin Zhang Jiyuo's fish bucket and found that there was nothing else in it except water. Not even a small fish. At this time, Lin Zhang Jiyuo looked incredulous. How come he couldn't catch any fish? Dad, the sun is about to set, so let's just forget it. Lin Xuan walked up to his father and comforted him. Isn't it just a little bit short? Wait a little longer? Lin Zhang Jiyuo still had a glimmer of hope. Or, I'll give you one. You can pick anyone you want. I have to go back to cook for my wife, Lin Xuan continued. Yes, Lin Xuan misses his wife. No need. Lin Zhang Jiyuo sighed slightly, and then said, forget it, let's go. Just as Lin Zhang Jiyuo was about to pack up his fishing rod and go back, suddenly, the bell began to ring and the fishing rod began to shake violently, the intensity of which was no less than the situation that Lin Xuan had just encountered for the first time. Obviously, there was a big guy. Here it comes, the fish is hooked, Lin Zhang Jiyuo shouted in surprise. Lin Zhang Jiyuo rushed forward at lightning speed and held the fishing rod tightly, but the big fish was so powerful that even if he tried his best, he could only barely maintain the situation and was unable to reel in the fishing line. Son, come and help me. Lin Zhang Jiyuo hurriedly called his son to come and help. Here it comes. Then Lin Xuan joined the battle. As the father and son slowly exerted their strength together, the big fish gradually lost the strength to struggle and was pulled closer to the shore little by little. Just as it was about to float to the surface, the big fish suddenly dived to the bottom of the water with all its might. In the end, it was the experienced grandfather who took out a long fishing net and successfully caught the big fish ashore. This fish was obviously a whole circle larger than the 3 jin grass carp that Lin Xuan had caught before. It was actually a big carp, weighing more than 8 jin. What a big one! I knew I could catch a big fish, so I won this time. Lin Zhang Jiyuo said proudly. Yes, Dad. You win, Lin Xuan said with a smile. Dad is rarely this happy. Lin Zhang Jiyuo stretched out his hand with difficulty and tried to pick up the carp, but because the fish's body was so big and slippery, it took a lot of effort to finally succeed in picking it up. With a smile on his face, he said to his son Lin Xuan, Son, come and take a photo of Dad and this big fish as a souvenir. Okay. Lin Xuan quickly took out his cell phone and was about to take a picture of Lin Zhang Jiyuo's happy smile. The unexpected happened. The fish in Lin Zhang Jiyuo's hand suddenly began to shake violently, and at this time Lin Zhang Jiyuo was completely immersed in joy. He was not careful, and the big carp slipped from his hand and fell into the water with a splash. Lin Zhang Jiyuo watched the big carp escape from his hands, feeling very aggrieved for a moment. Lin Xuan was also very embarrassed as he held his mobile phone aside. Should he take a picture or not? Let's shoot. With a click, Lin Xuan took a photo of Lin Zhang Jiyuo looking aggrieved. Chapter 58. My wife is jealous. Did you catch any big fish? Without. Lin Zhang Jiyuo wants to cry but has no tears. 7 o'clock in the evening. We are back. Lin Xuan. Lin Zhang Jiyuo and their grandfather returned home together. Are you back? How was it? Did you gain anything? Grandma asked with a smile. Yes, Xuaner caught a 3-pound perch, Grandpa said happily. Really? Xuaner is so amazing, Grandma praised. However, when Grandma looked at the 3 fish buckets, she discovered that only Lin Zhang Jiyuo's bucket had the least fish, only 1. Just now on the way back, Lin Xuan saw his father in the passenger seat with a sad face. He couldn't bear it and gave him one of his fish. Zhang Jiyuo, why is there only 1 fish in your bucket? Grandma asked curiously. Yeah, Dad, why did you only catch so little? At this time, Lin Cici also ran up to take a look. Alas, I originally caught a big carp weighing 8 kilograms. But who knew that my hand slipped and I couldn't hold it firmly, so it ran away. Lin Zhang Jiyuo became more and more frustrated as he spoke. You're just bragging here. If you didn't catch anything, you didn't catch anything, Shang Shulan happened to walk over and curled her lips in disdain when she heard this. Lin Zhengguo was in agony but couldn't express it in words. What could he do? It was his fault that he didn't hold it firmly and didn't take the photo. He could only silently endure his wife's ridicule. Where's Meng Yao? Lin Zhuan looked left and right, but did not see his wife coming out to greet him. She finished looking at your childhood photo album in the afternoon and went back to her room to rest. She was probably sleeping. So I didn't disturb her, Grandma replied. I'll go and take a look. Before he finished speaking, Lin Zhuan came to the door of the room, pushed it open quietly and walked in. The room was pitch black and the lights were off. There was a petite person lying on the bed. Li Meng Yao was sleeping. Lin Zhuan walked carefully to the bed, sat down slowly, then leaned over and carefully looked at Li Meng Yao, who was sleeping. At this moment, Lin Zhuan suddenly discovered that a few tears were flowing from the corners of Li Meng Yao's eyes. At this moment, Li Meng Yao dreamed of a terrible scene. The girl in the photo came back and found Lin Zhuan. However, Lin Zhuan chose to leave her without hesitation and turned around and left with his childhood sweetheart. Hubby, don't leave me. Li Meng Yao suddenly woke up from a nightmare. Her eyes were slightly red and tears were streaming down her cheeks. She looked extremely pitiful and helpless. Lin Zhuan was extremely anxious and quickly reached out to gently hug Li Meng Yao, gently stroking her silky soft hair. Wife, did you have a nightmare? Lin Zhuan comforted her softly. At this time, Li Meng Yao realized that she had just had a nightmare seeing Lin Zhuan coming back. The stone in her heart finally fell to the ground. Honey, you're back? I'm sorry for scaring you. I just had a nightmare. Li Meng Yao raised her head slightly, her lips slightly raised, revealing a faint smile, and stared quietly at the man in front of her who made her feel at ease. What kind of nightmare did it have that scared you to tears? Lin Zhuan's face was full of heartache. He reached out and picked up a tissue from the table, gently and delicately wiping Li Meng Yao's fair and delicate cheek. Nothing, I just had a terrible nightmare. Don't worry, husband, I'm fine now. Li Meng Yao smiled slightly. After Lin Zhuan came back, Li Meng Yao felt much more at ease. Are you really okay? Lin Zhuan vaguely felt that something was wrong. Although Li Meng Yao said that everything was fine, he could feel the uneasiness in her heart, but he didn't know how to ask her. At this moment, Li Meng Yao took the initiative to stretch out her arms, hugged Lin Zhuan's neck, and then gently left a kiss on his face. Really? Honey, let's go eat. At this time, Li Meng Yao's eyes were still slightly red, and the traces of tears on her face were still obvious. If Lin Zhuan was seen taking Li Meng Yao out for dinner at this time, he would definitely be beaten. No, absolutely not. Wife, you are not fit to go out in this state. I caught a 3-pound sea bass today. I'll make a sea bass stew for you later. You should have a good rest here, Lin Zhuan said hurriedly. Li Meng Yao nodded slightly. Then Lin Zhuan lowered his head, gently kissed Li Meng Yao on the forehead, and walked out of the room. After Lin Zhuan walked out of the room, he went to the kitchen and started preparing dinner. At this time, Shang Shulan also came in and asked Lin Zhuan, Son, where is my daughter-in-law? Is she still asleep? No, I'll cook the meal and serve it to her later. You guys can eat at the dining table first. Okay then. And you just keep an eye on it, Shang Shulan instructed. After a while, Lin Zhuan made 2 delicious sea bass burgers, put one on the dining table for everyone to enjoy, and the other was brought upstairs separately. Wife, it's time for dinner. Lin Zhuan put the food on the table, which included sea bass, braised pork ribs and a plate of vegetables. Among them, the sea bass stew is made by cutting the sea bass into pieces, stewing it with vegetables, tofu and other ingredients, and then adding the secret seasoning given by the system, which is very fragrant. Wow, smells so good. Li Meng Yao took a look and found that they were all her favorite foods. Come, let your husband feed you. Lin Zhuan picked up a piece of tender and juicy fish and stuffed it into Li Meng Yao's little mouth. It's delicious. Li Meng Yao's eyes were curved with joy. After a pleasant dinner, Lin Zhuan cleaned up the dishes and returned to the kitchen. Let Grandma wash the dishes. Grandma took the bowl from Lin Zhuan's hand with a smile and said softly, Grandma, what photo album did you show Meng Yao this afternoon? Lin Zhuan handed over the bowl and chopsticks and asked curiously. It's the one you had when you were a child. Look, it's still on the table in the living room. Grandma pointed with a smile. After hearing this, Lin Zhuan walked into the living room. Sure enough, a photo album was quietly lying on the table. He opened the album and found all his childhood photos. There didn't seem to be anything special about it. Lin Zhuan continued to flip through the pages, and suddenly his eyes stopped on a photo. It was a photo of him and a little girl, the two holding hands, looking particularly intimate. I see. My wife is jealous. Lin Zhuan returned to the door of the room, pushed it open, and saw Li Meng Yao sitting in front of the dressing table, gently wiping the tears from the corners of her eyes with a cotton pad. Honey, it's not obvious now. Li Meng Yao turned her head and gave Lin Zhuan a charming smile. Well, I can't tell anymore. Lin Zhuan looked at her with heartache, walked up to her, gently stroked her cheek, and said softly, Wife, let's go to the roof to watch the moon. The starry sky in the small town is so beautiful, Lin Chuan continued. Okay, Li Mengyao smiled brightly. Chapter 59. So my wife, don't be jealous? The two walked to the roof hand in hand. And the night breeze brushed their faces, bringing a hint of coolness. The starry sky above is dazzling, and a bright moon hangs in the sky, casting silver light. Lin Chuan brought in a double lazy chair, which he bought when he was in college. Every night when he returned to his hometown, he would lie on it comfortably, playing with his mobile phone while admiring the bright moon hanging high in the sky. Lin Chuan carefully supported Li Mengyao, letting her lie safely on the lazy chair. Then he lay down next to her gently and held her gently in his arms. The moon is so beautiful tonight. Li Mengyao looked up at the starry sky and whispered to Lin Chuan. Yes. But my wife is more beautiful, Lin Chuan said with a smile. You just know how to talk nonsense. Li Mengyao rolled her eyes. Cocathus lie. Wife, were you having a nightmare because of this photo? Lin Chuan took out the photo he had just found in the album. You? How did you know? Li Mengyao's cheeks flushed and she responded with some stammering. From here, can you see the villa opposite? Lin Chuan stretched out his hand and pointed opposite. Li Mengyao looked in the direction of his finger, and indeed found a villa similar to Lin Chuan's. She was my good friend when I was little. We were childhood sweethearts, so to speak. Oh, Li Mengyao's mood instantly became depressed when she heard the words childhood sweetheart. I haven't finished yet. Lin Chuan gently held Li Mengyao's face, looked into her eyes, and said with a smile. We have been friends since we were little. She sees me as her younger brother, and I see her as my older sister. It's not like what you think. I understand. Li Mengyao only now realized that she was overthinking, but she had always lacked a sense of security since she was a child, and because of her pregnancy, she would unconsciously have wild thoughts. So my wife, don't be jealous. Lin Chuan lowered his head slightly, and his forehead gently touched Li Mengyao's. I'm not jealous. Li Mengyao wanted to defend herself, but Lin Chuan sealed her lips. There is nothing that can't be resolved with a passionate kiss. If not, then another kiss. We're still at home. What if we're seen? Li Mengyao angrily pinched Lin Chuan's waist hard. It's okay, I just locked the door on the rooftop. They can't come up. Lin Chuan was not afraid of the pain and let his wife pinch him. Li Mengyao has no way to deal with this shameless husband. Don't keep any thoughts in your mind. In the future you must discuss them with your husband, okay? Lin Chuan hugged Li Mengyao tightly and said softly. Yeah. Li Mengyao nodded slightly and showed a sweet smile. When their eyes met, they both had ideas at the same time. Their faces moved closer and closer, and they were about to kiss. Suddenly there was a rapid knock on the door. Brother, sister-in-law, are you guys up there? Lin Chuan. You naughty sister, you're ruining my business. We are here. Li Mengyao seemed to have just woken up from a dream. She pushed Lin Chuan away in panic and then stood up. Lin Chuan also walked to the door helplessly and reluctantly opened the door on the rooftop. Lin Cece was standing outside the door. Her eyes fell on her sister-in-law Li Mengyao's flushed face, and she asked curiously, Brother, sister-in-law, Aunt May asked me to ask you to come down and eat some fruit. Then she winked mischievously and gave a sly smile. She is not a 3-year-old child, but a high school student. Of course she knows something about things between men and women. Sister-in-law, why is your face so red? Lin Cece asked with a smile. The weather is a bit hot. Li Mengyao explained hesitantly. No, it's quite cool on the roof, and there's a breeze blowing. Lin Cece felt it and said. Okay, kids shouldn't ask about adult matters. Go downstairs quickly, we'll be there soon. Lin Chuan quickly sent his sister away. Lin Cece then skipped downstairs. It's all your fault. Li Mengyao glared at him in reproach. Yes, it's all my fault. Lin Chuan held Li Mengyao's soft little hand and carefully helped her down the stairs. As soon as the grandmother saw her granddaughter-in-law coming, she greeted her with a smile on her face. Mengyao is here. Do you feel any discomfort? Grandma asked with concern. No, I was just a little sleepy just now, Li Mengyao explained gently. That's good, come and have some fruit. Grandma gently placed the colorful and exquisitely cut fruit platter in front of Li Mengyao and said with a smile. Li Mengyao first picked up a small piece of honeymelon and quickly stuffed it into Lin Chuan's mouth, and then continued to pick up the fruit and eat it in small bites. When everyone saw this scene, they all smiled. And everyone happily stayed together in the warm, spacious and bright living room to watch TV. After watching TV, everyone went back to their rooms to rest and sleep. Time quickly came to the next day. Morning. After breakfast, everyone received a visit from their neighbor Lin Yaoan and his family. Lin Zhengjiu and Lin Yaoan grew up in Yanha town and are good brothers who have been playing together since childhood. Lin Yaoan had been doing business abroad, but when he heard that his good brother Lin Zhengjiu was about to become a grandfather, he decided to come back to congratulate him no matter what. Lin Yaoan was accompanied by his wife Li Yan X, Yin, their daughter Lin W. Anking. It is worth mentioning that this Lin W. Wanking is the cute girl holding hands with Lin Xuan in the photo. Comrade Zhang Jiuo, I didn't expect that you would get there first. Lin Yaon walked into Lin Zhang Jiuo's villa with an exquisite gift in his hand. Of course not, I have been one step ahead of you since I was a child. Lin Zhang Jiuo responded happily. The two smiled at each other and began to chat happily. Don't stand at the door, come in and sit down. It's more lively when there are more people around. You must stay for dinner today. Grandma greeted everyone with a smile on her face. Hey, how's your life, little brother? A tall woman with a delicate face rushed forward impatiently and patted Lin Xuan's shoulder heavily. This person is Lin W. Wanking, who is a typical domineering queen. Sister King, be gentle, it won't hurt. Lin Xuan touched his shoulder and there was already a red mark. Li Mengyao, who was standing by, was even more stunned. Chapter 60. He is afraid of ghosts. Accidentally used too much force. Of course, my dear little brother, I didn't expect that you got married after just a few months of not seeing you. Where is my sister-in-law? Lin W. Wanking laughed. Here, Lin Xuan hugged Li Mengyao beside him into his arms, with a happy smile on his face. This is my wife, Li Mengyao. Lin Xuan introduced her to Lin W. Wanking. Lin W. Wanking narrowed her eyes and looked Li Mengyao up and down. The woman in front of me was tall and slender, with a beautiful face, especially a pair of charming eyes that seemed to be able to captivate people. How on earth did this stupid little brother catch such a beautiful girl? It's incredible. Hello, Sister King. Li Mengyao felt a little uncomfortable being stared at, so she took the initiative to say hello. Hello, Mengyao. Our sister-in-law is so beautiful. Lin W. Wanking came back to her senses and quickly reached out to hold Li Mengyao's hand, praising her with a smile. Sister King, you are also very beautiful. Li Mengyao responded softly with a red face. You two are such a perfect match here. I wish you a happy wedding. Lin W. Wanking took out a thick red envelope from her bag and stuffed it into Li Mengyao's hand. Sister King, where is mine? Lin Xuan asked shamelessly upon seeing this. Now women are in charge of financial power, so give your share to Mengyao. Lin W. Wanking winked mischievously and replied with a smile. Lin Xuan. Afterwards, everyone chatted a lot in the spacious and bright living room. Time passed quickly and it was noon in the blink of an eye. Brother, go cook quickly, I'm hungry. Lin W. Wanking shouted to Lin Xuan. Lin W. Wanking is an absolute foodie, and she has always liked the food cooked by Lin Xuan. I know. Lin Xuan walked into the kitchen helplessly. Who can blame him for making the best meals in the house? Soon, 40 minutes passed, and Lin Xuan filled the dining table with delicious dishes. Let's eat, Lin Xuan shouted to everyone. Everyone sat at the dining table and began to enjoy the delicious food. Wow! This tastes absolutely amazing. Brother, your cooking skills are getting better and better. Lin W. Wanking was chewing the beef in her mouth and praising it indistinctly. She seemed to be completely immersed in the world of food and couldn't stop eating. This is even more delicious than what I had in a 5-star hotel. Xuaner, you are amazing. Lin Yuan also praised generously. Yes, can Xuaner teach Annie how to do it someday? Li and Xii also echoed. Of course, Lin Xuan responded with a smile. Amidst laughter and joy, everyone ended this rich and enjoyable lunch with great satisfaction. After lunch, Lin Yaoan and his family went back home. Before leaving, Lin W. Wanking invited Li Mengyao to come to her house after waking up from her afternoon nap, and Li Mengyao agreed. Lin Xuan and his father Lin Zhang Jiuo continued to go to the reservoir for another battle as they had yesterday, and Lin Yaoan also joined in. In the afternoon, after waking up, Lin Xuan drove his Xiaomi SU7 and took his father and uncle Lin Yaoan to the reservoir where they had been yesterday. After getting off the car, Lin Zhang Jiuo went to the familiar spot he was at yesterday and started fishing. Dad, why did you choose the same place as yesterday? Lin Xuan said. If you can catch fish here once, you will get a second time wait. Son, I will definitely be the winner today. Lin Zhang Jiuo stared at the water intently and answered without turning his head. Come on. You're just boasting, and you caught a big carp weighing 8 kilograms. Lin Yaon heard Lin Zhang Jiuo say in the car that he caught a big carp weighing 8 kilograms yesterday, and immediately raised questions. Lin Zhang Jiuo did not take a photo of the big carp as evidence, so he ignored Lin Yaoan's questioning and just talked to himself about how big the carp was. Time passed by, and 3 hours passed in a flash. Here comes another one. Lin Yaoan happily showed off to Lin Zhang Jiuo that there were already 5 fish in his bucket, although none of them were very big. At the same time, Lin Xuan also successfully caught a fish. His luck was a bit bad today, but he still caught 3 small fish. On the other hand, Lin Zhang Jiuo has not gained anything yet. Thus when Lin Zhang Jiuo felt that he was not suitable for fishing, his bell began to make a crisp sound and the fishing rod began to shake violently. Here it comes. Lin Zhang Jiuo excitedly grabbed the fishing rod and fought fiercely with the big fish with all his strength. Lin Xuan immediately joined the battle and assisted his father in slowly tightening the fishing line. This must be a big one. Lin Yaon was equally excited. He picked up the long fishing net and was ready to finish at any time. Before long, with the concerted efforts of the father and son, a big fish gradually lost its strength and slowly surfaced. Lin Yaon was quick-witted and scooped it up, successfully ending this thrilling battle. The three of them could not wait to go over and check, and found that it was actually a big carp, and it was the one that escaped yesterday. Hurry, hurry! Put it in the bucket. Lin Zhengjiuo was afraid that it would run away again, so he urged hurriedly. After the big carp was thrown into the fish bucket, Lin Zhengjiuo finally breathed a sigh of relief. This is the fish I caught yesterday. I accidentally let it run away. I didn't expect to catch it again today, he said happily. You're great, you really weigh 8 kilograms, Lin Yaoan exclaimed. On the other side, Li Mengyao came to Lin Wang's house after waking up from an afternoon nap. The decoration style of Lin Wang's home is similar to that of Lin Xuan. Both are single-family villas. Sister-in-law is here, come in quickly. Lin Wang was wearing pajamas and had sleepy eyes, obviously having just woken up. She warmly invited Li Mengyao to sit on her oran sofa, then took out drinks and fruits from the refrigerator and put them on the table. Mengyao, I heard that you are pregnant? Lin Wang asked curiously. Yes, that's right. Li Mengyao nodded with a smile. You've just graduated not long ago. Lin Xuan is too unkind to women, Lin Wang said with a hint of blame in her tone. Mengyao, don't worry if Lin Xuan bullies you, tell me and I will help you deal with him. Lin Wang continued. No need, Lin Xuan is very good to me. Li Mengyao took a sip of her drink and responded gently. Lin Wang liked her sister-in-law more and more as she looked at her. Mengyao, let me tell you, although Lin Xuan is a bit thick-skinned, he has a weakness. He is afraid of ghosts. Afraid of ghosts? Li Mengyao asked, puzzled why. She thinks boys shouldn't be afraid of ghosts, especially since her husband is so handsome. Chapter 61 Wife, you've become a bad person. Yes, when he was a child, I would show him the movie Happy Ghost, and he would be scared and cry. He really loves to cry, Lin Wang continued with a smile. No wonder Lin Xuan was so strongly opposed when Li Mengyao suggested watching a horror movie last time. I laughed secretly in my heart. I have caught another handle on my husband. Li Mengyao and Lin Wang continued to chat about all kinds of gossip about Lin Xuan with great interest until the sun was about to set. Li Mengyao had just returned home and sat down when Lin Xuan and Lin Zhengjiuo followed back. We are back. Lin Zhengjiuo shouted happily as he entered the door. What are you so happy about? Did you eat shit? It makes you so happy? Shan Shaolan said, looking at her husband's playful face. Honey, let me tell you, I caught the big fish that I lost yesterday. It weighs 8 kilograms. Lin Zhengjiuo couldn't hide his excitement and hugged Shan Shaolan tightly. Let go. The child is still here. Shan Shaolan felt a little embarrassed and quickly broke free. Lin Zhengjiuo then let go of his hand with a chuckle. Shan Shaolan walked forward and took a closer look, and indeed saw a huge fish. Where did you buy this fish? It's this big, she asked doubtfully. Mom, it was indeed caught by Dad himself, Lin Xuan said with a smile. Wow. I didn't expect you to have some skills. Shan Shaolan couldn't help but smile with relief. This is all thanks to the fishing rod my daughter-in-law bought for me, Lin Zhengjiuo said happily. Son, go with Dad to process this big carp and have a good meal tonight. While it's still fresh, put it directly on the table tonight. Lin Zhengjiuo rubbed his hands excitedly. Okay, Lin Xuan agreed readily. The father and son worked in perfect harmony, and soon cleaned the fish thoroughly. It's done, the rest is up to you. Lin Zhengjiuo patted his butt and left, leaving Lin Xuan in the kitchen to light the fire and cooked. Looking at the fat carp in front of you, you can make several dishes out of it. Braised carp is fragrant, steamed carp is original. Sweet and sour carp is sweet, and sour fish head soup is delicious. In a short while, Lin Xuan prepared a table of delicious dishes with his superb 5-star cooking skills. The whole family sat together happily and began to enjoy the delicious food. Wife, try this. Lin Xuan considerately picked up a piece of juicy sweet and sour carp and put it in Li Mengyao's bowl. It's delicious. Li Mengyao smiled and was very happy. The fish that had just been caught tasted really delicious. After dinner, the family stayed in the spacious living room to chat and watched TV as usual. At this moment, the phone rang. Li Mengyao picked up the phone and saw that it was from her mother Huang Shifang. She and her mother Huang Shifang chat via video almost every night, but today she unexpectedly received a call from her. Hello? Ma, Li Mengyao said softly after pressing the answer button. Yao Yao, have you had dinner? Huang Shifang's gentle voice came from the other end of the phone. Hearing her mother's question, Li Mengyao smiled and replied, I have eaten. I am watching TV in the living room now. At this time, Shan Shaolan, who was sitting next to them, quickly turned down the TV volume to the minimum so as not to disturb their conversation. Everyone else also kept quiet tacitly, and only the sound of slight breathing filled the entire room. Mom, have you had dinner? Li Mengyao asked with concern. Well, Mom has already eaten. Is my mother-in-law here? Huang Shifang asked. Huang Shifang felt that her daughter was already married and had not yet spoken to her in-laws. Yes. Li Mengyao responded. And can I let Mom talk to her on the phone? Huang Shifang's tone revealed a hint of anticipation. Li Mengyao put down her phone, turned around and looked at Shen Shalan, and asked softly, Mom, my mom wants to talk to you on the phone. Is that okay? Chen Shalan smiled and nodded, saying, of course. Then she reached out and took the phone. Hello, are you my in-laws? Shen Shalan asked softly. Hello, relatives, I am Li Mengyao's mother, Huang Shifang. Huang Shifang responded gently. Hello, I am Lin Xuan's mother, Shen Shalan. Shen Shalan introduced herself politely. My dear relatives, we are planning to visit Jingshui City in a few days. Which day do you think is convenient? Shen Shalan asked straight to the point. Lin Shifang thought for a moment and replied, then let's do it this Saturday. Chen Shalan and Huang Shifang happily agreed on a date to meet, and then continued chatting for a while before hanging up the phone. Li Mengyao also knew that she would be returning to Jingshui City in a few days. She could finally see her dear mother again. She was very happy. As night falls, the moonlight sprinkles like water in front of the window. After washing up, Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao lay on the soft big bed, ready to fall into a sweet dream. Honey, are you afraid of ghosts? Li Mengyao raised her head slightly and said with a smile. Lin Xuan's heart skipped a beat, but she still pretended to be calm and answered, how is that possible? Your husband is fearless, so how could he be afraid of ghosts? Are you really not afraid? Li Mengyao continued to ask with a smile. Don't be afraid, Lin Xuan gritted his teeth and said stubbornly. And I'll show you something good. As soon as she finished speaking, Li Mengyao picked up the mobile phone beside her, clicked on a video with ease, and then put the screen in front of Lin Xuan. Fuck. Lin Xuan was so scared that his whole body trembled. Husband, you say you're not afraid. But I don't feel anything when I see this. Li Mengyao laughed so hard that she fell backwards, her eyes almost narrowed into slits. Lin Xuan then realized that he had been tricked by his wife. And the only person who knew that he was afraid of ghosts was Lin W. Anking. She must have told Li Mengyao about her fear of ghosts. Wife, stop laughing. Lin Xuan said helplessly. No, didn't you say you're fearless? Why are you so scared now? Li Mengyao smiled and wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes. She wanted to laugh when she saw him bragging in front of her and then feeling humiliated. Wife, you have learned bad things. Lin Xuan took the opportunity to hug Li Mengyao and showed his signature smile. Li Mengyao looked at Lin Xuan's smile and quickly realized that something was wrong. Honey, I was wrong. I won't laugh anymore. Li Mengyao wanted to break free from Lin Xuan's arms, but she couldn't escape. Too late. Lin Xuan's kiss fell quickly. Chapter 60. Who just said that the parking space was occupied. After Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao stayed in their hometown for a few more days, they set out on their journey back to Yunhai City at 10 o'clock this morning. Mom, that's enough, I still have. Shang Shalan tried to dissuade her. However, Grandma didn't listen and continued to stuff things into the trunk of the car, all of which were authentic agricultural products, and a few domestic chickens and geese. She didn't stop until the trunk could no longer hold any more. Okay, go back and give your granddaughter-in-law some good nutrition, okay? Grandma instructed. Have a safe trip. Grandpa gave his blessing with a smile. Grandpa and Grandma. Let's go back first, Lin Xuan said with a smile. Goodbye, Grandpa and Grandma. Li Mengyao said goodbye politely. Okay, remember to come back and play when you have time. Grandma's face was filled with a warm smile. Immediately afterwards, Lin Xuan and Lin Zhangjiuo started the car and slowly drove out of Yunshan town. On the highway, Lin Xuan still didn't give his father face and ruthlessly dumped him. After an hour and a half's drive, the family finally arrived at their home in Yunhai City. Lin Xuan entered the kitchen and started to get busy. Lin Zhangjiuo and Lin Sisi were responsible for cleaning, while Shan Shalan was preparing gifts for tomorrow's visit to Jingshui City. Li Mengyao also wanted to help, but was rejected, so she had to sit quietly on the sofa. After lunch, everyone went back to their rooms to rest. In the afternoon, Lin Zhangjiuo went to work as usual. Lin Xuan was awakened from his sleep by a sudden ringing of the phone. He picked up the phone dazedly and asked, "Hello? Who is this?" A gentle female voice came from the other end of the phone. "Hello, is this Mr. Lin?" The other party continued, "I am a salesperson from the BMW Ford store. The BMW 8 Series top of the line i840 you ordered has arrived. When is it convenient for you to come and pick up the car?" Lin Xuan then remembered the luxury car he had ordered before, and immediately became excited. "I'm free this afternoon. Then I'll wait for you in the store." After hanging up the phone, Lin Xuan yawned, then looked at his wife who was still sleeping beside him, kissed her gently on the face, got up, changed into neat clothes, and prepared to go out. After Lin Xuan went out, he called an online taxi and arrived at the BMW 4's store not long after. Enter the store. Soon, a graceful female salesperson came over. Good afternoon, MRLN. Hello, where is my new car? Here, please follow me. Soon, Lin Xuan, led by the female salesperson, arrived in front of the brand new silver-white BMW. A car has smooth lines, a cool appearance, and exudes a noble and elegant temperament. Lin Xuan walked around the car, reached out and touched the body of the car, feeling the texture and smoothness of the metal, and nodded with satisfaction. Dad should like it very much. Lin Xuan sat in the driver's seat, feeling the roar like that of a wild bee as they carefully checked all the equipment and instruments in the car, and drove away after confirming that everything was normal. Just as Lin Xuan left the BMW 4's store, he was accidentally discovered by a high school classmate who was passing by. Isn't this Lin Xuan? Damn, when did he become so rich, driving a BMW 8 Series worth over 1 million? Not long after, Lin Xuan parked the car steadily in the community parking lot. He locked his car door and took the elevator back home. The moment Lin Xuan pushed open the door, a delicate figure immediately rushed over and hugged him tightly. Auntie, where have you been? Li Mengyao asked with a smile, her eyes full of concern. Lin Xuan smiled gently and replied, I went to pick up the car I booked before finally arrived. Li Mengyao blinked her eyes and said in a somewhat dissatisfied tone, why didn't you wake me up and go with you? You slept soundly. If you want to see the new car, you can go now. Lin Xuan said gently. I'm still at home. Lin Cixi coughed deliberately. Li Mengyao let go of Lin Xuan instantly when she saw Lin Xuan coming back. She subconsciously thought that he was at home in Jinghe City. Brother, has the new car arrived? I want to go and see it, Lin Cixi shouted excitedly. Let's go. It's in the community parking lot, Lin Xuan said with a smile. And the three of them went to the community parking lot together. As soon as they walked to the new car, they heard a familiar voice. Is this the community property management? I don't know who has taken my parking space. Can you come over and inform the owner? This person was Lin Zhengjiuo, who had just returned home from get off work. It turned out that after Lin Xuan bought a new car for his father, he parked the car in his father's parking space. Lin Zhengjiuo hung up the phone. Although he recognized at a glance that this was his favorite BMW car, he was still very angry. Damn it, who is so wicked to occupy someone else's parking space? There are so many empty spaces around, but he takes mine. When Lin Xuan heard his father's words, he suddenly felt helpless. When Li Mengyao and Lin Cixi saw this scene, they immediately understood what had happened and they covered their mouths and laughed. Why are you here? Lin Zhengjiuo turned around and found three people standing nearby. Dad, I know who parked this car, Lin Xuan said helplessly. Who is it? Call him over quickly to move the car. Lin Zhengjiuo was still very angry. It's me, Lin Xuan said with a smile. Dad, this car is specially bought for you. The BMW 8 Series i140. After saying that, Lin Xuan gently handed a pair of exquisite car keys to Lin Zhengjiuo. Lin Zhengjiuo's face was full of surprise. He pressed the button in disbelief. The next moment, the cool BMW 8 Series next to him seemed to be awakened and unlocked instantly. The headlights flashed a dazzling light. Son, why didn't you tell me earlier? Lin Zhengjiuo was so excited that he couldn't wait to open the door of the luxury car and sit in the driver's seat, enjoying the comfort and luxurious atmosphere brought by this top-notch car. In fact, he had wanted to buy a new BMW for a long time. Dad, do you like it? Lin Xuan also came to the BMW 8 Series, put his hands naturally on the car door, and asked. I like it. It's so beautiful. Lin Zhengjiuo praised it repeatedly while stroking the decoration inside the car. However, in his joy, he suddenly realized an important problem. Son, where did you get so much money to buy a BMW 8 Series? Lin Zhengjiuo had secretly visited the BMW 4 store before and found that the BMW 8 Series was worth about 1 million yuan. And it seemed to be the top-of-the-line version. Don't worry, this is all the money I earned from my previous investments, Lin Xuan said with a smile. That's good, Lin Zhengjiuo said happily. He secretly rejoiced that his son's intelligence and talent were inherited from him. Dad, do you want to go out for a test drive? Okay, I'll try it now. Lin Zhengjiuo couldn't wait to start the car, and just as he was about to drive away, the community property management arrived. Excuse me, who just said that the parking space was occupied? It's me, Lin Zhengjiuo said with a smile while sitting in the car. The property staff of the residential complex looked at the other person as if he were a fool. Chapter 63, In-laws, we finally meet. As night falls and the lights come on, the family sits around the dining table and enjoys a sumptuous dinner. Chen Shulin inadvertently noticed that since Lin Zhengjiuo entered the house, the corners of his mouth have been raised and have never come down. Hey, Lao Lin, are you okay? Why are you always laughing? Chen Shulin couldn't help asking. My son bought me a BMW 8 Series sedan, so of course I am happy, Lin's Ngguo said happily. How much does the car cost? Shang Shulan asked in surprise. More than 1 million. Son, I know you have made a lot of money from investing, but you still have to save where you should. There is no need to buy such expensive things. Shang Shulan frowned and said earnestly. It's okay, as long as you are happy, and it was Meng Yao who suggested buying a new car for the family, Lin Xuan said with a smile. At this moment, Li Meng Yao, who was concentrating on eating, was stunned for a moment when she heard this. When Shang Shulan heard this, a relieved smile appeared on her face. My daughter-in-law is really sensible. Come. Eat more. As she said that, Shang Shulan picked up another piece of fresh fish and put it in Li Meng Yao's bowl. After dinner, Lin Xuan received a call from his good brothers Qiu Yuize and Huang Xiankai, who invited him to go out for a gathering. Wife, my friend asked me to go out, Lin Xuan said with a smile. Boyfriend or girlfriend? Male. Lin Xuan said. Oh, and remember to come back early, Li Meng Yao chuckled. Okay. After getting Li Meng Yao's consent, Lin Xuan went out to meet with his friends. Lin Xuan drove the Xiaomi SU7 and quickly arrived at a barbecue stall, a place they used to frequent. Brother Xuan, we are here. Yuize waved his arms and shouted loudly. Lin Xuan's eyes quickly locked onto Qiu Yuize and Huang Xiankai, who were sitting in the corner. They seemed to have been waiting here for a long time. Lin Xuan walked to the table, pulled out a chair and sat down, and asked with concern, how has everyone been doing recently? Oh, don't mention it. I can't make any orders this month. No one has money to buy a house, Huang Xiankai complained with a sad face. Huang Xiankai is a slightly plump boy, about the same height as Lin Xuan, and looks very strong. After graduating from university, he returned to Yanhai City and worked as a sales manager in a real estate company. Yeah, we can barely make ends meet this month. No one wants to buy your house. So naturally no one will ask me to renovate it. It's so miserable. Yuize also complained. Yuize is a thin man with a clever mind full of all kinds of wonderful ideas. After graduating from university, I returned to Yanhai City to work in a decoration company. The two of them would often have Huang Xiankai make a deal with a home buyer and immediately introduce the home decorator to Yuize. What about you, Brother Xuan? Yuize asked. Me? I don't have a job and I plan to take care of the baby full-time, Lin Xuan said with a smile. The two looked at Lin Xuan with jealousy. Just then, the proprietors came up and asked enthusiastically, hello, three handsome guys, what would you like to eat? Yuize couldn't wait to order food. First, 3 skewers of grilled chicken legs, then 10 skewers of lamb and 10 skewers of beef, plus a portion of fried snails, and finally 10 skewers of kidneys. Okay, please wait. After writing down the menu, the proprietors went back to grill the skewers. Wei Zai, I'm not saying anything harsh on you, but why did you order so many kidneys? Huang Xiankai couldn't help laughing. Brother Kai, you don't understand, this is the saying goes. You are what you eat. My waist is in great shape now. Yuize smiled proudly. Come on. What's the use of having a good waist when you don't have a girlfriend? Huang Xiankai teased. I don't have any, but Brother Xuan does. Shouldn't I give Brother Xuan some good supplements? Yuize said with a sly smile. That's true. But, Brother Xuan, you are also amazing. You are getting married so soon, and the baby is about to be born. Huang Xiankai also said. Your red envelopes must not be less when the time comes, Lin Xuan said with a smile. Of course. We are brothers, Huang Xiankai laughed. By the way, what about Shang Huiyan? She has been pursuing you since high school. I heard that she is about to return from abroad recently. Yuize suddenly remembered something and asked. He recalled Shang Huiyan from high school. That girl was enthusiastic and generous, beautiful, and had a wealthy family. She was the daughter of a well-known local boss in Yanhai City and had liked him since high school. It's a pity that Lin Xuan was focused on studying at that time and didn't have much time to think about relationship issues. Shang Huiyan's academic performance was not very ideal, so after graduating from high school, her family sent her to study abroad. There's nothing between her and me, Lin Xuan shrugged and responded. The three of them continued chatting and reminiscing about the past. Soon after having supper, they went home. It was almost 11 o'clock when Lin Xuan returned home after taking a shower. He carefully opened the door and walked in. However, when he walked into the bedroom, he found that Li Mengyao was so sleepy that she could not open her eyes. But she was still forcing herself to wait for her husband to come back. After hearing the noise, Li Mengyao tried to open her eyes and smiled slightly. Husband, you are back. Lin Xuan quickly climbed onto the bed, stretched out his arms and hugged Li Mengyao tightly, and said gently, Wife, if you are sleepy, go to bed first. No, I want to hold you in my arms as I sleep, Li Mengyao said coquettishly. Okay, let's go to bed now. Lin Xuan gently kissed Li Mengyao's forehead. The two fell asleep quickly. The next morning, sunlight shone through the curtains into the room. Lin Xuan opened his eyes and looked at Li Mingyao, who was still sleeping beside him, with a happy smile on his face. He got up quietly, washed up, went back to the bed and woke up Li Mingyao. Today? Their family will set off for Li Mingyao's hometown, Jingshui City. Mom, that's enough. There's no need to bring so many gifts, Li Mingyao dissuaded. It's not much, just a small token of my appreciation, Shan Shaolin said with a smile. After everything was ready, Lin Xuan and Li Mingyao drove the Xiaomi SU7 sedan, while Lin Zhengjiuo, Shen Shoulan and Lin Sisi drove the BMW 8 Series sedan, and the group set off in a mighty manner. Jinhai City and Jingshui City are not far apart, only about an hour and a half away. This time on the highway, Lin Zhengjiuo was not left behind by Lin Xuan. Along the way, the two cars drove smoothly and soon arrived in Jingshui City. After arriving in Jingshui City, they went straight to a high-end restaurant. This restaurant was booked in advance by Li Mingyao's mother Huang Shifeng in order to welcome Lin Xuan's family. The crowd took the elevator and slowly ascended, eventually stopping in front of the door of a luxurious private room. Before they stepped out of the elevator, they saw an elegant middle-aged woman standing there with a friendly smile on her face. At this moment, Huang Shifeng had been waiting for a long time, and Li Mingyao's aunt and uncle were standing beside him. When she saw everyone walking out of the elevator, she immediately stepped forward and said enthusiastically, "In-laws, we finally meet. Chapter 60 For your husband brings another woman home. We are finally able to meet you. And we are really happy." Shen Shoulan walked up with a smile on her face, shook Huang Shifeng's hand tightly, and said enthusiastically. When Huang Shifeng saw Lin Xuan and Lin Zhengjiuo behind her carrying large and small bags of gifts, her eyes revealed sincerity. "My dear in-laws, why did you bring so many things? This is too polite. We are all family from now on. There is no need to be so polite." Shan Shaolin waved her hands and smiled. No, this is as it should be. This is the first time we meet. So we have to prepare some gifts before visiting. The gift may be small, but the sentiment is great. Please accept it. My dear relative. Well, okay, thank you in-laws. I'll accept it. Huang Shifeng hesitated for a moment, but still gladly accepted the generous gift. When she opened the gift box, she found the items inside were so precious and heavy. After the gifts were properly placed, Huang Shifeng then introduced. These two are Mengyao's aunt and uncle. They have always taken good care of Mengyao. Li Mengyao's aunt Huang Shizhen is a gentle and generous middle-aged woman with a similar appearance to Huang Shifeng. Li Mengyao's uncle Wu Qingquan gives people a kind and amiable impression. After Li Mengyao's father passed away unexpectedly, her aunt and uncle often helped Li Mengyao and gave her care. Hello, thank you for taking care of Mengyao. Hello. I've heard that Yao Yao found a handsome husband now. It seems that they are really a perfect match. After both parties greeted each other politely, they walked into the luxurious private room together. The private room was filled with a faint floral scent, and soft music was lingering like silk, as if sending the best wishes to the newlyweds. While waiting for the food to be served, Lin Zhengjiuo, Wu Qingquan, Shen Shoulan and Huang Shifeng were chatting with each other. Huang Shizhen sat alone on the side. Yao Yao, come and sit here with your aunt. Huang Shizhen waved to Li Mengyao with a smile. Honey, I'll be over there for a moment. Li Mengyao smiled slightly. Well, go ahead, Lin Xuan said with a smile. So Li Mengyao walked lightly to her aunt and sat down beside her, smiling and saying, Aunt, Yao Yao, why did you report to your husband before coming to your aunt's place? Huang Shizhen joked. No way. Li Mengyao's cheeks instantly flushed with shyness. How are you feeling recently? Is Lin Xuan taking good care of you? And Huang Shizhen knew that Li Mengyao was pregnant and asked with concern. Lin Xuan is very nice to me, really very nice. Li Mengyao's face was filled with happiness. That's good. Don't forget that you still have your aunt to support you if you encounter any problems in the future. You can always come to your aunt. Huang Shizhen had always been worried that her niece would be wronged. But when she saw Li Mengyao's happy and satisfied smile, she felt relieved. Soon, the restaurant started serving the food. Lin Xuan, as usual, kept picking up Li Mengyao's favorite dishes for her. Seeing how well Lin Xuan took care of Li Mengyao, Wu Qingquan and Huang Shizhen also smiled with relief. Everyone finished this warm lunch together. In the afternoon, Li Mengyao's aunt and uncle went back first. Lin Xuan's family followed Huang Shifeng to Li Mengyao's home, and everyone drank tea and chatted together. Li Mengyao felt a little sleepy, so she went back to her room to sleep. Lin Xuan was looking at Lin Sisi, who was playing with her phone out of boredom. The corners of his mouth slightly raised, revealing his signature smile. Sister, I'll take you somewhere. Where are you going? You don't want to sell me out. Lin Sisi looked up at Lin Xuan, and seeing the familiar smile on her brother's face, it was definitely not a good thing. You'll know when you go there. Are you afraid to go? Lin Xuan seemed to see through his sister's thoughts, and he deliberately provoked her. Let's go. Lin Cece is stubborn by nature and can't stand provocation. It's boring to stay here anyway, so I might as well go out with my brother and take a look. So the two of them quickly went downstairs, got on the Xiaomi SU7, and soon arrived at the express store downstairs in Times Garden. It turned out that Lin Juan had purchased some small furniture in advance and planned to place them in the house in Times Garden. Coincidentally, these express deliveries had been delivered yesterday. At this moment, Lin Juan and Lin Cece were busy moving these express deliveries into the trunk of Xiaomi SU7. "Father, you called me here from far away just to ask me to help you move the express?" Lin Cece really couldn't understand why people had to come so far to pick up a package. "Not entirely." Lin Juan laughed out loud and said mysteriously, "Brother, we'll buy you ice cream later. I want the most expensive one." After moving the express delivery, Lin Juan took Lin Cece to the underground parking lot of Times Garden. "Brother, aren't you going back?" "I'm so tired," Lin Cece said tiredly while eating the ice cream that her brother had just bought for her. "Let me show you my new house first," Lin Juan said with a smile. New house? Not long after, they arrived at the door of room 1201, Building A. Times Garden. At this time, a smart door has been replaced, and special textures are carefully carved on the door, revealing a solemn and grand feeling. After Lin Juan entered the password, he pushed open the door and walked in carrying the express delivery. "Brother, when did you buy it?" Lin Cece couldn't wait to run into the house and began to look at the new house carefully. She excitedly shuttled through the rooms, not leaving out even a single corner. After Lin Juan put the express away, he began to carefully check the decoration of the house. Different from the new minimalist style of Jinwan Mansion, this time the Times home adopts Chinese decoration style, emphasizing symmetry and the beauty of square and round. The whole space is dominated by dark red, creating a solemn and elegant atmosphere. As you step into the spacious and bright hall, the first thing that catches your eye is a magnificent landscape mural. This mural is like a window to nature, offering a panoramic view of the magnificent mountain and river scenery. Secondly, each room adopts the traditional Chinese layout and decoration techniques, with a Chinese round mural hanging on the wall, hollow patterned wooden window frames inlaid on the windows, and smooth and delicate marble on the floor. It looks like the renovation has been basically completed. Lin Juan was quite satisfied with the quality and style of the decoration. The only thing left was the furniture, and it would probably take about half a month before he could move in. "Brother, I want this room," Lin Cece said, pointing to a room with plenty of sunlight and a wide view. "Okay, I'll keep it for you," Lin Juan said with a smile. After everything was done, Lin Juan and Lin Cece returned to the community parking lot, started the Xiaomi SU7 and returned the same way. At this moment, Chen Ting was watching all this quietly not far away, and quietly took out her mobile phone to take pictures. She never expected that she would discover a shocking secret just by chance. Lin Juan actually betrayed Yao Yao so quickly and was with other women. He is such a complete scumbag. Chen Ting quickly sent the photo she had just taken to Li Mengyao. "Yao Yao, something terrible has happened. Your husband brought another woman home." Chapter 65. You misunderstood. At this time, Li Mengyao was still sleeping at home. Lin Juan and Lin Cece arrived at Li Mengyao's house not long after, and Huang Qifeng had already tidied up the guest room. Everyone went back to their rooms to rest. Lin Juan also walked into Li Mengyao's boudoir. He walked lightly, afraid of waking her up. He climbed onto the bed carefully, gently stretched out his arms, hugged Li Mengyao tightly in his arms, and then fell asleep with her. Since Li Mengyao went to bed early in the afternoon, she woke up first. When she opened her beautiful eyes and saw Lin Juan sleeping beside her, she suddenly felt that her husband was particularly cute when he was sleeping. So she picked up her phone and planned to take a few photos secretly. As soon as she opened the phone, she saw the message from Chen Ting. "Yao Yao, something terrible has happened. Your husband brought another woman home." After seeing this message, Li Mengyao had a big question mark in her mind. "My husband was sleeping next to me." Then she clicked to view the photo and chuckled. At this moment, Lin Juan's long eyelashes suddenly trembled slightly, but Li Mengyao did not notice it. "Li Mengyao, Ting. You misunderstood, she is Lin Juan's biological sister." Chen Ting? After the explanation was clear, Li Mengyao picked up her phone again and started taking pictures of the sleeping Lin Juan. After taking several photos in a row, Li Mengyao felt that it was not satisfying enough. So she moved her delicate little face closer, slightly close to Lin Juan's face, and raised her mobile phone to take a photo of the two of them. However, seeing that her stupid husband still didn't move, Li Mengyao became more and more courageous. She first kissed Lin Juan's cheek lightly, then quickly picked up her phone to take another picture. And he looked at Lin Juan's lips, kissed him gently, and quickly took a picture with his mobile phone again. Unexpectedly, Lin Juan hugged Li Mengyao and kissed her. "You stinky husband, you are pretending to be asleep." Li Mengyao angrily bumped Lin Juan's chin with her head. "Who told you to kiss your husband secretly, huh?" Li Mengyao lowered her head angrily, resting her little face on Lin Xuan's chest, and ignored him. After a while, Lin Xuan broke the silence and said, "Send me the photos you took just now." "No," Li Mengyao answered firmly. After another period of silence, Li Mengyao suddenly raised her head and asked Lin Xuan, "Where did you take Cici just now?" "Wife. How did you know?" Lin Xuan asked in surprise. "Because I am a little fairy, I know everything," Li Mengyao said proudly. "I did take Cici to Times Garden to move some express deliveries and took the opportunity to take a look at the decoration of the house." Lin Xuan couldn't help laughing. "You are indeed Cici's biological brother. How is the decoration going? Why don't you take me with you?" Li Mengyao continued to ask. "There are still some slight formaldehyde residues in the new house. You are pregnant, so you can't go," Lin Xuan explained gently. "Okay," Li Mengyao felt a little disappointed. "But I took a video, you can take a look." As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Xuan handed the phone to Li Mengyao. Li Mengyao was also very satisfied after seeing the decoration of Times Garden. After everyone woke up from their nap, Lin Xuan told his parents about the new house Lin Zhengjiuo in Shengshou and expressed their support and went to Times Garden to see it together. They were very satisfied. As night fell, Huang Qifang and Shengshou and prepared dinner together, which made Lin Xuan feel fortunate that he was finally not the one cooking. After dinner, Lin Xuan and his family began to prepare to return to Yunhe City. "My dear relatives, why don't you stay a few more days?" Huang Qifang persuaded sincerely. "I'm really sorry, relative Lao Lin's annual leave is about to end, and he has to go back to work tomorrow." Sheng Shulan declined tactfully. "Well, let's come back when we have the chance. Here are some specialties from Jingshui City. You can take them back and taste them," Huang Qifang said softly. "Okay, my in-laws can come visit our Yunhe City when they are free. Then we will leave and go home now." "Ma, I'll go first." Li Mengyao stepped forward and hugged Huang Qifang tightly. "Remember to come back often when you have time. Go now." Huang Qifang gently stroked Li Mengyao's pretty head, full of love. Seeing how well her in-laws took care of Li Mengyao, she felt at ease leaving her daughter to them. "We'll come back after Times Garden is renovated." Lin Xuan nodded gently. "Okay, I'll wait for you," Huang Qifang said gently. Next, the group set out on their journey home. After an hour and a half's drive, they finally arrived at their home in Yunhe City. It was already late at night, and the entire city was enveloped in darkness. Everyone returned to their rooms to rest. When Lin Xuan just lay down on the bed and closed his eyes, the long-lost voice came from his mind again. "Ding dong, congratulations to the host for facilitating the reunion of the two families. The reward is 4 million yuan in cash. And it also triggers a 5x critical strike, totaling 20 million yuan. It has been transferred to the host's bank card through formal and legal means. Please check it." Ding dong, congratulations to the host for triggering the lottery mechanism. You will be awarded a chance to draw a prize. Since the last lottery pool has been drawn, we will start updating the lottery pool now. A new prize pool includes 1 large luxury Riva 88 yacht to Lamborghini Sion Lightning Limited Edition, free Ocean Heart necklace for future couple technology watch. 5. Thank you for your patronage. Excuse me, host, would you like to draw lottery? System, you finally show up. I thought you disappeared, Lin Xuan complained. Just ask if you want to smoke. The system urged again. Smoke. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for winning the Ocean Heart necklace worth 5 million. Please check it. Chapter 66. I bought the Seaview Villa. The system was indeed generous. It gave Lin Xuan 20 million yuan directly. What surprised Lin Xuan the most was that there were luxury items in the prize pool, such as the Lamborghini Sion Lightning Limited Edition and the large luxury Riva 88 yacht. Their value is as high as tens of millions. As the system continues to draw prizes, these prizes will be yours sooner or later. However, Lin Xuan didn't know what the future couple technology watch was. This time I won an Ocean Heart necklace, which is perfect to give to my wife for wedding photos. Miss. Wife, why did you bite me suddenly? Lin Xuan suddenly felt a light bite on his face, and then he looked down at his wife in his arms. Husband, what are you thinking about? You ignore me when I talk to you. Li Mengyao pouted her cute little mouth. I'm wondering when we will take wedding photos, Lin Xuan responded gently. How about the day after tomorrow? A hint of happiness flashed across Li Mengyao's face. Okay, let's go try on wedding dresses tomorrow, Lin Xuan said with a smile. Okay. Li Mengyao smiled sweetly. And they fell asleep in each other's arms. The next morning, Lin Xuan was awakened by a crisp phone ring. He picked up the phone with sleepy eyes and pressed the answer button. Good morning, Mr. Lin, I am Shanye Chai Cheng, the manager of the Royal Jewelry Store in Yunhe City. Hello? Lin Xuan responded in a slightly tired voice. Shanye Chai Cheng said respectfully, it's like this, the Ocean Heart necklace you ordered yesterday has arrived at our store. When are you free to come and pick it up? After all, someone who can pay the full amount for a necklace worth 5 million yuan at once is definitely not an ordinary person. I'm free in the morning. Lin Xuan replied casually. And I'll wait for you in the store. After hanging up the phone, Lin Xuan gently woke up Li Mengyao, and the two went to the restaurant together to have breakfast. After breakfast, Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao came to the parking lot, got on the Xiaomi SU7, and slowly drove out of the community. Not long after, the car stopped in front of a high-end residential area by the sea. This was the sales office at Yunhai Home. Honey, didn't we agree to go pick out a wedding dress? Why are we here? Li Mengyao asked with a puzzled look on her face. Let's buy a small thing first. Lin Xuan unbuckled his seatbelt and said with a smile. Buying a house again? Is a house a small thing? After the previous experiences of Lin Xuan secretly buying houses, Li Mengyao had already guessed it. Lin Xuan didn't continue explaining to his wife. He moved forward to unbuckle her seatbelt and kissed her slightly open cherry lips. Li Mengyao was suddenly attacked by Lin Xuan, and she stretched out her little hand and pinched his chest hard. Doesn't my wife like watching the sea? Let's buy a room with a sea view. Lin Xuan rubbed the place that was pinched and hurt just now, and said with a smile. How much will that cost? Li Mengyao asked softly. It's okay, your husband is rich. Besides, it's time to move to a new apartment in the residential area. Lin Xuan said with a smile. Okay then. Li Mengyao really wanted to see what a sea view room was like. At this moment in the car, Lin Xuan's face was very close to Li Mengyao, so close that he could feel the other's breath. Li Mengyao felt Lin Xuan's malicious gaze and a blush appeared on her face. Get out of the way. Li Mengyao gently pushed Lin Xuan away, quickly opened the car door and ran away. Lin Xuan really just knows how to kiss every day. Won't he get tired of it? Lin Xuan got out of the car with a smile. The two walked hand in hand into the sales office of Yunhai Home. Hello, are you two here to buy a house? Another graceful and beautiful female salesperson came up to us. Yes, are there any sea view rooms here? Lin Xuan asked. Yes, please follow me. The female salesperson led the two to the building model of Yunhai Home, pointed to the top floor of a building, and introduced. Room 3201, Building C, Yunhai Home is still for sale now, and the view is very wide. Only the top floor? Lin Xuan frowned slightly. Yes. At present only the top floor is left. Forget it, I don't like the top floor. After saying that, Lin Xuan took Li Mengyao's hand and was about to leave. Just then, a familiar voice was heard. Brother Xuan? Why are you here? Huang Xiankai had just seen off a client, and when he came back he saw Li Xuan and Li Mengyao who were about to leave. Xiankai, so you work here? Lin Xuan asked in surprise. Yes, this must be my sister-in-law. Hello. Huang Xiankai greeted with a smile. Hello, Li Mengyao responded politely. Hey, Brother Xuan, come to me if you want to buy a house. Good things should be kept in the family. Huang Xiankai patted Lin Xuan's shoulder and said generously. If I had known you worked here, I would have definitely looked for you. By the way, do you really have no other sea view rooms? Lin Xuan asked. There are definitely no more ordinary houses. However, we do have a sea view villa. But it's too expensive, so forget it. I'll see if anyone hasn't subscribed and contact you later, said Huang Xiankai. No need, take us to see the sea view villa. Lin Xuan raised the corners of his mouth slightly and answered in a firm tone. What? Brother Xuan, do you know that the sea view villa was worth 20 million? This is not a small amount of money? Huang Xiankai was shocked and stared at Lin Xuan with wide eyes. Li Mengyao was also surprised. 20 million. However, Lin Xuan seemed unusually calm. He said casually, it's okay, take us to have a look. If you are satisfied, just buy it. 20 million is nothing to the system. So the three of them quickly set off for the villa area of Yunhai Home. This sea view villa has a construction area of 300 square meters and an interior area of 900 square meters. It is a luxurious villa with 3 floors above ground and 2 floors underground. In addition, it is equipped with a large garden covering an area of more than 400 square meters and a complete set of home appliances and furniture. This villa is gently embraced by the boundless blue sea. Its unique design is eye-catching. The geometric architectural outline is very modern, and the large glass screens are like mirrors, reflecting the sparkling waves of the sea. Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao stepped onto the balcony of the villa together, looking at the shimmering sea not far away, and both of them showed very satisfied expressions. Wife, what do you think? Lin Xuan asked softly. Li Mengyao stood there quietly, slightly closing her eyes, and carefully feeling the sea breeze brushing her cheeks. The satisfied smile appeared on the corner of her mouth, and she murmured, it's beautiful. Xiankai, I bought this sea view villa. Lin Xuan turned and said to Huang Xiankai. Really? Are you kidding? Huang Xiankai said in shock. I'm not kidding. Chapter 67, Heart of the Ocean. Brother Xuan, do you really have so much money? Huang Xiankai still couldn't believe it. He stared at Lin Xuan with wide eyes. Of course it's true. If you don't believe me, I can show you the bank card deposit, Lin Xuan said as he took out his mobile phone. opened the banking application, and turned the screen to Huang Xian Kai. Huang Xian Kai looked closely and saw an astonishing number displayed on the screen. It started with 2, followed by 7 zeros. He couldn't help but gasp, "Damn, Brother Xuan really has so much money." "Brother Xuan, wait a moment, I'll go prepare the sales contract." After saying that, Huang Xian Kai immediately went back to prepare. Although Li Mengyao was also shocked, she no longer doubted Lin Xuan's ability to make money. While Huang Xian Kai was preparing the contract, Lin Xuan held Li Mengyao's hand and continued to leisurely look at this beautiful sea view villa. They strolled in the courtyard, feeling the fresh sea breeze and warm sunshine. When they reached the swimming pool in the villa garden, Lin Xuan stopped, pointed at the sparkling water and asked Li Mengyao, "Wife, can you swim?" "No," Li Mengyao shook her head slightly. "After we move here, my husband will teach you. Besides, swimming during the second trimester of pregnancy is good for both you and your baby. It can reduce the burden on the joints and relieve the dysymptoms during pregnancy." Lin Xuan gently squeezed her hand and said tenderly, "Yeah." A happy smile appeared on his face. Soon, Huang Xian Kai came back with a sales contract. "Brother Xuan, you see there is no problem and you can pay by card," Huang Xian Kai said excitedly. The real estate industry has not been doing well recently. In order to promote business development, the company has increased the commission rate from 1 to 2, so he can get a commission of 400,000 for this house worth 20 million. "Okay, no problem." Lin Xuan glanced at the contract, and after confirming that it was correct, he handed the bank card to Huang Xian Kai. "Thank you, Brother Xuan, for being so rich. I'll treat you and Qiuize to a big dinner in a few days," Huang Xian Kai said with a smile. "Sure, it's a pity that this villa has already been fully decorated. Otherwise I could ask him to design it for me," Lin Xuan said with a smile. "He's not that lucky, but it doesn't matter, just treat him to a few more meals. Doesn't he like to eat kidneys? Order 20 skewers for him tonight," Huang Xian Kai laughed. "Qiuize. You too." After the transaction was successfully completed, Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao drove the Xiaomi Su7 to the Yanhai City Royal Jewelry Store. Yanhai City Royal Jewelry Store is the most famous jewelry store in Yanhai City, and it houses many precious and rare jewelry. "Honey, why are you here at the jewelry store again?" Li Mengyao asked again, full of suspicion. "Come to pick up something." Lin Xuan smiled and unbuckled his seatbelt, just as he was about to help Li Mengyao unbuckle her seatbelt. He saw Li Mengyao quickly unbuckle her seatbelt by herself and got out of the car in a panic, fearing that Lin Xuan would hug her and kiss her in the car again. The two walked into the store together. A young and beautiful female clerk immediately came up to them and asked with a professional smile, "Hello, are you here to buy jewelry?" "No, I'm looking for your store manager. Shang Cheng, could you please contact him?" Lin Xuan also responded with a polite smile. "Okay. What's your name?" the solicitor continued to ask. "My last name is Lin," Lin Xuan answered concisely. "Okay, please wait a moment." After saying that, the female clerk turned and walked into a durably decorated office. "Mr. Shang, there's a young man outside who wants to see you. He said his last name is Lin." The female clerk stood in front of the desk and reported to the middle-aged man who was leisurely sipping tea. "Young man, what does the little brat want to do with me? Tell him I'm not here." A middle-aged man waved his hand with disdain on his face at this moment. He was sitting at the tea table, leisurely savoring the fragrance of tea. "This person is the manager of Yanhai City Royal Jewelry Store, Shang Cheng. "Okay, I'll tell him right away." The female clerk turned and left. Shang Cheng picked up a cup of fine Longjing tea and took a sip carefully. "What did she say just now? Last name Lin? Emerelin?" Shang Cheng instantly jumped up as if he was sitting on pins and needles and ran towards the door. "I'm really sorry. Emerelin, our manager happens to be out. You might as well come back next time," the female clerk explained politely. "Okay then." Lin Xuan frowned slightly, but quickly regained his composure. Maybe Shang Cheng really had something urgent to deal with. Just as Lin Xuan turned around and left with Li Mengyao, a hurried shout came from behind. "Emerelin, please wait." Shang Cheng ran over breathlessly. "Just now this beautiful lady said you were not here. So I thought you were out doing something." Lin Xuan smiled, stretched out his hand, and shook hands tightly with Shang Cheng. Lin Xuan stretched out his hand and shook hands with Shang Cheng. "I just got back, please come in." Shang Cheng enthusiastically led Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao into his luxurious office and personally brewed a cup of fragrant Longjing tea for them on the tea table. Lin Xuan glanced at Shang Cheng's teacup, which was still steaming, and he knew in his heart that Shang Cheng definitely had not gone out just now. However, Lin Xuan did not care about it. He just wanted to get back the heart of the ocean necklace given by the system. Shang Cheng never expected that the person who bought the 5 million ocean heart necklace in one go would be so young and look like a college graduate. "Mr. Zhang." And the ocean heart necklace that I ordered yesterday be delivered to me now? Lin Xuan took a sip of tea carefully and asked directly. Of course, please wait a moment. Not long after, an exquisite gift box appeared in front of Lin Yixuan and Li Mengyao. The surface of the gift box was printed with the 4 characters, Heart of the Ocean, which was particularly eye-catching. Wife, please open it and take a look. Lin Xuan handed the gift box to Li Mengyao with a smile. Li Mengyao carefully opened the exquisite gift box and saw a dazzling and charming light suddenly blooming. It turned out that the box contained a sapphire necklace. This necklace uses extremely rare cornflower sapphires. Its deep blue color is like the center of the vast ocean, which is intoxicating. Moreover, this sapphire is carefully carved into a heart shape, which represents endless love. Hence the romantic name, Heart of the Ocean. Shang Yi Cheng introduced in detail. Not only that, around the heart-shaped gem, there is also a circle of dazzling diamonds. They are like the star-like waves, sparkling with dazzling light, he continued. Wife, do you like it? Lin Xuan looked at Li Mengyao tenderly. Yeah, I like it, Li Mengyao smiled sweetly. Chapter 68, Charm of the Ocean. After Li Mengyao happily put away the Heart of the Ocean, Lin Xuan and she said goodbye to Shang Yi Cheng and prepared to leave. However, just as Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao were about to step out of Shang Yi Cheng's office, they accidentally caught a glimpse of a pair of extremely exquisite earrings displayed on the display cabinet. And Lin Xuan involuntarily stepped forward. Mr. Zhang, this pair of earrings is very beautiful. What is its name? Lin Xuan asked with a smile. MRLN. You have a good vision. This is the new masterpiece of our Yunha, a royal jewelry store. Charm of the Ocean. Shang Yi Cheng sensed a potential business opportunity. He elaborated. This ocean charm also uses extremely rare cornflower sapphires and is carefully carved to present a beautiful water drop shape, just like the dew condensed on the grass tip in the early morning, crystal clear and pure. The diamonds are set in an extraordinary way around the sapphires, creating a dazzling halo that adds to the charm of the earrings. Excuse me, how much is this Charm of the Ocean? Lin Xuan continued to ask. Shang Yi Cheng thought for a moment and responded. The initial proposed selling price is 3 million, but it has not yet been officially released to the public. Lin Xuan said without hesitation. I am willing to increase the price by 500,000 yuan. What do you think, Mr. Chang? His tone was firm and his eyes revealed his determination to win. Honey, there's really no need to buy these. Li Mengyao gently squeezed Lin Xuan's hand and said, Koketh the sly. Listen to my husband. Lin Xuan turned and smiled at Li Mengyao. Seeing this, Shang Yi Cheng on the side couldn't help but shout anxiously, deal. After a short while, the pair of earrings named Charm of the Ocean were beautifully wrapped by the staff and handed to Li Mengyao. It was almost 11 o'clock, and Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao decided to go home for lunch first, and then go to the wedding photography company in the afternoon. On the way home, Li Mengyao carefully protected her bag, which was worth 8.5 million yuan. Even if she sold herself, she wouldn't have that much. After a hearty lunch at noon, Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao lay comfortably on the bed. Honey, do you know how much money we have now? Li Mengyao curled up in Lin Xuan's arms like a kitten and asked softly. How much more? Lin Xuan touched Li Mengyao's hair lovingly. There are only 5 million left in the current deposit, Li Mengyao said softly. Only 5 million left? Lin Xuan was a little surprised, but it made sense when he thought about it. He spent all the 20 million the system had just given him in an instant, and then bought another 3.5 million earrings. Thinking about it this way, he was indeed quite a spendthrift. So I don't think it's necessary to buy these. One earring costs 3 million, and you're still adding to the price. Li Mengyao thinks it's better to be frugal, although this ocean charm is really beautiful. Wife, do you know why I want to raise the price? Lin Xuan continued to gently stroke Li Mengyao's hair and said with a smile. Why? Li Mengyao also raised her head and asked curiously. Because this piece of jewelry hasn't been officially sold yet. If my wife wears it now, wouldn't it be unique? I think when my wife wears it to take wedding photos, she will become the most beautiful bride in the world. Lin Xuan replied with deep affection in his eyes. Husband, you will spoil me like this. Li Mengyao put her arms around Lin Xuan's neck, pressed her cute little face tightly into Lin Xuan's neck, and spoke softly. What can I do if she's spoiled? My husband can only continue to spoil her. Lin Xuan gently kissed Li Mengyao on her smooth forehead. Hearing this, Li Mengyao raised her head again, gazed at Lin Xuan lovingly, slightly opened her cherry lips, and then gave him her sweet kiss without hesitation. In the afternoon, Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao woke up and went to a famous wedding photo studio in Yunha City. After careful selection and discussion, they finally decided on a perfect shooting plan, and the price was as high as 30,000 yuan. I was originally planning to start taking wedding photos tomorrow, but the weather forecast shows that tomorrow's weather is not good, so I have to postpone the shooting date to the day after tomorrow. So, Li Mengyao went to the wedding dress store and carefully selected a wedding dress that suited her. After careful selection, she finally chose the style she liked and went into the dressing room to try them on one by one. Not long after, Li Mingyao walked out of the locker room. She was wearing a snow-white wedding dress that perfectly outlined her graceful figure. The hem of the wedding dress swayed gently with her steps, like a holy flower blooming in the clouds, breathtakingly beautiful. "Honey, does this look good?" Li Mingyao asked shyly. "It looks good." Lin Xuan was already stunned. "Huh, that's what the one just now said," Li Mingyao scolded angrily. "There's nothing I can do, my wife looks good in anything she wears, why don't we put them on the day after tomorrow?" Lin Xuan said with a smile. A hint of happiness flashed across Li Mingyao's face. "Honey, why haven't you changed it yet?" Li Mingyao asked curiously. "I'm waiting for my wife to choose for me," Lin Xuan said with a smile. "Come here, stupid husband." Li Mingyao came to the suits section and started to choose. Her eyes swept over the exquisite suits one by one, and she already had a preliminary idea in her mind. Soon, she picked out several suits whose styles and colors were very suitable for Lin Xuan, then handed them to Lin Xuan with a smile, motioning him to try them on. Lin Xuan took the suit and walked into the fitting room to change into it. After a while, Lin Xuan changed his clothes and came out. He was wearing a wedding suit. His straight figure and handsome face complemented each other, perfectly interpreting handsomeness and grace, exuding charming charm. Li Mingyao saw Lin Xuan's appearance and showed a satisfied smile on her face. She gently took Lin Xuan's hand and came to the mirror to take a few beautiful photos. In the evening, the whole family sat around the dinner table and enjoyed their delicious meal. "Mom and Dad, let's move tomorrow," Lin Xuan suddenly said with a smile. This sentence was like a bolt from the blue. Except for Li Mingyao, everyone present was stunned. Everyone else had a confused expression on their face. Moving? Moving what? Shang Shulan frowned and asked in confusion. Could it be that his son failed an investment and mortgaged all the family properties? Chapter 16. What can't your husband do? It's just moving. Ray going to live in a different place. Lin Xuan raised the corners of his mouth slightly and said in a relaxed tone. "Son, did you fail in your investment recently? If you don't have enough money, tell me, I still have some." Before she finished speaking, Shang Shulan hurried back to the room, took out a bank card and stuffed it into Lin Xuan's hand. Lin Xuan was also stunned when he saw it. Our mother's train of thought is really unique. "Mom, you misunderstood. We are moving to a new home." Li Mingyao looked at this scene and explained with a smile. "Moving to a new home? Where to?" Shang Shulan asked with a puzzled look on her face. "Home in the Sea of Clouds," Lin Xuan said with a smile. "Why did you suddenly buy a new house?" Lin's Ngguo couldn't help but ask. "We have lived in this community for several years, so it's time to change the environment." "Brother, what does the new house look like?" Lin Sisi couldn't hide her excitement and asked impatiently. "You will know tomorrow." Lin Xuan still kept smiling. Time quickly came to the next day. Lin Xuan's family packed their large and small bags and placed them neatly in the trunk of the car. Lin Xuan and Lin's Ngguo each started their cars and drove slowly towards Yunhai house. This time, Lin Xuan was driving in front, while his father Lin's Ngguo followed closely behind. Not long after, they arrived at the ordinary residential area of Yunhai, a home. However, Lin Xuan did not stop here, but continued to head straight to the more luxurious Yunhai home villa area. "Aren't we supposed to be at Yunhai home? Why are we driving forward?" Shang Shulan asked in confusion. "It looks like we're heading to the villa area," Lin Ngguo said as he drove seriously. "Villa area?" Shang Shulan was shocked. In a blink of an eye, the Xiaomi SU7 and the BMW 8 Series parked steadily in front of a large sea-view villa in the Yunhai home villa district. When everyone stepped out of the car, Lin Ngguo and Shang Shulan were stunned on the spot, but Lin Sisi rushed forward without any hesitation. "Brother, you actually bought such a big villa." When the family steps onto the first floor, what comes into view is a 7-meter-high hollow living room. No matter where you are in the living room, you can easily enjoy the charming sea view. Next to the living room is an extremely spacious kitchen, which is divided into two completely different areas, the Western dining area on the left and the Chinese dining area on the right. On the other side of the living room, there is an exquisitely decorated tea room, which displays a variety of precious and rare tea sets and teas. There are 5 rooms on the second floor, 4 of which are spacious and bright bedrooms. Each room has an unparalleled sea view, allowing people to fully enjoy the tranquility and beauty brought by the sea. The other room was transformed into an exquisite and elegant large study, filled with a variety of books. Going up the stairs to the 3rd floor, the first thing that catches your eye is the extra-large and beautifully decorated master bedroom. Not only are there comfortable and soft beds and luxurious furniture here, but there is also an entire wall of floor-to-ceiling glass windows, and outside the windows is the magnificent Sea of Clouds. In addition, there is a spacious and beautiful viewing terrace on this floor. Standing on the terrace, feeling the breeze on your face and gazing at the clouds and the sea and sky in the distance, one feels extremely comfortable. This How much money will this cost? Shang Shulan couldn't help but exclaim. 20 million. Lin Xuan answered casually while unloading the luggage from the car. At this moment, Lin Zhengjiuo suddenly pulled Lin Xuan aside. Son, tell dad the truth. Is this all the money you earned from investments? Lin Zhengjiuo thought this was unbelievable. It was one thing to buy a BMW 8 Series worth more than 1 million yuan, but now he actually bought a Seaview villa worth more than 20 million yuan. It was really unbelievable. Not entirely, Dad. I actually opened a company in Jinghae City. And I get 1 million in dividends every month. What company? Jinwan Technology Co. Limited. At this moment, Liu Wen, the general manager of Jinwan Technology Co. Limited, is busy in the office. He hasn't seen his boss for many days. I knew you could do it, son. Lin Zhengjiuo patted Lin Xuan's shoulder hard and said with a smile. Dad, you were questioning me just now. Lin Xuan touched his shoulder that was hurt by the pat and said helplessly. Come on, let's continue moving the luggage. Lin Zhengjiuo quickly changed the subject. After spending a whole morning, Lin Xuan and Lin Zhengjiuo finally put away their luggage. Because there were no ingredients prepared in the Seaview villa, Lin Xuan's family had to return to their original home to solve the lunch problem. In the afternoon, Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao went to the mall to buy groceries first. When they arrived at the mall, Lin Xuan suddenly had an idea and remembered that his new home had a special Western food area. Wife, do you want to have Western food tonight? Lin Xuan turned and looked at Li Mengyao with a smile. Husband? You can also cook Western food? Li Mengyao couldn't help but show a look of surprise. What doesn't your husband know? What kind of Western food would you like to eat tonight? Lin Xuan asked with a smile. Well, I want to eat pasta and steak. Li Mengyao smiled and looked very happy. Okay. Lin Xuan agreed readily. He thought it was nice to change the taste occasionally. Not long after, Lin Xuan purchased all the necessary ingredients and drove back to the Seaview villa. We're back. Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao stood at the door, carrying shopping bags of various sizes, and shouted loudly. However, the room was silent. Why did no one respond? The two then went into the house and looked around for their family members. It turned out that my father Lin Zhengjiuo was concentrating on playing with various tea sets in the exquisite tea room, and he couldn't let go of them. What about Mom? I came to the kitchen again and saw Shang Shulan anchoring with something in the kitchen. At this time, Shang Shulan thought that with such a spacious and complete kitchen, she would definitely be able to develop many new products. The villa is too big, which is also a problem. It is a bit difficult to find people. Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao sat side by side on the spacious and comfortable sofa in the living room, silently gazing at the magnificent and boundless sea view outside the window. Where's Cece? Lin Xuan suddenly remembered that he hadn't seen her all afternoon. So he stood up and began to look for his sister in every corner of the villa. He started searching from the third floor, but every room was empty and there was no sign of Lin Cece. Is it on the basement floor? Then Lin Xuan took the elevator in the villa to the basement floor. The underground floor is mainly an area for people to entertain and relax. There is a luxurious home theater, a state-of-the-art games room, a fully equipped gymnasium and more. When the elevator door slowly opened, Lin Xuan caught a glimpse of the familiar figure in the game room. At this moment, Lin Cece was staring at the screen intently, wearing headphones, holding the game controller tightly with both hands, and kept shouting, Sisters, let's go together. Chapter 70. I'm willing to spend any amount of money on my wife. Lin Xuan looked at Lin Cece quietly from behind, feeling helpless. He gently reached out and unplugged the network cable. Suddenly, the screen became motionless, and the originally lively game world suddenly became silent. Hey, why aren't you moving? Furious, Lin Cece took off her headphones and turned around angrily, only to be surprised to find that her brother Lin Xuan was standing behind her. She put on an awkward smile, trying to hide her inner panic. Brother, why are you here? Lin Cece laughed dryly, with a hint of guilt in her voice. Lin Xuan frowned and asked seriously, Sister, have you finished your homework? Lin Cece lowered her head, fiddled with her fingers, and replied in a low voice. Almost there, brother, I was wrong. A mistake was playing games secretly. Lin Cece's voice became smaller and smaller. Lin Xuan shook his head and said firmly, No, do you know where you are really wrong? Lin Cece raised her head and looked at Lin Xuan blankly. An hour passed and Li Mengyao was still sitting on the spacious and comfortable sofa playing with her mobile phone. Why hasn't my husband come back after an hour? Li Mengyao murmured to herself. So she put down her phone, stood up and started looking for Lin Xuan. Soon, she found two familiar figures in the game room on the basement floor. Lin Xuan and Lin Cece were staring at the screen intently, wearing headphones, holding the game controllers tightly in both hands, and kept shouting, Sister, there's an enemy on the left. Kill him quickly. Where? How stupid, my brother solved it. Seeing such a deep affection between the siblings, Li Mengyao showed a satisfied and relieved smile on her face. Abi, Cece, Don't forget to drink water when playing games. She gently picked up two exquisite and cute little cups and placed them in front of Lin Xuan and Lin Sisi. Wife. Lin Xuan turned around and saw Li Mengyao. He felt flustered and hurriedly put down the game controller in his hand. Brother, why aren't you moving? Lin Sisi also turned her head and her eyes happened to meet her sister-in-law Li Mengyao, so she put down the game controller without hesitation. Why don't you play anymore? Li Mengyao asked gently. Sitting down close to Lin Xuan. Lin Xuan reacted quickly and quickly passed the blame. It's all Sisi's fault. She insisted on ragging me to play games with her. You're talking nonsense, old man. It was obviously you who insisted on joining in. Lin Sisi retorted a yielding lie. I didn't say you can't play games, on the contrary, I think it's very heartwarming. Li Mengyao chuckled. You guys continue playing, I'll just watch quietly by the side. Her eyes were full of love and tolerance. Wife, do you want to play together? Lin Xuan said to Li Mengyao with a smile. Can I? But I'm not very good at playing, Li Mengyao answered hesitantly. At this time, Lin Sisi on the side interrupted with a smile. It's okay, sister-in-law, just let brother rush to the front to attract fire, and we will hide in the back. Okay, Li Mengyao showed a happy smile on her face. Time passed quickly. And in the blink of an eye it was almost time for dinner. Shang Shalan was troubled when she saw the Western food ingredients that Lin Xuan bought in the refrigerator. How to do this? Son, where are the vegetables you bought this afternoon? Shang Shalan walked out of the kitchen and found that Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao were not in the living room. So Shang Shalan began to look for their traces in every corner of the villa. The trouble with a big house is that it is very difficult to find someone. Finally, Shang Shalan saw three familiar figures in the game room on the basement floor. The three of them were playing games happily. And Li Mengyao was also smiling happily. She had never had such a happy childhood when she was a child. However, at this moment, Shang Shalan walked towards Lin Xuan. Son, stop playing and prepare dinner quickly, we can't let Mengyao and the babies go hungry. Shang Shalan said softly. Okay, I'll go right away. Lin Xuan quickly put down the game controller in his hand, and took the elevator to the kitchen and began to busy himself preparing dinner. At the same time, Li Mengyao and Lin Sisi also stopped playing the game. The two of them looked at Shang Shalan with aggrieved looks on their faces, like to children who had done something wrong. Mengyao, it's okay, just continue playing. Lin Xuan will call you after he finishes cooking dinner. Shang Shalan consoled with a smile, then turned and left the room. Lin Sisi was stunned. Is this still her mother? In the past, she was often caught and spanked by her mother. Soon. An hour passed, and with his 5-star cooking skills, Lin Xuan prepared a sumptuous Western meal. Spaghetti bolognese, French fried foie gras, pan-fried cod, fish and chips, and beef Wellington. Every dish looks mouth-watering. The family sat in front of the spacious dining room, ready to enjoy dinner. Brother, you can cook Western food, Lin Sisi said in surprise. Change your taste occasionally, come and try it. Lin Xuan said with a smile. Wow, this is so delicious. Lin Sisi cut a piece of Wellington steak and put it into her mouth, her face full of happiness. Shang Shalan also took a bite and had to admit that her son's cooking skills were amazing. Lin Zhengjiuo also ate with gusto. Is it delicious? Lin Xuan looked at Li Mengyao gently. It's delicious. Li Mengyao's eyes were curved with joy. After dinner, Lin Sisi was urged by her mother Shang Shalan to go to the study to finish her homework. Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao came to the viewing terrace on the 3rd floor, gazing at the vast expanse of sea, with the gentle sound of waves reaching their ears. Honey, we will take wedding photos tomorrow. Li Mengyao snuggled in Lin Xuan's broad arms like a little bird and said softly. Well, do you want to have a rehearsal tonight? Lin Xuan showed a doting smile. What is the rehearsal for tonight? Li Mengyao raised her head curiously, blinking her bright big eyes and asked in confusion. I bought all the wedding dresses you tried on, and they are now in our closet. Lin Xuan said with a smile. Spending money recklessly again. Although Li Mengyao said this in a scolding tone, she was still very happy in her heart. I'm willing to spend any amount of money on my wife, Lin Xuan said as he gently kissed Li Mengyao's delicate cheek. Thank you, husband. Li Mengyao was deeply moved. She took the initiative to stretch out her hands and hug Lin Xuan's neck tightly, and then quickly gave him a sweet kiss on his lips. Then she trotted back to the master bedroom to change her clothes. Since the process of putting on a wedding dress is quite complicated, Lin Xuan sat and played with his mobile phone while waiting. After an unknown amount of time, Lin Xuan heard light footsteps and slowly raised his head. The scene before him left him dumbfounded. She was wearing a pure white wedding dress, standing there gracefully like a bright pearl in the dark night. The heart of the ocean she wore around her neck and the charm of the ocean hanging on her ears sparkled with brilliant blue light in the dark night. Like a beautiful elf that suddenly descended from the night sky, stunning the whole world. Chapter 71. I feel like everything is a dream. Does it look good? The gentle sea breeze gently caressed Li Mengyao's silky, black and smooth hair. She tucked her hair behind her ears lightly, a peaceful smile on her lips. Lin Xuan's eyes were deeply immersed in his wife's stunning beauty. As if time had frozen at this moment. Husband, say something. Li Mengyao stretched out her little hand and gently pinched Lin Xuan's cheek. Lin Xuan then came back to his senses as if awakened from a dream, and took the opportunity to hug Li Mengyao tightly in his arms. Wife, you are really so beautiful. I feel like everything is a dream. Li Mengyao leaned in Lin Xuan's warm embrace and said softly. Dreaming? Lin Xuan asked doubtfully. Well, wearing a beautiful wedding dress and becoming your wife, all this is as beautiful as a dream to me. Li Mengyao gazed at Lin Xuan lovingly, with a gleam of happiness in her eyes. You know I have liked you since my freshman year? Li Mengyao suddenly asked. Isn't it because of my handsome appearance? Lin Xuan smiled mischievously, with a hint of pride on his face. Stop being so conceited. Although my husband is indeed very handsome, he is not handsome enough for me to completely fall in love with you, Li Mengyao said cociously. Why is that? Lin Xuan asked curiously. Do you still remember when you were a freshman, in that narrow alley, there was a girl who was harassed by two hooligans? Li Mengyao recalled the past with a hint of emotion in her eyes. One night during my freshman year, I seemed to have saved a girl. Could it be? Lin Xuan was so surprised that he couldn't close his mouth. That girl is me. Li Mengyao lowered her head shyly, her voice as soft as a mosquito. How could it be? Lin Xuan widened his eyes, his face full of disbelief. I was wearing a mask at that time, and it was late at night and the lights were dim. So it's normal that you didn't recognize me, husband, Li Mengyao explained, gently. I was really scared at that time. Luckily you saved me. Li Mengyao pressed her little face into Lin Xuan's solid and broad chest. From that time on, I began to pay attention to you silently. Until before graduation, Li Mengyao continued to murmur. Lin Xuan never imagined that the girl he rescued when he passed by 4 years ago was actually Li Mengyao in front of him. If he had come a step later, the consequences would have been disastrous. I'm sorry for making you wait for so long and for meeting you so late. Lin Xuan hugged Li Mengyao tightly in his arms, as if he wanted to rub her into his body. Don't say sorry, I'm really happy now. Li Mengyao gently stretched out her hand and pressed her index finger on Lin Xuan's lips to stop him from continuing. Wife, let's walk hand in hand from now on. Lin Xuan gazed into Li Mengyao's eyes affectionately and made a solemn promise. Yeah, Li Mengyao nodded heavily, with happiness shining in her eyes. Lin Xuan slowly lowered his head and kissed those alluring lips gently but firmly. The figures of the two people, the magnificent sea beside them and the bright moon hanging high in the sky are intertwined, forming a magnificent picture. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye it was the next day. In the early morning, the sun had just risen, and the golden sunlight sprinkled on the sea, making the waves sparkle and look beautiful. Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao got up early and prepared to start taking their dream wedding photos. Since the villa is located right on the seaside, for convenience, they directly invited the photography team to their home. First, professional makeup artists carefully designed suitable makeup for Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao, making them more beautiful and attractive. After everything was ready, the shooting officially began. The photographers cleverly used the natural scenery of the seaside to capture many beautiful moments for the newlyweds. They may hold hands, stroll on the beach, and enjoy the sea breeze. Or with the surging waves as the background, Li Mengyao sat elegantly on the reef, while Lin Xuan knelt on one knee and proposed to her affectionately. And Lin Xuan hugged Li Mengyao tightly, spinning on the beach, her skirt fluttering in the wind, like a fairy descending to earth. Li Mengyao stood quietly on the beach. Lin Xuan gently hugged her waist from behind, and the two of them admired the picturesque sunset together. After a day of hard shooting, the wedding photos were finally completed. Although it was very hard work, Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao both felt it was worth it. All that was left was to wait and choose the photos they liked. As night fell, the family sat around the dining table and enjoyed a simple and warm dinner. After dinner, Li Mengyao dragged her tired body and lay on her soft and comfortable big bed, looking at the charming sea view outside the window, feeling a lot of emotion in her heart. I'm so tired. I finally finished the shooting. At this time, Lin Xuan walked to the bedside and asked gently, do you want to go to the home theater on the basement floor to watch a movie and relax? Okay, I want a horror movie. Lin Xuan. Afterwards, Lin Xuan and Li Mengyao came to the home theater on the basement floor. The decoration here is exquisite and luxurious, with top-level high-definition projectors and large-size projection screens complementing each other, and coupled with a first-class sound system, making people feel as if they are in the world of movies. Li Mengyao wants to watch a horror movie, but Lin Xuan doesn't want to watch a horror movie. After some debate, both of them finally gave in and chose a disaster film, Armageddon. 3 hours passed quietly and the movie finally ended. Lin Xuan was still immersed in the exciting plot of the movie. This disaster film seems to be telling us to cherish everything we have now. Wife, this movie is really... He turned his head and found that Li Mengyao had fallen asleep. Lin Xuan carefully picked up Li Mengyao, left the home theater, and took the elevator back to the master bedroom. They gently put her on the bed and hugged her tightly, preparing to fall asleep together. A system voice sounded again. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for completing the wedding photo shoot. A reward is 3 million yuan in cash, but it did not trigger the critical hit probability. It has been transferred to the host's bank card through formal and legal means. Please check it. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for triggering the lottery mechanism. You will be awarded a chance to draw a prize. The current prize pool includes 1 large luxury Riva 80 yacht, 2 Lamborghini Sian Lightning limited edition, free future couple technology watches. For thank you for your patronage. Excuse me, host. Would you like to draw lottery? Lottery. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for winning a pair of future couple technology watches. They will be placed on your bedside table tomorrow morning. Please check them. Chapter 72. Who is Shang Huiyan? The system was indeed considerate. It knew that Lin Xuan had almost spent all his money, so it came to give him more money. But what exactly is this future couple technology watch? Can you give me a brief introduction to the system? Yes. This future couple technology watch is like an upgraded version of Xiaomi SU7, using cutting-edge technology from the future era. The system's answer made Lin Xuan even more curious. According to the system, after wearing this couple watch, it can not only detect various indicators of the body and timely warn of various potential diseases, it can also sense external risks in advance and send danger signals, precise positioning information, and call functions to both parties. What's even more amazing is that when facing a critical moment, it will automatically trigger a protection mechanism based on the surrounding terrain and other actual conditions. But this protection mechanism can only be used once a day. Can the system be played like this? Lin Xuan is full of anticipation for the future couple's technology watch that he will receive tomorrow. With it, if his wife encounters any danger after wearing it, Lin Xuan will know it first. With a heart full of joy, Lin Xuan hugged Li Mengyao tightly and fell into a sweet dream together. The next morning, warm sunlight poured into the room through the window, illuminating the entire house. And the sea outside the window was as calm as a mirror. Lin Xuan slowly opened his eyes, and what came into his sight was Li Mengyao leaning quietly beside him, a pair of eyes as clear and innocent as a deer staring at him. Honey, you're awake. Li Mengyao smiled slightly. Why did you get up so early today? Lin Xuan reached out and gently stroked her cute face. I went to bed early last night, Li Mengyao replied. What is that gift box on the bedside table? Li Mengyao asked. She discovered this exquisite gift box early in the morning. It has a unique design and is made of special metal material, giving off a mysterious and technological feel. Wife, why don't you open it and take a look yourself? Lin Xuan said with a smile. I know this is your thing and it looks very valuable. I'm afraid I might accidentally break it, Li Mengyao murmured in a low voice. Looking at his wife's cute appearance, Lin Xuan couldn't help but go up and give her a kiss. I haven't brushed my teeth yet. Li Mengyao quickly pushed him away and said coquettously. It's okay, my husband doesn't mind. Lin Xuan said with a smile. I hate it. Then Lin Xuan reached out and took the exquisite gift box on the bedside table, then gently opened it. And a dazzling light instantly emanated. Looking closely, I saw 2 extremely exquisite watches inside. The first watch has a unique design, with a cool metal texture, inlaid with mysterious and deep black diamonds, and flashing cool and dazzling light, as if it has condensed endless power, which makes people feel awe. The other watch is small and exquisite, inlaid with charming pink diamonds, shining like stars, exuding a sweet breath, showing elegance and nobility. Wife, this is the couple watch I customized for us, Lin Xuan said with a gentle smile. Li Mengyao was filled with joy, with surprise glittering in her eyes. She couldn't wait to put on the small and exquisite pink diamond watch. Lin Xuan also put on the mysterious and cool black diamond watch. Wow, it's so beautiful, thank you, husband. Li Mengyao was as happy as a child. She gently shook her wrist and admired the beautiful jewelry on her hand. Wife, let's wash up quickly. We have to prepare breakfast later, Lin Xuan reminded gently. Li Mengyao nodded obediently, then went into the bathroom with Lin Xuan to wash up. After a while, the two finished washing up and went to the living room on the ground floor hand in hand. Li Mengyao sat quietly on the sofa, looking out the window leisurely, waiting quietly. Lin Xuan went straight into the kitchen and started busy preparing breakfast. Soon, a sumptuous breakfast was served on the table. The family sat around it, enjoying the delicious breakfast with laughter. After breakfast, everyone started to go about their own business. Shan Shelin went shopping nearby, Lin Zhengjiuo went to work as usual, Lin Sisi was doing homework in the study, and Li Mengyao sat quietly on the viewing terrace on the 3rd floor, basking in the warm sunshine and flipping through the book in her hand. Lin Xuan was in the room attending a high-level meeting of Jinwan Technology Co. Limited. Although Lin Xuan has always put his family first and doesn't care too much about the trivial affairs of the company, he still needs to personally participate in some crucial matters. During this video conference, Lin Xuan saw his good roommate Song Zheng passionately introducing the latest product developed by their department. Lin Xuan felt extremely gratified to see Song Zheng's confident and professional performance. Obviously, Song Zheng has fully adapted to the new role of department leader, and has begun to actively promote the development of the company and develop more market-competitive products. After 2 long hours, the boring meeting finally ended. Even as the boss of the company, Lin Xuan doesn't like to hold meetings. At noon, Lin Xuan also carefully prepared a sumptuous lunch after the family had eaten. They went back to their rooms to rest. Quickly came to the afternoon, and Lin Xuan, who had just woken up, was called by Shang Shulan to work in the garden outside the villa. Then, a rapid telephone ring suddenly rang, and continued for several times. The ringing woke Li Mengyao from her sweet dreams. He picked up the phone in a daze and answered the call. "Hello, who are you?" There was still a hint of fatigue in Li Mengyao's voice. "I am Lin Xuan's high school classmate. My name is Shang Huiyan. I guess you are Lin Xuan's new wife?" A woman's voice came from the phone. "Yes. May I ask what you want from my husband?" "There is a high school reunion tonight. We would like to invite Lin Xuan to attend. Could you please tell him?" Shang Huiyan said. "Okay. I'll ask him later." After hanging up the phone, Li Mengyao clearly felt that something was wrong with the other party. For a high school reunion, didn't she just send a notification in the group? Why did she call Lin Xuan in person? Moreover, Li Mengyao also sensed a hint of hostility from the other party. Just at this moment, Lin Xuan came back. He saw his wife sitting on the bed blankly with empty eyes, as if she was thinking about something. "Wife, are you awake? What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell?" Lin Xuan walked forward and asked with concern. "Honey, I have something to ask you." "What is it?" "Who is Shang Huiyan?" Chapter 73. When will my wife learn to grow strawberries? Shang Huiyan? She is my high school classmate. What's wrong? Lin Xuan hugged Li Mengyao gently and asked softly. "She just called your cell phone and said she wants to invite you to a class reunion," Li Mengyao said in a low voice with her head down. "Then my wife, you." Lin Xuan didn't have time to finish his words. Li Mengyao continued. "Does she like you?" She slowly raised her eyelids and stared straight at Lin Xuan. "Well, he had been pursuing me when we were in high school, but I didn't agree," Lin Xuan answered truthfully. "That means I still miss you." Li Mengyao bit her lip, depressed lie, and muttered. Lin Xuan quickly comforted her. "Honey, I don't plan to attend any class reunion. I will stay at home and accompany you." His tone was very gentle, which made Li Mengyao feel warm in her heart. "Husband, you still have to go. I trust you." Li Mengyao came out of Lin Xuan's arms and raised her face to look at him. "No," Lin Xuan said firmly. "You'd better got his time you go. Just stop her from having any ideas about my husband again." Li Mengyao raised the corners of her mouth, revealing a sweet smile. Lin Xuan smiled and couldn't help but kiss her forehead. It turned out that his wife wanted Lin Xuan to personally stop Shang Huiyan from thinking about her. Night falls quietly, the lights come on, and the moonlight sprinkles on the sea. In the master bedroom, Li Mengyao gently helped Lin Xuan put away his clothes. "Okay, husband. Take a look at it. Is it handsome?" Li Mengyao smiled, with a hint of anticipation and sweetness in her eyes. Lin Xuan looked at himself in the mirror, nodded with satisfaction, and replied with a smile, "A handsome man looks good in anything." "Then wear my skirt," Li Mengyao suddenly said. Lin Xuan, who was ready, walked towards the garage of his villa when he just sat in the driver's seat of Xiaomi SU7. Li Mengyao suddenly walked up to him. "Wife, aren't you going back?" Lin Xuan asked, puzzled Li. Li Mengyao looked around and confirmed that there was no one else around. She quickly opened the car door, and with her long, beautiful legs, she gently stepped forward and gracefully sat on Lin Xuan. Then she closed the car door with her backhand. The whole action was done in one go. "Wife, you." Lin Xuan was a little surprised. However, Li Mengyao did not give him a chance to explain. She stretched out her delicate little hands to hug Lin Xuan's neck, and pressed her charming lips tightly against his neck. A minute passed, and Li Mengyao got out of the car in a hurry. But before getting out of the car, she did not forget to remind Lin Xuan, "Husband, come back early." Lin Xuan turned on the lights in the car and looked at his neck in the mirror. A small strawberry-shaped kiss mark appeared on Lin Xuan's neck, which was particularly obvious. "When will my wife learn to grow strawberries?" Lin Xuan raised the corner at his mouth slightly, and gently pressed the start button of the Xiaomi SU7 in his hand, and the car drove out of the villa smoothly and slowly. Not long after, Lin Xuan arrived at Jude's restaurant. He parked the car skillfully, then walked into the restaurant door and into a private room. As soon as he entered the door, a familiar voice came. "Brother Xuan, you are finally here." Huang Yexai Enkai greeted him with a smile on his face. "There was a bit of traffic jam on the road, so we were a little late," Lin Xuan said with a smile. Before he finished speaking, another discordant voice rang out, "Hey, isn't this our Master Lin? Why are you late again? What kind of car would make you late?" The person who spoke was Chen Feu. He walked up to Lin Xuan with a look of disdain on his face. Lin Xuan ignored his provocation and replied calmly, "The Xiaomi you just drove." After hearing this, Chen Fei's contempt grew even stronger. "It turned out to be that broken Xiaomi. No wonder you were stuck in traffic. Look at my new Mercedes SL, it never gets stuck in traffic." As he spoke, he deliberately showed off the car keys in his hand. Chen Feiyu is a second-generation rich kid in Yanha, and City. He used his family's money to buy his way into Yanha. I City no. One middle school and is in the same class as Lin Xuan. He has always liked Shang Huiyan, but unfortunately Shang Huiyan only has Lin Xuan in her heart. Therefore, Chen Feiyu is jealous of Lin Xuan and always tried to find trouble for Lin Xuan. However, Lin Xuan had excellent grades and was the school's key training target, so Chen Fei's little tricks always ended in failure. At this time, the students in the private room were all ready to watch the show, because they knew that Lin Xuan and Chen Feiyu had a bad relationship. "Chen Feiyu, what are you pretending to be? My brother Xuan just paid in full for a 20 million yuan Seaview Villa in Yanha house. What's so great about this? What's there to show off?" Wang Xiankai stood up to speak up for Lin Xuan. "A Seaview Villa in Yanha ho? And pay in full?